And all his sleepiness disappeared immediately. He glanced out the dark window and asked, "Who dares to attack us at this late hour?" After saying that, he patted his face and said, "If I can blow up Huku Ferry at night, why can't others?" Having said that, he rushed out barefoot without even putting on his coat. Master, shoes, straw raincoat. Liusu took these two things and rushed out of the room. Outside the city, huge searchlights illuminated the area dozens of meters around the city clearly. Liyuan rushed up to the city wall. "What happened?" Wu Sixai said in surprise, "Commander, the people coming here don't seem to have any intention of attacking. Look, there seems to be a man rowing a small sampan over there." Liyuan hurriedly asked someone to adjust the angle of the searchlight, and sure enough, he saw a small sampan struggling to move forward on the turbulent water. Liyuan picked up the telescope, and what made him feel even more strange was that there was only one person on it. "Commander, do you want to shoot?" Wu Sixai asked. "Don't be anxious," Liyuan shook his head. He wanted to see who dared to attack the city in the middle of the night. The gunmen around had already set up their guns, waiting for Liyuan's gesture to pull the trigger. Soon, the small boat emerged from the rapids under the city wall. A visitor was also exposed under the searchlight. Liyuan saw the person clearly. He was a middle-aged man wearing the uniform of a fourth-rank military commander. "Stop and tell me your name," Wu Sixai shouted loudly. But the man was not afraid at all. He put down the oars in his hands, stood on the sampan, looked up and said, "I am General Fu Bo of Daijing Wekwai An. Let your leader come out." "Commander," he said. He was General Fu Bo at the crossing of the Tiger's Mouth. "I'm not deaf. I can hear it." Liyuan rolled his eyes at Wu Sixai and asked, "Aren't you afraid of death? How dare you come here alone?" "I'm afraid, but I have to come today." Achaiyan shouted at the city wall, "Who are you? Show your head." "My name is Cao Wianhu. Have you heard of me?" Liyuan said loudly. Cao Wianhu on the side was dumbfounded. "Your name is Cao Wianhu, then my name is Cao what? So it's Liyuan's advisor. Is Liyuan here too?" Achaiyan sneered. "Call Liyuan out, I have something to ask him." "Who do you think you are? How dare you ask the master to come out to see you?" Wu Sixai cursed. "I just want to ask him if he was the one who had the Tiger's Mouth ferry set up." Achaiyan cursed. "Let him out, and then I'll give him a big gift." Liyuan frowned. Achaiyan came here to attack in the middle of the night just to ask such a boring question? So what if it is? So what if it isn't? Are you qualified to question? Liyuan sneered. "You said you are Achaiyan. Then you should know the situation of Huku Ferry better than anyone else. Why is Chang King storing water at Huku Ferry? Don't you know it? Who gave you the face to come to my Bialyang territory and shout and scream? What happened? The Hukudu Dam collapsed and the people around it suffered, right? Why the hell don't you dare to question Chang King? Are you afraid of death?" Chapter 136. The general comes to your door. Liyuan's words hit Achaiyan's sore spot, making him angry. "Just tell me if it was you who did this." "No," Liyuan opened his mouth. "That's bullshit. The loud noise last night was clearly your bomb. The Huku Ferry has not collapsed for 200 years, how could it collapse so easily?" Achaiyan cursed. "The area within 100 miles has become the country of His. Millions of people will be displaced. I don't know how many people will be drowned in their sleep. Even if you fucking want to do it, can't you do it in the daytime and give the people a chance to escape?" Liyuan sneered. "The lives of the people who crossed the Tiger's Mouth are important, but the lives of more than 2 million people in Bialyang are not important? You are really good at making up stories." Achaiyan's eyes dimmed. "Yes, the lives of the people crossing the Huku Ferry are theirs, but the lives of the people of Bialyang are not theirs. Water attack is a conventional means of warfare, but why bother affecting innocent civilians?" He slumped down on the sampan, disappointed in his own incompetence. He watched everything but was unable to do anything. Seeing him motionless, Liyuan couldn't help but ask, "Achaiyan, right?" "Yes." Achaiyan simply lay down on the sampan. The rain was getting heavier, and drops of water hit his face, making it impossible for him to open his eyes. "Cao Wianhu. Let your people do it and kill me." "What?" Liyuan was stunned when he heard this. In this day and age, are there still people who would take the initiative to send trouble to others? Chen Yuan reminded him. "Commander, there may be another hidden story. When I was serving at Diaxia Pass, I heard of Achaiyan's reputation. He is a good official, and the people of Hukudu all praise him." Liyuan nodded, and then said, "Why are you looking for death for no reason? If I don't die, my family will die. If I don't die, my brothers will die. If I don't die, the people of Hukudu will die." Achaiyan covered his face, his voice full of helplessness. "Master Cao, do it?" Liyuan frowned. "General Achai, can you tell me what happened? What's the use of telling you? Can Huku Ferry be safe and sound? Can those people live again?" Achaiyan was seeking death? Only when he died, his family would not be held accountable, and those brothers who disobeyed military orders would not be retaliated against. Only in this way can the people who are being rescued from the tiger's mouth be saved. If he died at the hands of the enemy, perhaps he could be regarded as a hero. Perhaps many years later, the people who survived Hukudu would still be able to respect him when they mentioned Han. The living Han is a coward and a waste. Tears and rain mixed together. He felt that he had disgraced himself completely. The grown man actually cried in front of the enemy's gate. The crying sound entered Lu Yuan's ears, making him a little confused. "Why the hell are you crying?" Lu Yuan asked. "I'm crying for the people and for myself," Han shouted. "Are the Biaoyang army cowards? I've already sent my head here. Are you going to kill me or not? If not, I'll do it myself." Everyone on the city wall looked at each other. If it were in the past, they would have taken action long ago. But the miserable cry of the man below moved them. How great a grievance would it take for a general who was used to life and death to voluntarily go to his death and cry in front of the door? Chen Yuan took a deep breath and said, "Commander, please let me go, maybe I can talk to him." Lu Yuan denied it without thinking. "No, what if it's a self-torture trick? In the water." "I'm not afraid of anyone," Chen Yuan said confidently. Lu Yuan still refused to give in, so Chen Yuan said, "Although I don't know what happened, I have heard about Han's deeds. He asked for death on his own initiative, so I'm afraid it's not a self-torture trick." From his words, I also deduced some clues. If Han can be brought into Biaoyang, the Biaoyang Navy will gain another powerful general. He knew very well that the Biaoyang Navy could not just rely on itself, but also needed different voices. Lu Yuan was moved. "Then pay attention to safety. If there is anything wrong, take action immediately." "I understand," Chen Yuan nodded and then sat in the hanging basket. Lu Yuan let the gunman aim at Han, and if there was anything wrong, he would shoot directly. Chen Yuan went down the city and walked up to Han. "Are you here to kill me?" Han looked at Chen Yuan. "Tell me your name. I won't let nameless people kill me." Chen Yuan, the former commander of Diaxia Pass, is now the commander of the navy in Biaoyang, Chen Yuan said. "Chen Yuan? Oh, it's you, the slave of two surnames." Han became excited. "Kawi and Hu, call Lu Yuan and have him kill me, then cut off my head. Pickle it with lime, and send it to Shengjing. As long as he comes, I have a secret to tell him." "General you? Get lost, I don't want to talk to slaves with other surnames." Chen Yuan's face turned black. How could this guy not know what's good for him? "What I despise most in my life is traitors and running dogs. Get out of here." Han had long disregarded life and death. He cursed whenever he wanted and didn't care what Chen Yuan thought. "So you're a hero because you came here to seek death?" Han's words hurt him, and he jumped up and pounced over. The two men wrestled with each other, and the gunman didn't dare to shoot. Lu Yuan said with a serious face, "Don't rush to do anything, trust Chen Yuan." He stared intently at the bottom and saw Chen Yuan and and rolling off the small sampan into the water. And the two of them wrestling in the water. Lu Yuan knew Chen Yuan's ability to swim. He was worth 10 men at once. But Han was just as good as Chen Yuan. The two sides fought back and forth, and Chen Yuan was suppressed by Han for a while. This is a fierce general. If they could persuade them to surrender, the navy would surely make further progress. If you don't take the general who comes to your door, you will be punished by God. However, if Han doesn't appreciate the favor, Lu Yuan won't indulge him. Second family slave, you are quite powerful. Chen Yuan did not say anything, but adjusted his state and stopped holding back. Han was a veteran with many years of experience, and if he was too careless, he would most likely be drowned in this shallow beach. He pulled Han into the muddy water. The two of them got entangled in the water and suddenly disappeared. "Master, they are missing," Kawi and Hu exclaimed. "Don't worry, trust Chen Yuan." Lu Yuan has always been a person who doesn't employ people he doubts and trusts people he employs. As time passed, the rain became heavier. The water in the inner river continued to rise and had already flooded the inner city. The sampans weighed in the water. Lu Yuan also gradually became anxious. If these two people were caught in the undercurrent, they would easily drown even if they were good swimmers. Just when Lu Yuan was about to send someone down to search and rescue, a man emerged from the water, holding a person who looked like a dead pig in his hand. Walking from the shallows to the city wall, Chen Yuan panted and said, "Commander, this guy has been dealt with by me." Chapter 137 7 Kills. It's dangerous, too dangerous. If he was not younger and stronger, he would have drowned in the water. Chen Yuan was also frightened. Lu Yuan ordered his men to hoist the two men up, and looked at Han, whose face was pale and motionless, and asked, "Is this guy dead?" Chen Yuan simply carried Han on his back and patted him on the back. "Wow!" Han opened his mouth and gulped down a large mouthful of water. After vomiting 3 or 5 times in a row, he finally woke up in a daze. Looking at Chen Yuan, his face was ashen. "I was defeated by a second surname slave like you. Go ahead. Without waiting for Chen Yuan to speak, Li Yuan said, "He is a slave of her surname. What are you? A coward or a fool? I'm not as skilled as you, so what do you say?" Achei and sat on the ground, looking like he didn't care. Li Yuan smiled. He was the best at dealing with Hun Buln. "Come here. Handcuff him and tell everyone that he is our Biao Yang's accomplice and he was the one who destroyed Huku Ferry." "Kaoyan Hu, you are despicable." Achei Yan was furious. At this time, Hawkeye put his hand on his shoulder and pressed him to the ground. "Let me guess why you came here to seek death." The Huku Ferry Dam collapsed, and millions of people were displaced as General Fubo of Huku Ferry. You are to blame. The rain this year was particularly heavy, but if the Hukudu Dam had released the floodwater in time, it would not have caused the dam to burst, so someone must have issued an order not to release the floodwater. The reason is very simple: when the water level at Huku Ferry rises and the dam collapses, the flood will completely submerge the area within a radius of hundreds of miles, and even Biaoyang Pass will be flooded. Although the terrain of Huju Pass is high and the water is high, it will not cause any substantial damage. After the dam burst, someone ordered you to attack Biaoyang. But you know very well in your heart that you cannot escape the blame for the Hukudu Dam collapse. You can't take Biaoyang either. When the time comes, the person behind you will put all the blame on you. And not only will you suffer, but all the Navy at Hukudu will also suffer. You are in agony because you know the cause of the dam collapse, but you are unable to save your fellow villagers. You can't even rescue them. So you are determined to commit suicide, because only when you die can you save more people. Even if that person puts all the blame on you, the court will not hold a general who died in battle accountable. Achei's eyes were bloodshot and he was panting like a cow. This person actually guessed it almost right. But in my opinion, your method is the stupidest. Li Yuan hit him mercilessly. You are not even afraid of death. So what are you afraid of him doing? If it were me, I would definitely let the people retreat as soon as possible, or at least find a reason for them to take refuge in the highlands. If you are more resolute, you can find local powerful people and put pressure on him if the imperial court knows about it. But you didn't do that. There is only one reason: the local tyrants have received the news, and the lives of the people are nothing to them. Even if all the people died, as long as they could conquer Biaoyang, bring back the princess and wash away the shame, this was tolerable. After all, there are so many people in Dajing. What does the death of hundreds of thousands of people matter? By then, those who survived will have made great contributions, but you deserve to die. You know very well what kind of people those people are. That's why you seek death and escape when you are desperate and powerless. Did I say yes or no? Achei was shaking all over, and every word Li Yuan said was like a blunt knife cutting his heart. He knew, of course he knew. He just knows the moral character of those people. The process is not important. The result is important. It is acceptable to make sacrifices for the sake of victory. After all, the imperial court not only lost face, but its foundation was also shaken by Biaoyang. But what did the imperial court say to the outside world? The fight with Biaoyang ended in a draw. When he saw the court's notice, he just wanted to laugh. Receive the most severe beating and tell the most false lies. From top to bottom, everyone is deceiving themselves. Once Chengqing returns with failure, the behemoth Dajing will be shrouded in the shadow of Biaoyang. This is not allowed above. Li Yuan squatted down and looked at Yan. You are a man with conscience. I know that since you came here to seek death, you want to change your world, but you are too weak. This is the rule of Dajing. They never take ordinary people seriously. The lives of nobles are lives, while the lives of common people are just gravel. But there is no point in seeking death. You will be beaten like a bear and a coward. You will be held accountable, and without a target in the court, your brothers will suffer. Even your family will be implicated. Because Dajing has failed too many times, and every failure cuts into the nerves of the nobles. Only by sentencing you to death can we give an explanation to the world. But is this really what you want? This is not what I want. I just want to protect them. Achei growled. The sound did not sound like that of a human upon closer inspection. His mouth was full of blood, all of which was caused by his biting. Once upon a time, he was also an ambitious general, and he always felt that he could do something for the country. But the cruel reality slapped him in the face like raindrops, destroying his faith and support completely. If you can't protect them when you're alive, how can you protect them when you're dead? Don't lie to yourself, Li Yuan said. If I were you, I would take my family out and rescue the people affected by the disaster. The greatest fairness between common people and nobles is that the time they spend on birth, aging, sickness and death is the same. Everyone has only one life. When truth is lost and morality no longer exists, you will transform into a Shura to eradicate the injustice in the world. What joy is there in life, and what fear is there in death? Heaven created all things in man, but man has nothing in heaven created all things. Kill, 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 kill. Li Yuan killed 7 people in a row, shocking Hai so much that he stood there in a daze. He felt something deep inside him being awakened and breaking out of its cocoon. It was as if an infinite force emerged to destroy the darkness in this world. Ah, kill! A murderous sound came from Hain's throat. Ill, this atmosphere even infected other people. Chen Yuan couldn't help but shout. Kill! The people around were also shocked and shouted in unison, kill! The earth-shaking roar of killing and the boiling murderous intent resonated at this moment. Li Yuan smiled and said, do you still want to die? No, Chen said, I want to kill those idiots. However, you are already my prisoner. You don't think I will let you go, do you? Lu Yuan said lightly. Chen knelt on the ground and kowtowed heavily. Thank you Master Cao for your guidance. When Chen has done what he should do, he will come back to die. Just based on your words. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Chen has lived up to his promises in this life. If he fails to do so, he will be punished by heaven and earth. Chapter 138 Human Ear. Cao Yanchi reminded Lu Yuan at this time, if we let him go, what should we do if he leads his troops to attack us in the future? Li Yuan didn't say anything. Chen Yuan gritted his teeth and knelt on one knee. I am willing to guarantee General Chen looked at Chen Yuan in disbelief. You are a man, I respect you, Chen Yuan said. Besides, how bad can a man be who is willing to die for others? Chen never thought that Chen Yuan, whom he called a slave of two surnames, would risk his life to guarantee him. The fact that they were not related at all moved him even more. Don't worry, I will definitely come back. Unless I die, but even if I die, I will have someone send my head to Dajing Pass, Chen said solemnly. And I'll trust you this time, Lu Yuan said. I'll give you 3 days. After 3 days, come back and die. Thank you, Master Cao. Chen prostrated himself on the ground with all his might. Lu Yuan made a gesture and Hawkeye let go of his hand. After Chen sat in the basket, he looked at Lu Yuan. Master Cao, please tell Luling Jun a message if possible. Take down Huju Pass, seize Huku Ferry, and repair the dam. Be nice to them. Chen, thank you very much. Chen got on the small sampan, rowed the boat, and disappeared into the night. Everyone disperse. The rest of you continue patrolling and don't take it lightly. Lu Yuan gave an order and then went down the city wall. Master, do you think Chen will come back? Cao Yanchi asked. Yes, Lu Yuan said. This is a trustworthy person. Chen Yuan, what are Chen's abilities? If he is the same age as me, I will be the one who dies, Chen Yuan said. Lu Yuan nodded, and then asked everyone to rest. The sky gradually brightened, but the raging flood showed no signs of abating and grew higher with the heavy rain. The Huku Ferry Division did not close their eyes for a whole day and night, constantly searching for the people. The lucky ones survived by holding onto the treetops, while the unlucky ones drowned in their sleep. Several family members hugged each other, and their bodies floated on the water, hovering above their houses, refusing to leave. The corpse soaked in the water gradually swelled and became hideous. The boats rescued people and searched for bodies. If these corpses are not dealt with, they will inevitably breed plague when the flood recedes. By then, it will be another tragic scene in the world. They transported the victims to a high slope, but there was no food and no shelter from the wind and rain. They had been soaked in the water for too long and their skin had turned white. Everyone was cold and hungry, and they were shivering under the trees. Many people started to fall ill and have fevers, and some children were in critical condition after choking on water. The Navy's Deputy Admiral Lu Shan had already emptied the Navy's supplies, but it was still not enough. He went to find Chang King with gritted teeth, but what he got in return was a knife. This knife directly cut off Lu Shan's head. And the reason for killing him was that he disobeyed military orders and delayed the opportunity to fight. When Chen returned to Huku Ferry, the Navy had been ordered to retreat to Huku Ferry in addition to Lu Sheng being beheaded. Several lieutenant generals were detained. The reasons for their detention were the same as those for Lu Shan's beheading, and there was one more thing, that is, treason with the enemy. When Chen heard the news, he was neither angry nor roared. But everyone around him was indignant. General, why? Why can they abuse us at will? Is our life so humble? Deputy General Lu pleaded for the people, but died unjustly. We are not the culprits of the Huku Dam collapse. Fuck Chang King. I'll fuck your ancestors for 18 generations. The brothers on the boat started cursing loudly, their eyes red. At this moment, someone shouted, if he treats us like pigs, doves and ants, then we might as well rebel against him and join Biaoliang. Let's rebel against this bastard and go to Biaoliang. When Biaoliang takes down Huju Pass, we can still protect our fellow villagers. One stone can cause 1,000 ripples. And once the voice of rebellion is raised, it can no longer be suppressed. Chen looked at these brothers and remembered what Lu Yuan said. Perhaps, after he finished these things, he could let his brothers go to Biaoliang to make a living. Let's go back to the camp first. I will give an explanation to Brother Lushan. I will rescue all the brothers who have been wronged. I will give an explanation to all the people who died tragically, Achaian said firmly. At this time, Chang King had also received the news that Haiui had returned. He had been waiting for 3 days every day. Corpses floated to the front of Huju Pass, and even formed a pile of corpses not far away. The situation seemed to mock Chang King's incompetence. Let Haiyan come over here. Chang King was furious. Soon, Haiyan arrived, meet Du Wu. Before he could finish his words, Chang King kicked him to the ground. You bastard, you dare to come back? Haiyan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, I don't understand what Du Wu said. I asked you to lead the troops to attack Dajing Pass, and you asked your men to rescue people. Do you still have me in your eyes? Chang King said angrily. I went there, and not only that. I also had a fierce battle with the Bialiang Navy. As he said that, Achaiyan took off his clothes, revealing bruises all over his clothes. All from the fight with Chen Yuan. There were even knife wounds he had inflicted himself. Seeing the wounds on Haiyan's body, Chang King became even angrier. How can you defeat Da Jingwan with only so many people? Do you think I'm a fool? I am very familiar with the waterways. This time I went there mainly to investigate the terrain. After my investigation, I found that the flood has already flooded into Dajing Pass and the city can be attacked at any time. However, I also discovered that Biaoyang has a navy. And the commander of the navy is Chen Yuan. These injuries were caused by the fight with Chen Yuan. If I wasn't good at swimming, I would have to stay in Dajing Pass. Achaiyan said. Chen Yuan, which Chen Yuan? The former commander of Diaxia Pass. It's him. Chang King frowned. He didn't think Achaiyan would dare to lie to him. Moreover, he knew Chen Yuan after all. He was the commander of Diaxia Pass as a military hero. How could he not be familiar with these prominent enemy generals? Yes, now we can basically confirm that it was the Biaoyang Navy that went upstream and blew up the Huku ferry at night, Achaiyan said. Chang King didn't say the same thing this time as he did last time. Instead, he asked, Are you sure? I am very sure. This blame is too big, so big that Chang King can't bear it at all. If Chang King wants to get away with it unscathed, this matter must be related to Biaoyang. So did you win or lose this battle? We won, Achaiyan said. Chen Yuan is already injured. The Biaoyang Navy was trained after occupying Dajing Pass, so their combat effectiveness is very low in this battle. I basically destroyed the Biaoyang Navy. So this time I came back to ask for a fight. Chang King was overjoyed. Really? Achaiyan asked the person behind him to bring a sack and then untied the rope of the sack. Crash! A bloody human ears fell to the ground one after another. Chapter 139 Betting Everything. Seeing these human ears, Chang King's breath stagnated. Are these all from the Northern Liang Navy? Yes. This time it's all thanks to Du Wu, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to behead so many people. Like Achaiyan said with a guilty look on his face, I valued my fellow villagers too much. Du Wu, please give me another chance because I'm eager to save people. This time, he knelt on his knees and kowtowed until his forehead bled. Chang King snorted coldly and said, If you bring everyone with you this time, I'm afraid Dajing Pass will be taken, you idiot. Among the Huku Navy, Achaiyan is the strongest, and these soldiers are all led by him. Once Achaiyan is killed, the morale of the navy will be demoralized. Thinking of this, he added, However, considering that you won the first battle, I will give you another chance to make up for your mistakes. Thank you, Marshal. Achaiyan showed gratitude on his face and kowtowed again. Okay, get up, Chang King said. The water is still rising. I'm sure the people at Dajing Pass downstream are in dire straits. The commander-in-chief is wise. Now is the best time to send troops. We can reach Dajing Pass in 4 hours by following the current. I have the confidence to win the battle in one go, Achaiyan said, but attacking a city is not my strong point. Please support me, Marshal. Chang King thought for a moment and said, Then let Chang Ji take 2,000 people to accompany you. Chang Ji is his nephew, so he naturally cannot let his son go on such a dangerous journey. Achaiyan was also secretly anxious. He thought about it and said, Liuan is also in Dajing Pass. Chang King's eyes lit up. Really? Even if I had 10 courage, I would not dare to deceive the commander on such an important matter, Achaiyan said. Chang King looked at Achaiyan, but was thinking in his heart. If Liuan was really in Dajing Wan, then he would go there himself. Such a great achievement must fall into my own hands. This is also his best achievement to prove himself. How did you go down first and wait for my order at any time? Chang King did not reply immediately. Just when Achaiyan was about to leave, Chang King said again, Bring your family to Huju Pass. It is safer here also. I will give you a batch of supplies to help the victims. Achaiyan's heart sank, but he pretended to be excited. On behalf of the people who survived the Tiger's Crossing, I want to thank you, Marshal. After Achaiyan left, Chang King immediately sent someone to the Navy camp to inquire about the news. Dad, the spies are back this time. Chang King took away 3-0 people. and only more than 2,300 people came back. It can be seen that a naval battle did take place in Dajing Pass. The ship had varying degrees of damage and there were signs of fire. Blood had flowed into the cabin, and the cracks in the deck were filled with flesh and blood. The soldiers who came back were all injured to varying degrees, and they brought back some of the dead, whose bodies were all there, Chang Yu said. Hearing this, Changqing breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that what Han said was true. If this is the case, then my plan this time will not be considered a failure. Recapture Dajing Pass, capture Biaoyang, wash away the national humiliation of Dajing, and become the #1 meritorious person. Changqing was a little excited. He asked his son, has Han's family come? Here it is. Han delivered it personally. Not only that, he also requested to give those rebels a chance to redeem themselves with meritorious service, Chang Yu said. Changqing tapped his fingers on the table. Give them a chance. I'll settle accounts with them after the war. You guard Tiger Pass and wait for my triumphant return. Dad, you are old. Let me do this kind of thing. Chang Yu was anxious. Who wouldn't want to do such a great deed? You have little experience, and this is a naval battle, which is different from a land battle. Changqing said, I'll just take Changji with me. Dad, you would rather take my cousin with you than me? Brothers fight tigers together, fathers and sons fight together in battle. Why don't you let me go to broaden my horizons with this good opportunity, but let me stay at Huju Pass? Chang Yu said, just think about it. If my father and I capture Liu on a leave and report it back to Dajing, it will definitely be a good story. Changqing frowned slightly, and then smiled and said, my son, what you said makes sense. Then you can go with your father. Thank you, Dad, Chang Yu said happily. At night, Han became restless until Changqing's men came and ordered Han to go into battle. Not only that, but those who were detained were also released. General Han, the commander-in-chief, will personally supervise the battle this time. You must be fully prepared. The ships must be inspected carefully. Any ships with hidden injuries must not be launched. A marshal will only give you half an hour, so you must prepare your troops quickly. The visitor gave Han some instructions, but the information he revealed made Han very happy. This bastard finally took the bait. Han hurriedly asked people to make preparations this time. He was betting everything he had on himself, and he was determined to make Changqing regret it. However, Changqing was very cautious and only allowed Han to lead 10,000 people, while he himself led 5,000 personal troops. Moreover, Han and Changqing were on the main ship, and except for a few of their men, everyone else was Changqing's men. This shows Changqing's cunning. But Han was not panicked at all. He did not show too much flattery to Changqing on the boat. Han, after this battle, I will definitely ask for a title for you. Changqing tried to recruit Han. As long as he could conquer Biaoyang, he would not care about the previous things. Besides, it would be interesting to conquer such a tough guy, wouldn't it? Thank you, Marshal, but I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay in Hukudu. How could Han not hear the hidden meaning of Changqing? Changqing's face darkened, but the candlelight in the cabin was dim, so he couldn't see his change. No matter how good Huku Ferry is, can it be as good as the capital? I have no ambitions, please forgive me, Marshal. Han sighed. After this battle, I will use my entire life to build a tiger's crossing that will never collapse. Changqing snorted coldly, but based on his understanding of Han, this answer was normal, and only he would be so pedantic. He immediately gave up the intention of recruiting him. Whatever you want. Thank you, Marshal. Han hurriedly expressed his gratitude. As the night deepens, sailing becomes increasingly difficult. Although the speed is fast, it is easy to collide with unidentified objects. Some small boats were overturned, but Changqing didn't care and ordered people to go at full speed. Soon, the army arrived outside Dajing Pass. However, Changqing did not act rashly, but asked his own people to explore the way forward. Your Excellency, there is indeed a flood outside Dajing Pass, high enough for ships to sail, the man replied. Changqing was overjoyed and looked at Han. If you can capture Dajing Pass, I will ensure that you will have no worries about food and clothing for the rest of your life. Han sneered in his heart. Then knelt on one knee. Yes, Marshal, I will do my best. At this moment, Changqing completely believed Han and said, go and command the battle. Thank you, Marshal. Han also breathed a sigh of relief at this time. His back was already soaked with cold sweat. Leaving the main ship, Han looked towards the direction of Dajing Pass. Lu Yuan, you must not be too smart. Chapter 140, Unquenchable Rage. At the same time, Hengqingtao was pitch black. The heavy rain made the torches on the city wall flicker. Wang Zhonghu, you and Han served in the same court. What kind of person is he? Li Yuan said to Wang Bai, who had changed his name. Commander, I have had many interactions with Han. Because he is in charge of Huku Ferry, and all the waterways within a radius of 100 miles are under his control. This man is upright and honest, loves the people, and is a well-known honest official. Wang Zonghu said this carefully. So do you think it's true that he had someone tip him off? Wang Zonghu hesitated for a while and said, it must be true. Li Yuan nodded, glanced at the others, and was about to speak when a scout came to report. Report, there are enemy troops coming from upstream outside the city. Here we go. Li Yuan stood up. Everyone, get ready to defend the city. Yes, Commander. Everyone responded, and the city was suddenly filled with a murderous atmosphere. At this time, Ian left the main ship and said to the generals around him, bring the ship closer to the city wall and make it clear what we are here for, they will not attack. General, this. Will Lu Yuan believe it? Yes, Ian nodded heavily. The generals looked at and Epli and said, take care, General. Others, take care. Ian bowed and asked the rowers to change direction. Stand up the racket for me, and then hit me hard. In the darkness, a fleet of ships surrounded Hengshan County, but no one noticed that several warships quietly left the fleet and headed downstream. The fleet gradually approached Da Jingwan. Cheng Qing wandered in the distance, not daring to get too close. He knew that Biao Yang had heavy firearms with a range of 100 or 200 feet. If they were hit, the ship would most likely be destroyed and people would die. He first let the Hukudu Water Division be the vanguard and selected 2,000 personal troops to follow, which could not only ensure his own safety but also supervise these people. Whenever there is something wrong, he can respond immediately. As a general, he didn't dare to go deeper, and even his boat was stopped at the back. There was a violent storm with strong winds and heavy waves outside, but the lights were bright in the ship's building. He asked Cheng Yu to light up the kerosene lamp. This thing is really good, it's bright and windproof. You can even hang it on the horse when riding at night. Dad, no matter how good it is, it's not as good as electric light. Cheng Yu said with a smile. Very happy, these all belong to our Da Jing. Cheng Qing stroked the teacup. His eyes full of greed, he pushed open the glass window and vaguely saw the fleet approaching Da Jing Pass, but it was not clear. Cheng Yu took out a telescope and looked ahead. Dad, they seem to have started fighting. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud explosion was heard not far away. A violent noise even covered up the sound of the wind and waves. Cheng Qing smiled and said, go ahead and blow them up. I want to see how many bombs they have. We can clean up the mess later. He had a good idea. If he could use up most of the troops at Huku Ferry, his own people would be able to reap the benefits. Nothing would make Cheng Qing happier than this kind of revenge. Cheng Yu was also very anxious. Dad, I'll go get ready. Go and wait for my order, Cheng Qing said. While Cheng Qing was waiting, a completely different situation occurred at the foot of Hengshan County. After the Hukudu Navy reached the shore, they explained their purpose to the people on the city wall. As a result, the soldiers on the city wall did not counterattack. After confirming that it was safe, the leading officer, Yu, responded quickly. Brothers, revenge begins today. Put up the batting poles and sink all those sons of bitches behind us. Let them go to feed the fish in the Jingyang River. Yes, General. After receiving the order, the Navy soldiers at Hukudu drew their knives and built up the planks of the boat. They let those people onto the deck with a smile, but then stabbed them back. Brothers, revenge. Kill these sons of bitches. Non-Hukudu Shui hated these people because of them. Their fellow villagers were either dead or missing. How many relatives and friends died in this premeditated dam collapse? Rebel? So what? As long as I can get revenge. You are crazy. What are you doing? One of Cheng Qing's trusted generals shouted, but unfortunately no one was afraid of him. What greeted him were cold arrows and a pole that could break a warship into with one strike. Bang! He happened to be standing at the bow, and the blow from the pole smashed him to pieces. The remaining force was used to smash the bow to pieces. Burgle! A river water back flowed and the people on the boat cried for their parents. Good brothers. We are one family. How can you kill one of your own? Hurry up and report to the commander-in-chief. There has been a mutiny in the Hukudu Navy. At this time someone reacted, however, their retreat had been blocked. Kerosene and rockets were poured recklessly on their ships and bodies. Rain cannot put out the fire, nor can it put out the anger of more than 10,000 naval forces at Hukudu. It was as cruel as their plan to save hundreds of thousands of people from death. This is the cause they sowed, and they should bear the consequences. On the city wall, Li Yuan saw everything clearly. He asked people to cooperate with these water soldiers who were trying to cross the tiger's mouth. The thunder bomb was the best cover. I didn't expect that these people actually turned against us. Cao Wen clicked his tongue. If this happened in your hometown and your relatives were treated like this, what would you do? Li Yuan said with a smile. Even if he is the emperor. I will fight him, said Cao Wen. They think so too. Li Yuan looked at the dark water in the distance and felt a little worried about Han. As time passed, the sound of explosions ahead gradually became less frequent. Cheng Qing put down the teacup, rushed out of the room, and shouted to Chang Yu, "Hurry, we can get over here." Chang Yu was also overjoyed, and hurriedly notified the helmsman to winch up the anchor. Go! Chang King was also secretly excited. Today would definitely be the day when he, Chang King, would become a legend. But at this moment, the main ship shook violently. The sudden and violent earthquake caused everyone on the boat to fall to the ground instantly. Chang King was also unstable and fell heavily backwards. When he got up, he shouted angrily, "How do you steer the ship?" As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud bang and the ship shook violently again. Even if Chang King was a fool, he knew that something was wrong. He looked suddenly in the direction where the vibration came from and saw a dark warship that had stopped behind the main ship at some point in time. The ram had already hit the hull, and the spade had even made a big hole in the hull. At that moment, Chang King felt a chill all over his body. Enemy attack! He made a sharp popping sound. But what greeted him was a violent collision with another warship. Boom! Chang King was directly knocked several meters away. He was thrown to the ground, and the place where he had just stood was smashed to pieces by a racket. Chapter 141 Olive Branch. Chang King was so frightened that he used his hands and feet to crawl forward. Chang Yu was not much better off, and his face was bruised and swollen. "Dad, where are you?" He tried to calm himself down. "I feel so regretful that if I had known this would happen, I would never have come here." At this moment, another warship crashed heavily into the main ship. The bow of the boat was smashed into pieces with one blow from the pole. If Chang Yu hadn't run fast, he would have been smashed to pieces. What the hell is HA&N doing? Didn't he say that the Bialyang Navy had been defeated? Chang Yu was furious if HA&N was right in front of him. He would definitely teach him a lesson. Chang King hurriedly gathered the people on the boa that could feel that the boat was tilting and he could hardly stand. He is good at land warfare. And although he has some experience in naval warfare, he is not strong. He knew very well that if the boat sank, he would be in danger of death in such a turbulent river. He shouted loudly, trying to be noticed by the people in front, but the enemy did not give him a chance. A large number of rockets were fired from 3 directions. Before we knew it, the hull was covered with kerosene and the fire had spread. Some people had already been set on fire and jumped into the rushing river. People were constantly hit by arrows and fell to the ground. "Dad, save me?" When Chang King's mind was in a mess, his son's cry for help woke him up. Looking at Chang Yu, who was stabbed like a hedgehog, Chang King was extremely sad. "You are..." Chang Yu was wriggling on the tilted deck like a maggot until a hidden arrow shot through his head. "Son!" Chang King roared in grief and anger. But there was fire all around, and his men fell one by one at his feet. He wanted to jump into the water, but his swimming skills meant he would not survive if he was caught in an undercurrent. "Chang King, you have come to this day. Today, I will avenge those villagers who died tragically in Hukudu." A familiar voice came from behind Chang King, and he turned around suddenly. But before he could speak, a cold arrow shot from behind and pierced his head directly. At that moment, Chang King died suddenly. But before he died suddenly, he heard a sentence in his ear: "The one who killed you is HA&N." HA&N jumped onto the main ship and chopped off the heads of Chang King and his son. At this time, the people in front had already discovered that something was wrong here and began to come over to rescue. But HA&N was not afraid at all. "Brothers, keep all these people here. The water is his home ground, and he can confidently say that he is not afraid of anyone." After throwing the hideous heads of Chang King and his son into the box, HA&N felt very calm inside. He rushed over with the others. An hour later, a heavy rain stopped. The sky gradually brightened. Several warships were half sunken in the water. The turbid river water was once dyed red by blood. Big fish kept jumping out of the water, grabbing the flesh and blood. HA&N leaned against the hull panting. He was exhausted, but fortunately, he had killed all these people. Even if someone jumped into the water to escape, he didn't think they could survive. There were corpses constantly rising and falling with the undercurrent ahead. "Let's go to Da Jingguan." HA&N sat down on the deck, looked at the gloomy sky and grinned. That unbridled laughter affected others. The others also laughed. "We have revenge. My fellow countrymen, if you are still alive, you can rest in peace now." Soon, HA&N arrived at the foot of Dajing Pass, and his men had already subdued the others. HA&N held the heads of Chang King and his son in his hands, and everyone around him showed a satisfied smile. Then, everyone spat at Chang King and his son. HA&N waded through the muddy water and stood under the city wall. "Master Cow, HA&N, I am here to die." The basket was lowered from the top of the city wall, and HA&N sat in it. When he reached the top of the city wall, he threw the heads of Chang King and his son in front of Liu Yuan. "Master Cow, these are the heads of Chang King and his son. Thank you, Master Cow, for letting HA&N do what he should do." Liu Yuan glanced at Wang Zhonghu, who was squatting on the ground to check. He then bowed and said, "Commander, it is indeed Chang King and his son. In Da Jing, there is no one who doesn't know this father and son." Li Yuan smiled and said, General He is a trustworthy person. I admire him. He Yan was stunned. Are you Li Yuan? But then he smiled bitterly. Forgive my poor eyesight. I knew that Magistrate Lu was a gentleman. But I didn't expect him to be so young. But it is also true that if you were not Lu Yuan, how could you have made the decision to release the enemy commander without authorization? He looked at Lu Yuan, as if he had made a huge decision, and then knelt on one knee. Lu Lingjun, He has never begged anyone in his life. This time, He killed Chang King and his son, and the brothers of the Hukudu Shui division have no way out. I beg Mr. Lu Lingjun to take us brothers in. You have also seen how brave and skilled my brothers are. If they join Biaoliang, they will be able to form a mature navy for Biaoliang in no time. Li Yuan was indeed very tempted. These people were all good at water combat. What about you? Me? He and smiled bitterly. Of course I will die to atone for my sins. Unless you also join Biaoliang, I will never accept these people. Lu Yuan said. This, Ian frowned. Brother what are you still hesitating about? Wang Zonghu said. Join Biaoliang. Only Biaoliang is the right path in the world. And only the commander truly loves the people like his own children. Brother Wang, when I first heard that you had betrayed me, I was deeply saddened. But today, Fang Zheng, he was so smart that he destroyed the 200-year-old Da Jing Pass. He wanted me to take the blame. Do you think I can bear such a big blame? Can my whole family carry it? These nobles can easily treat us like cattle and horses, as waste materials that they can consume at any time. Why? Those people in Hukudu were so innocent. Why should they become his expendable items? With such a grand scene, are you still willing to work hard for him? Come, join Biaoliang, overthrow Dajing, and seek freedom for the people of the world. Wang Zonghu's invitation made He and a little shaken. I have never thought of betrayal in my life. Li Yuan corrected him. A wise bird chooses the right tree to inhabit. Wasn't Dajing also founded by a group of like-minded people? Join me Biaoliang. I will let you know what it means to be people-oriented. General He. Join Biaoliang. Chen Yuan also stood up. But Ian still shook his head. No. Please let Lu Lingjun do it. Ian, my heart is dead. He closed his eyes and looked like he was letting it go. But at this moment, the voices of the crowd came from below. If the general does not join Biaoliang, we will not join Biaoliang. If the general does not join Biaoliang, we would rather become bandits. Ian opened his eyes, stood up and looked at the people below, muttering, why are you doing this? Chapter 142, Biaoliang gains another powerful general. Ian, I respect you as a trustworthy person and a talented person, so I invite you again to join my Biaoliang. I can assure you that as long as you are loyal to Biaoliang and do what you want to see, I will let you see what you want to see. I will let your brothers eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks, and realize their own value. That's enough to say. He really admired Ian, but he was not in a hurry to do business. Only when Ian figures it out himself can he be mine. General, let's rebels crude Ajing. We have disliked those people for a long time. You shouted loudly. General, we are rebelling. Yes, the other way around. Everyone below shouted in unison. Brother Hai, do you really want these people to become bandits, without support? They will definitely be wiped out by the Imperial Army in the end. Wang Zonghu advised, joining Biaoliang will definitely be the best choice in your life. Ian was extremely conflicted. But in the end, he compromised. He originally wanted to die, but was persuaded by Lu Yuan's words and traveled hundreds of miles to kill Chang King and his son. And now, he felt that his death seemed to be worthless. If I join Biaoliang, can I still continue to protect the people of Hukudu? Ian asked. Of course you can if you join Biaoliang. The next step I will take is to attack Huju Pass and completely capture Huku Ferry. By then, the people of Huku Ferry will be the people of Biaoliang, Lu Yuan said. Ian didn't waste any words. He knelt on the ground like a man trying to overturn a golden mountain and a jade pillar. Ian, I pay my respects to Lord Lu Lingjun. Lu Yuan was overjoyed and hurried forward to help Ian up. It's like having an extra pair of arms for Lu Yuan to have General Ian said with a look of shame. I am sorry to have embarrassed you, Lu Lingjun. Lu Yuan held his hand, delighted and unbelieving, and immediately asked someone to prepare clean clothes and food. However, because there were so many people, Lu Yuan couldn't hoist anyone up, so he could only apologize to all the brothers below. Everyone was very satisfied as they had hot meals and dry clothes to wear. The most important thing is that they have all entered Biaoliang together, and they are no longer rootless duckweed. Lu Yuan also asked Ian to wash up, and then personally prepared a banquet for him. How did you deceive Chang King? Ian did not hide anything and told the whole story. After hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but admire Ian's resourcefulness. Achaian first persuaded his fellow sailors, and then cut off the ears of the drowned civilians, pretending that they had been captured in order to gain Chang King's trust. And he sent some brothers to leave Hukou Ferry in advance and come to Hangshan County to report the news. By falsifying the hull to look like it had traces of war and dressing the bodies of the drowned civilians in military uniforms, they managed to fool Chang King's inspection. Then he sent his own family into Wuju Pass, completely dispelling Chang King's concerns. I was just making it up, but I didn't expect you to be in Dajing. Oh, Hangshan County. Achaian was a little embarrassed. When Chang King heard you were here, he couldn't sit still and asked me to send troops that night. When we were sailing, they specially confined me on the main ship and didn't let me go until we arrived at this area. Before that, they specially sent people to investigate the surrounding situation and made sure that it was exactly the same as what I said, and then they felt relieved. This person is the most cautious person I have ever seen in my life. I feel that it was those villagers who died unjustly who were secretly helping me. Chen Yuan felt a little embarrassed, so he just drank silently without saying anything. Li Yuan also changed the subject and said, in other words, your family is still trapped in Huju Pass. Yes. A reason why Haiyan agreed to join Biao Yang was not only because of his brother's pleading, but he also wanted to rescue his family. Li Yuan was filled with Haiyan, and was truly an amazing person. People say he is pedantic, but he dares to be ahead of the people. This kind of person is a truly good official if he can govern a region. It will be a blessing for the people. Li Yuan made a prompted decision and said, let's eat first after dinner. We will attack Huju Pass and rescue your family. Achaian was somewhat moved and said, thank you, Commander. Since you have joined Biao Yang, you are a Biao Yang person, and your family is naturally a Biao Yang person as well, so they will be protected by Biao Yang. No matter who it is, if they dare to bully our Biao Yang people, they will be punished even if they are far away. Li Yuan said loudly. Achaian, listen to my orders. Achaian stood up hurriedly and bowed as if listening. From today on, you are the deputy commander of the 2nd Brigade of the Biao Yang Navy. After we take over Huju Pass, you will be the 1st Brigade commander. Thank you, Commander. Achaian already knew about Biao Liang's military and political system. Currently, the highest-ranking general is Commander Lu Yuan. Wang Dabiao, who has made the greatest contribution, has followed Lu Yuan for many years and is only at the division level. He had just joined Biao Yang. Yet he was given such an important position. Achaian suddenly felt a sense of belonging, and he wished he could die for Lu Yuan. Qin Yuan, you go with Achaian and take down Huju Pass, and you will be the deputy brigade commander, Lu Yuan said. Yes, Commander. Qin Yuan was also happy the Tiger Pass was leaderless, and in his opinion, the other people were not to be feared at all. The most powerful Huban army was like a bird with broken wings, unable to flap its wings at all. Who's 6i? You cooperate in the fight. Yes, Commander. My uncle has been away for 2 days, and there is still no news. I don't know what the situation is like in the front. They should have taken Dajing Pass by now. Right? Chang Ji is now in charge of military affairs, but the people in the army are very unruly, especially the people in the Huban army, who don't take him seriously at all. He asked his confidant, have all the bodies in front of the door been cleared away? Everything has been cleaned up. But it won't be long before more corpses come and they all stink. If this continues, there will be a plague. The confidant had a look of pity on his face. It was really a sin. Chang Ji sighed, feeling irritated. The rain has been easing since yesterday. I think the water will recede soon, but it's impossible to march on such a muddy road. Then we can take the water route. It's not only fast but also convenient, said the confidant. At this time, a lieutenant reported. General, a great victory was won at Dajing Pass. The commander has recaptured Dajing Pass, beheaded 10 Zhao people, and captured Li Yuan. What did you say? Chang Ji was also stunned by the sudden news. And then he was overjoyed. Good, great. I knew that uncle would be able to do it. Where is my uncle? Is he back? No, the marshal is guarding Dajing Pass and has specially sent the Hukou Navy back to transport troops. The marshal said that we will attack Biao Yang County next and defeat Biao Yang in one battle. The lieutenant general was also very excited. Chang Ji ran out of the camp and quickly climbed up the city wall. But he was very cautious and did not open the door immediately. Instead, he asked Haiyan, General H.A., do you have a letter from the marshal? There is no letter. Half of Dajing One Pass was flooded. There is no dry paper at all. Haiyan felt around in his arms and took out a seal. This is the marshal's personal seal. He said you will understand it once you see it. Chapter 143. Fraudulent City. Haiyan put the seal in the hanging basket, and Chang Ji soon got the seal. He recognized it at a glance. This was his uncle's favorite seal, which he would carry with him wherever he went. It seems that my uncle has really captured Dajing Pass. He glanced at the fleet and asked, are these the only people there? Except for the rowers and choppers, everyone else will stay in Dajingguan so that we can carry more people, Ian explained calmly. Chang Ji nodded, but did not open the city gate immediately. Instead, he said to Ian, General let the brothers come up to rest first and have a meal before leaving. General Xiao Chang, the marshal has ordered us not to delay. And the water in the Jingyang River is receding. If we miss this opportunity, it will be difficult to capture Biaoyang County, Ian said. We have brought our own dry food, so you should mobilize the troops as soon as possible. Chang Ji nodded. Compared to before, the flood had indeed receded a lot. If it delayed his uncle's attack on Biaoyang County, he would be in trouble. Okay, let's mobilize the troops right away, Chang Ji said as he ordered the city gate to be opened. At this time, Ian also rowed his small sampan to the foot of the city. The tightly closed gate of Huju Pass opened, and he walked in with a swagger. General Xiao Chang, I'm here to pick up my family, Ian said. Chang Ji frowned. Isn't this inappropriate? Ian whispered something in Chang Ji's ear. Chang Ji was stunned for a moment, then he laughed. I see, I'll have someone bring your relatives over right away. The reason why he laughed was because Ian said that he had become Chen Qing's disciple, and the seal was the proof. Chang Ji also knew that his uncle had said he wanted to conquer and before he went to war. Now it seems that my uncle was successful. Regardless of his stance, he personally admires and respects An. Since An is one of us, there is no need to use his family as hostages. Moreover, he could understand his uncle's painstaking efforts. The reason why An's family members were detained before was because they were afraid that An would not work hard. Now, Dajing Pass has been recovered. Even if they cannot take Biaoyang County, they have washed away the shame by sending troops this time. Returning the hostages was to make An feel at ease and to make him feel at ease. My uncle's ability to control people is becoming more and more sophisticated. Soon, An's relatives came over. Fearing that An might misunderstand, Chang Ji specifically explained, Don't worry, your relatives are well fed and well entertained, and they have not suffered any grievances. An bowed. Thank you, General Xiao Ji. No, it's what I should do. Chang Ji waved his hands repeatedly. At this time, the news of Chang Qing's great victory had spread inside the pass. The crowd cheered and the sounds of celebration were endless. Chang Ji asked, How many people did Uncle say he would take with him? They can only carry 18,000 people at most. If that's not enough, we'll have to work in parallel. Ian sighed, I'll have to let the brothers work harder. Chang Ji nodded. The brothers of the Navy have indeed worked hard. Since the flood, the brothers have been wandering on the water, not eating enough, not sleeping well, and exhausted. It's a pity that there are too few people and too few boats, otherwise we wouldn't have to work so hard, Ian said helplessly. Why don't we let the brothers go ashore and relax? It's time for dinner now. They can have something hot and have more energy to paddle. This won't cause any delay, right? Ian hesitated. It's okay for me. But can your men bear it? Chang Ji said. General I've seen everything you've done. And I feel the hardship of my brothers. Let them come up and have a bite of food, and leave right after they finish eating. It won't delay the battle. Well, okay. Ian was waiting for this sentence. He thanked him and walked out of the city with his family. He said to all the brothers who were not far away, Brothers, General Chang is considerate of us and let everyone go ashore to have a hot meal. Everyone should remember this kindness. Hurry up and get ashore, eat and leave immediately. Thank you, General Xiao Chang. I'm so tired, but I can finally get ashore. Chang Ji was quite pleased with the voices of thanks from his fellow Navy brothers. He thought that even if his uncle knew about this, he would only praise him. At this time, in the cabin, soldiers of the firearms brigade disguised as rowers came ashore. They hid their pistols and grenades in their rattan armor. A musket was hidden in the quiver, and from the outside, there was nothing unusual. These rowers not only row, but also kill the enemy when the two armies are fighting. There are not many people on the warship, and there are many rowers in the bottom cabin. If they cannot be used as combat power, a considerable part of the combat power will be lost. As when Ian asked you to send his relatives away, Chang Ji suddenly said, General you don't need to carry weapons when you eat, right? Oh, this is the military order of the Hukudu Naval Division. Even when sleeping during the war, you cannot leave your weapons after all. Weapons are the guarantee of killing the enemy and the key to self-protection. Please forgive me, General Xiao Ji, Ian said apologetically. I've always heard that General is strict in disciplining his troops. Today, I see that it's true. Chang Ji didn't think much about it. For example, the Haben army is like that no matter where they go. Even when going to the toilet or sleeping, they have to carry weapons at all times. Ian was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat and laughed dryly. You're too kind. You also breathed a sigh of relief and immediately escorted In's family to the main ship. Chen Yuan and Wu 6i. who happened to be disguised as rowers, came towards him. He nodded to them and whispered, "I'm counting on you." Soon, people entered the city one after another. "General H.A., everyone should be here. Right?" Chang Ji asked. "Yes, we are all here. But I still have one thing to trouble you with, General Chang." "What?" H.A.N. looked around. And Chang Ji understood what he meant and dismissed his attendants. He walked up to H.A.N. and said, "General H.A., what on earth is this?" Before he could finish his words, H.A.N. swung his sword and cut off Chang Ji's head. The distance was too close and H.A.N. was too fast. Chang Ji did not expect H.A.N. to attack him. He had no chance to react at all. H.A.N. wouldn't give him a chance to react. The huge human head rolled to the ground. At that moment, the people around made a loud noise. Chen Yuan shouted, "Kill!" Chang Ji's confidant reacted quickly as well. He was about to shout, but Wu Sixai was even faster. Bang! The bullet hit him right between the eyebrows, sending him straight to meet the king of hell. Brothers occupied a high ground on the city wall first. Chen Yuan led the brothers of the 1st Naval Battalion and rushed up. Wu Sixai ordered the people from the firearms brigade to form a battle formation. But the Mauser C-95, a 3-stage attack is not necessary at all. Moreover, their semi-automatic rifles are very lethal and have a long range, and can easily penetrate even the enemy wearing armor. Wu Sixai used up all his bullets and took out the semi-automatic rifle from his quiver. After skillfully opening the folding buttstock, he began to shoot accurately. This gun has a weird name, M1A1 Carpenter Rifle. Chapter 144. Great Victory at Huju Pass. Wu Sixai didn't understand why the commander gave the gun this name. They still preferred to call this semi-automatic rifle a cavalry rifle. This gun weighs only a little over 5 pounds. But it is much more powerful than previous guns. The total length is 90.5 cm, and the total length is 64.8 cm. When the buttstock is folded, the length of the quiver is almost 66 cm, which can be perfectly hidden in the quiver. 7.62 caliber, effective range of 200 meters, and a capacity of an astonishing 30 rounds. Sufficient ammunition can ensure the number of enemies killed. This gun is very easy to use and has a very fast firing rate. A skilled soldier can empty the magazine in just a few breaths, causing immeasurable damage in an instant. The Jing army, which was entrenched in the pass, reacted quickly, but what they faced was a fully armed firearms battalion. This cavalry rifle was also unveiled for the first time. Before this, it had been kept secret. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. A bullet soared through the air, pierced through the Tiger Guards' most proud armor, and left bloody holes in their chests. The people from the 1st Naval Battalion used explosive bows. The violent explosion caused by the collision of the arrows was enough to shock people within a 5-meter radius around the explosion point. Soon, Chen Yuan captured the East Gate. Soldiers kept rushing over. Wu Sixai sent people to provide support. Bashan was the last one to come out of the cabin. He was wearing special armor and holding a crescent-shaped sword in his hand, and he rushed into the crowd like a tiger. Whenever he saw the dodging soldiers, his blood began to boil. It reminded him of the suffering he had endured in Biaoyang over the years. As the sharp sword was swung, several people were cut in half. That tall figure was like a bloody demon, killing these people and making them lose their armor. "Oh my god! This is not a human, it's a devil! Run away!" Bashan laughed grimly. He got particularly excited whenever he saw these dodging soldiers screaming and struggling. "All of you go to hell!" He fought his way out of the situation as if there was no one around. The people from the Xianzhen camp were just like Pa Shan, chasing these people from behind. Chen was also shocked when he saw the scene in front of him. Although people outside have long described Biaoyang's fighting style as miraculous, only by seeing it with your own eyes can you know how brutally they fight. Whether it was the cavalry rifle, the Mauser pistol, or the grenades and explosive arrows, they refreshed his knowledge time and time again. Biaoyang is invincible in land battles. The only shortcoming is the navy. But now with Chen Yuan and my own joining, Biaoyang's last shortcoming has been made up. Biaoyang now has the confidence and qualifications to challenge the big country. No, you shouldn't say that. Instead, sweeping the world. Li Yuan is still so young and has great talent and ambition. He might be able to achieve unprecedented success. Yin-'s heart, which was as dead as ash, began to beat violently again. This time, it was not for his brothers, not for his family, but for himself. He raised his saber high, kill. 2 hours later, the war was over. At this time, the 4 walls of Huju Pass had been occupied by the Northern Liang army. Below them were more than 200,000 Northern Liang troops and more than 200,000 civilians. Wu Sixai wiped the blood off his face, looked at the people around him and said with a smile, "Tiger Pass, take it down." Soon, news of the great victory at Huju Pass spread back to Hengshan County. At this time, the floodwater was gradually receding and Lu Yuan was arranging people to clear the silt. Although the inner core was dug through in time this time, Biaoyang was still flooded. However, he has minimized the losses. Report, Commander, a great victory at Huju Pass. The scout delivered the letter to Liu Yuan as soon as possible. Liu Yuan checked the firearm and encryption, and only opened the envelope and read it after confirming that it was correct. After reading it, Liu Yuan laughed. Great. In this battle we killed more than 20,000 enemies, captured more than 400,000, and the 60,000 tiger guards lost their horses and were caught in a trap. Achei, and did a great job. Cao Yanhu also hurriedly congratulated. Congratulations, Master. Xia Yuan also said happily, Master, does this mean that we in Biaoyang will expand our territory to Yuli again? Yes. How can we give back the Huju Pass that we have obtained? This battle would be difficult to win. A navy is Biaoyang's weak point. Even if Biaoyang has guns and cannons, it cannot make up for the shortage of numbers. If Changqing hadn't committed suicide and forced Achei over, he might have really suffered a big setback this time. He had witnessed Achei's naval battle, which was indeed amazing. If we wait until the Hukudu Dam collapses on its own, and if Achei is not so people-loving, Hengsheng County will have a 60 chance of being breached. Fortunately, destiny is on him. Now that Huju Pass has been taken, the last barrier to entering Dajing is gone. As long as Liu Yuan wants, he can gallop into the heart of Dajing at any time, and Dajing can only passively take the beating. Yuku Ferry will serve as an important naval base. With the inner canal, Biaoyang's water transportation will surely reach a peak and will lift the entire Biaoyang's commerce to another level. Spread the news back and tell everyone that we won. The news of the great victory swept across Biaoyang Prefecture, dispelling the gloom brought by days of heavy rain and floods, and making everyone breathe a sigh of relief. At this time, the Biaoyang Prefecture had already started vaccinating against smallpox. Because Biaoyang has breeding farms, smallpox breeding is no longer a problem. In a short period of time, sufficient amounts of cowpox for vaccination were produced. Liu Yuan originally wanted to go to Huju Pass, but for his own safety considerations, he got vaccinated against cowpox as soon as possible. More than 10 days have passed since Xiao Jianjia asked for help as she was infected with smallpox. The outbreak would only occur within these few days. Liu Yuan didn't dare to take the risk, and active vaccination was the best way to avoid smallpox. After clearing the Tiger Pass, the army also had to be vaccinated against smallpox as soon as possible. Liu Yuan has arranged for a senior doctor to take the cowpox vaccine to Huju Pass for vaccination. By the way, has Jianjia been vaccinated against smallpox? My lord, I have been vaccinated and the smallpox has been successfully cured, Liu Su replied. That's good. Liu Yuan closed his eyes. The reaction to the vaccination made him very uncomfortable. 3 days later, Liu Yuan recovered from the reaction to the vaccination, but not everyone has no problems with the vaccination. Hundreds of people died because they could not withstand the reaction to the vaccination. Liu Yuan was a little distressed. Compensation must be in place. After the whole nation is vaccinated this time, we must let the great doctors research a safer vaccine. Master, 100 deaths are better than 1,000,000 deaths. Even if there is no vaccination against smallpox, people still die every day, right? Liu Su comforted. Liu Yuan dispelled the gloom in his heart and said, prepare the boat and go to Huju Pass. At this time, the news of the great victory at Huju Pass reached Songshu. Xiao Jianjia was inspecting the fields at the moment, looking at the growing rice seeds. She was indescribably excited. You said that Liu Yuan has already taken over Huju Pass? Yes, Your Majesty, and Biaoyang Prefecture has completed the vaccination of all citizens against smallpox. Rape said with emotion. This Liu Yuan is really amazing. Chapter 145, Give it to him. Give it all to him. He solved a major epidemic like smallpox by simply sending out 2 medical teams. Despite the flood, they dug a channel for inland transportation, which not only solved the flood problem in Biaoyang, but also brought vitality to Zhongshu. You know, these were just what he did when he captured Huju Pass. Do you know the casualties? Xiao Jianjia asked. It is said that more than 20,000 enemies were killed and more than 400 prisoners were captured. Only a few people from the northern Liang army died and less than 200 were injured. The casualties were shockingly low. Xiao Put-Ao smiled bitterly. Also, it is said that the process of taking over Huju Pass was quite easy. Tell me in detail, Xiao Jianjia said. Xiao Put-Ao then shared some of the information he had gathered. After listening to it, Xiao Jianjia was speechless. There is also a general who is delivered to my door. How come such a good thing doesn't fall on me? Who says it's not true? It's like Liu Yuan picked up a great general and a navy of 10,000 people for nothing. He didn't even have to build ships, and he also captured Huju Pass. This luck is so good that it makes people jealous, Xiao Put-Ao said enviously. Xiao Jianjia snorted, but became more and more anxious today. The area of Biaoyang from east to west has exceeded 500 miles. which is already a large territory. There are canals and majestic cities. In this battle, Da Jing was seriously injured. Unable to fight again. Biao Yang is about to take off, and Li Yuan is going further and further on the road of rebellion. Let's go back to Tong Shu. Xiao Ji and Jia couldn't stay any longer. She wanted to recover the entire north. Li Jing. Emperor Xi also received the news immediately. At the court meeting, he urgently passed down the 800 miles letter for everyone to read. After seeing the contents of the letter, everyone was speechless in the huge hall. There was complete silence and everyone took a deep breath. Cheng Qing lost. And lost miserably. An army of 300,000 was defeated. Da Jing has been seriously injured. With the loss of Huju Pass, Lu Yuan can invade Da Jing's hinterland at any time. Emperor Rexei also had a complicated look in his eyes, looking at the dome in silence. It has only been a short time from the time Da Jing sent out troops to the time he received the news. It took more than a month. In his mind he was calculating the setbacks both countries had suffered over the past year. First it was the barbarians, then Diaxia Pass, Da Jing Pass, and Huju Pass. Biao Yang became more and more courageous as the battle went on. The three parties successively lost millions of troops. And they are literally millions of elite soldiers. He couldn't help but feel fortunate that he didn't send troops this time. If he had, he would probably have ended up like this, right? But at the same time, he also felt sad. As the Emperor of Diaxia, I should actually be happy and thankful for such a thing. What about the majesty of a great power? They have all been stepped into the soil and can't be seen, right? It is all thanks to your majesty's wisdom that you did not send out troops, thus preventing our country from suffering casualties. Yangshu flattered Emperor Xia and brought his thoughts back to his senses. Yangshu, what do you think Diaxia should do with Biao Yang next? Asked Emperor Xia. Yangshu looked at Xiangying. This guy looked at his nose and his heart, as if he had nothing to do with the matter. He snorted in his heart and then said, Your Majesty, I think we should reconcile with Biao Yang. This time, Biao Yang demonstrated the combat capabilities of their navy. From all aspects, Biao Yang does not have any major shortcomings. Moreover, he already has the confidence and qualifications to challenge major powers. Biao Yang had just won the battle and their morale was high. Their military strength was at its sharpest and they could not be confronted head-on. Therefore, we should re-evaluate Biao Yang and treat it as a force on par with Diaxia. Emperor Rexai nodded silently. He had already paid enough attention to Biao Yang, but the strength displayed by Biao Yang refreshed his cognition time and time again. The troops they sent out every time were enough to destroy small countries 100 times. But they were beaten so badly by Biao Yang that they had no idea where to go. If he still thinks this was a fluke, he is really stupid. That's right. But if we can't take back the Great Xia Pass, how will Great Xia have face? Emperor Rexai expressed his concerns. Your Majesty, even King Jiangshai endured humiliation and bore heavy responsibilities, so we should also conserve our energy and wait for an opportunity. Kai Yangshu glanced around. I do have a plan that may help your Majesty. Emperor Rexai became more alert. He glanced at his ministers and said, Dismiss the court. The Minister of Civil Affairs, the Prime Minister of Military Affairs and others can stay. Having said that, he left and went straight to the imperial study. Soon, Yangshu, Xiangying and others arrived. These people were Emperor Rexai's confidants and the backbone of Diaxia. Yangshu, there's no one here now, so you should tell me, right? Your Majesty. Judging from the 800-mile rush, Li Yuan's abilities to instigate rebellion is indeed strong, so I think that we should put aside the conspiracy and start with internal rectification, Kai Yangshu said solemnly. I suspect that there are traitors within Diaxia. Everyone present was shocked. A fierce light flashed in Emperor Rexai's. Tell me what you think. Yangshu knew that the emperor was already concerned, so he did not continue the topic, but said, I think you can marry her in Biao Yang, and then give Diaxia Pass as a dowry and give her as a fiefdom. Secondly, King Jiangxi and Shen Yuan will be appointed as attendants to the princess, to serve her and protect her safety. When he said this, he had been secretly observing the emperor's expression. Seeing that the emperor did not react much, he continued, it would be best to send King Jiangxi's relatives to Biao Yang to dispel Li Yuan's suspicion. This way, we can help the princess build up her power and break through Biao Yang from within. Which is the best strategy? Emperor Rexai did not agree immediately, but began to think seriously. Arranging a marriage, treating Diaxia Pass as a fiefdom, appointing Wang Shu and Chen Yuan as the princess's attendants, all these were just ways to save face. But is there a better way than this now? No. Moreover, Kai Yangshu's method is indeed feasible since it cannot be broken from the outside. Then break it from the inside. As long as Wu Yu marries Li Yuan and gives birth to a child, Diaxia can fully support Wu Yu's child. It may be a little slow, but in the long run, it is completely feasible. Xiangying, what do you think? I think Prime Minister Kai's method is brilliant, Xiangying replied. The best strategy is to attack the enemy's mine. Giving away a great exile pass in exchange for long-term peace is worth it. Moreover, I believe that restoring peace with Biaoyang will be beneficial to our attack on Daqian. As long as we take over Daqian, a Diaxia pass is nothing. The era of great contention has arrived, and what follows will be a fight between dragons and tigers. In the end, there will be only one winner. The winner must be your majesty. In the future, when the three kingdoms are unified, the cause that your majesty created and accomplished by Taizi you will be passed down through the ages, and you will become the greatest emperor of all time. This sentence touched the heart of Emperor Xia. The concept of unification has existed in the three kingdoms since ancient times, and fortunately, no one has been able to do it for thousands of years. The closest thing to the unification of the three kingdoms was 200 years ago, but unfortunately it ended up being a three-way stalemate. A vast territory of 30 miles is the ambition of every Xi emperor. But then, you two should discuss this matter together. Chapter 146, The Inflated Emperor Jing. Emperor Jing has been tossing and turning in bed lately, not only because of the war, but also because of the frequent disasters that have occurred in the world recently. A dragon in the southwest is turning over, and there are floods in the southeast. In these troubled times, he could not afford to indulge in pleasure. What made Emperor Jing most sleepless was that some people said that this was retribution, the retribution for killing his brother. Over the years, whenever a major disaster occurs, rumors had never stopped. To the extent that Emperor Jing had a stress reaction. Brother, he killed him. In order to ascend the throne as soon as possible, he even poisoned his father. He hasn't had a good night's sleep in all these years. As soon as I closed my eyes, I saw the horrific deaths of my father and brother, who were seeking his life in my dreams. Every time, Emperor Jing was frightened awake and could never fall asleep again. Even if the bedroom was brightly lit and there were 7 or 8 concubines accompanying him, it would not work. He contacted the Imperial Observatory and finally secretly dug up his father and brother's tombs. He destroyed their bodies using a special method and suppressed their evil spirits. I don't know if it's really effective or just a psychological effect, but the number of nightmares he has gradually decreased. However, natural and man-made disasters in the country are increasing year by year. He didn't know if this was a backlash, so he became more and more angry. Emperor Xia removed the lotus arms and legs from his body, climbed out from among the concubines, and walked out of the bedroom. The cool breeze dispelled the summer heat. The pair of sisters have not been found yet? Your Majesty, we have already found some clues, the eunuch who was close to Emperor Xia said. At first, they went all the way north to Biaoyang. But there is news that they encountered barbarians and were killed. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want his body. I want a definite answer. Emperor Jing's face was terribly gloomy. The people at the Imperial Observatory said that the country was in turmoil because of the counterattack of evil spirits. Those 2 evil spirits were not ordinary evil spirits, so it was not enough to just suppress them. They could only be completely suppressed by using the flesh and blood of the 2 sisters. Yes, Your Majesty. The eunuch knew that His Majesty had lost his patience. He was complaining in his heart but did not dare to show it. Emperor Jing looked at the time and it was almost time for the morning court session, so he decided not to sleep, washed up and went to court. It was dark outside, but the hall was brightly lit. All the civil and military officials were present. After everyone paid their respects, Emperor Jing asked, "How is Zhang Xian doing?" Your Majesty, the latest news is that Zhang Xian has captured 15 cities in a row, and most of the Jingshao area is within your reach. Mian Wenyao stepped out and congratulated with a smile. Immediately afterwards, everyone congratulated him. Emperor Jing also laughed, which was rare at the court meeting. Well, Zhang Xian has made great contributions. Let the clan office draft an imperial edict. Zhang Xian should also be granted a title of nobility. Mian Wenyao hurriedly praised the emperor for being wise, not for any other reason, but because Zhang Xian was his eldest son-in-law. The officials of Dajing are all high-level workers, and only the lords are the ones in power in this country. Otherwise it would not have been the Ministry of Clan Affairs that drafted the decree. Mian Wenyao said again, "Your Majesty, this is the list sent by Zhang Xian." Jingdi flipped through the list and became happier the more he looked. He couldn't help laughing and said, "Someone, read out the contents of the list." The eunuch took the list and immediately recited. On the 7th day of the 5th month in the 7th year of Shengjing, we killed 2,700 enemies, captured 1,400, destroyed Guangcheng, and obtained 200,000 dan of grain and 1,000,000 taels of gold, silver and jewelry. On the 9th day of the 5th month, we attacked Xiancheng, killed 100 enemies, captured more than 2,000 people, and obtained 270 zaroshi of grain, gold, silver, jewelry, cattle, sheep, and horses. On May 11, we attacked Inchang and killed 1,600 enemies. The eunuch's voices echoed in the hall. and each one meant Da Jing's victory. What is the nature of war? Plunder. In just over a month, Zhang Xian plundered more than 10 million taels of gold and silver and millions of dan of grain for the imperial court. This money could be used to either fill the national treasury or for disaster relief. And those captives can be recruited to replenish the lost troops of Da Jing. This made him happy, but also made him hate Fang Zhenghe even more. Fang Zhenghe led the troops as prime minister, which seemed to be a struggle between civil and military officials, but in fact, he just wanted to be conferred a title. Because Da Jing attached great importance to military merit, no one would be conferred a title without military merit. Fang Zhenghe holds the highest official rank, but he is not a lord, which is his shortcoming. Emperor Jing was also willing to give him a chance to build a wealthy family, but he was too stupid, and he killed hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians and almost pushed Da Jing into a irretrievable situation. The eunuch was still reciting, and he felt more and more cheerful. After a while, the eunuch stopped talking. But Emperor Jing was still not satisfied. The ministers all shouted, "Long live the king!" This is also the greatest achievement since Emperor Jing ascended the throne. If this information were released, it would surely deter those with ulterior motives. Thinking of this, Emperor Jing asked again, "Chang King has been on the expedition for more than a month. Has there been any news?" "Your Majesty, the transmission of news has been hindered due to the floods," the Minister of War Su Diazihong said. "But I think that God is on Jing since there has been no news from Duke Wu for so long. I believe that in a few days, there will definitely be good news." Yes, Duke Wu is full of confidence and is fully confident of conquering Dajing Pass. Maybe the victory news is already on the way. Your Majesty, rest assured, Duke Wu will bring good news, Evergreen's supporters said. Emperor Jing's mood was getting better and better. This time, Cheng King took away 60,000 Tiger Guards. You should know that these 60,000 Tiger Guards were comparable to 600,000 infantry, plus the people he brought with him. This team is comparable to an army of 8 or 900,000. Rounded off, that's a million troops. This is a lion that can defeat an army of millions. He thought that even if Cheng King was a pig, he could still recapture Dajing Pass. Thinking of this, the smile on his face became even more intense. It seems that fate still favors him. As for the coward Emperor Xia, he has been frightened by Biao Yang. He was very much looking forward to seeing what Emperor Xia's expression would be when he knew that Dajing had defeated Biao Yang. He felt excited just thinking about it. Just then, a voice came from outside the palace. 100 miles of urgent news. Huju Pass urgent news. Everyone looked behind them at the same time. Speaking of Cheng King, news about Cheng King came. Your Majesty, this must be good news. Yes, it must be good news. I would like to congratulate Your Majesty on conquering Dajing Pass. These people didn't even know what the urgent report said, and they started praising Cheng King and congratulating Emperor Jing. As a result, the entire hall became festive. Emperor Jing couldn't wait to say, "Make way, let the messenger in." Soon, the scout came in. Exhausted, he knelt on the ground and said in a deep voice, "Your Majesty, urgent news from Tiger Pass. My dear Minister Su, please check the envelope if there is any problem. Read it out loud." Although Emperor Jing wanted to know the contents of the letter, he still pretended to be calm as an emperor. He couldn't be as clumsy as other people. Su Diazihong responded, then quickly walked to the scout, took the letter and checked it. Your Majesty, the envelope is intact. Read. Emperor Jing rubbed his hands and half of his body was pressed on the desk. Chapter 147. Biao Yang can't be defeated, Li Yuan can't be provoked. Su Diazihong nodded and opened the envelope under everyone's gaze. But when he saw the first sentence of the urgent report, Su Diazihong was stuck. In the late spring of the 7th year of Shengjing. What's wrong? Read it. Minister Su, what are you waiting for? Read it now. Were you shocked by the news of the great victory? Everyone around joked. Su Diazihong's face turned pale and his breathing almost stopped. He moved his lips, but found that he could not make any sound. Emperor Jing was also anxious. Su King, what are you standing there for? Read quickly. Your Majesty, this is not. What is this? Emperor Jing frowned and lost his patience. Wen Yao, read it? Wen Yao had a bad premonition. He took a deep breath, walked up to Su Diazihong, and was about to take the letter when he saw Su Diazihong shaking his head secretly at him. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this really wasn't good news? The moment he took the letter, Wen Yao's heart sank and cold sweat broke out on his back. He clutched the letter, his body stiff, his throat tight, and his expression exactly the same as Su Diazihong's. Wen Yao, read it quickly. Emperor Jing said anxiously, "What the hell are you two doing? Are you trying to give me a surprise?" Wen Yao smiled bitterly. "What a bullshit surprise, it's more like a scare. Su Diazihong, you have killed me, Neon Wenyao glared at Su Dizi Hong and cursed his ancestors in his heart. Facing the emperor's urging, Neon Wenyao laughed dryly. Your Majesty, this. Even though he was resourceful, he didn't know what to say at this moment. Because no matter what, as long as he reads out the contents of the letter, he will be wrong. Emperor Jing became impatient and looked at the crown prince beside him. My son, go and read it. Xi Cheng hurriedly stepped out of the line and walked to Neon Wenyao's side, seeing his uncle smiling. He didn't think there was anything wrong. He took the letter and was stunned at the first glance. Father, this. Xi Cheng was about to cry. This was not good news at all. It was clearly bad news. You stuttered. Read it quickly. Emperor Jing's face had darkened. He realized something was wrong. No matter what is written in the letter, I can't accept it. Xi Cheng glanced at his uncle and gritted his teeth and said, Duku Chengking stored water at Hukudu for many days in an attempt to flood Biaoyang. However, the Hukudu Dam could not bear the weight and collapsed on its own, flooding 100 miles. Millions of people in Hukudu were in danger, and countless people were killed and injured. Because of the water storage in Chengking, the rainwater in the southeast could not be discharged in time, thus causing floods in the southeast. Before Xi Cheng finished reading, everyone in the hall was in an uproar. The officials who supported Chengking were panicking at this moment. Emperor Jing felt even more dizzy. He was so busy with disaster relief in the court. But it turned out that the flood was caused by that bastard Chengking. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth, saying, How dare Chengking? There are millions of people. What on earth does he want to do? Your Majesty, Dooku also wanted to attack Biaoyang, so he thought of using water to attack. That's right. If we can conquer Biaoyang, some sacrifices are acceptable. Your Highness, the letter should contain information about Dooku's great victory over Biaoyang, right? Xi Cheng shook his head and continued reading. Biaoyang secretly instigated General Hin of Hukudu to rebel, tricked Chengking to the outside of Dajing Pass, and conspired with Li Yuan to kill Chengking and his son. And they tricked the gate of Huju Pass into opening. As the flood submerged the land, the Huben army was useless. Thus Chengking's army was completely annihilated and Huju Pass was lost. What did you say? Emperor Jing's face was full of shock at this moment. He had lost his previous calmness, and was only filled with fear and anger. He thought this was good news, but he didn't expect it to be a heavy blow from Biaoyang. Especially the words, the entire army was wiped out, made Emperor Jing terrified. And his fear of Biaoyang reached a new level. He lost his balance and fell off the desk to the ground. Your Majesty, Neon Wenyao was horrified and rushed forward first. Father! Xi Cheng was also extremely anxious, but the other princes had already surrounded him. The entire hall was in chaos. Chengking's supporters looked dejected. They knew that Chengking was finished, and they were finished too. I thought Chengking would be a hero, but I didn't expect that he was not even as good as a bear. The strongest point of the Huben army is land warfare, and he actually thought of using water to attack Biaoyang. This is just asking for trouble. Although the others were not supporters of Chengking, they were also unhappy because the court had suffered a defeat. Some people have calculated that in just 5 years, the imperial court has lost nearly 1 million elite troops in the war against Biaoyang. This is almost half of Dajing's military force. Dajing has been seriously injured. Even with Zhang Xian's expansion of territory, it would not be possible to make up for the losses. At this time, Neon Wenyao hurriedly pinched Emperor Jing's philtrum and woke him up. Emperor Jing was in so much pain, he was just pretending to faint. He was not really unconscious. He really didn't know how to face these people. As high-spirited as he was just now, he is now in a state of disgrace. He pretended to be confused, then sighed, it hurts so much. Neon Wenyao knelt on the ground, hugged Emperor Jing, and choked up, Your Majesty, it is all because of our incompetence that Your Majesty has been wronged. Everyone around knelt down one after another. We are incompetent and have made Your Majesty suffer. Father, I am willing to fight to avenge Dajing's previous humiliation, Xi Cheng said while kneeling on the ground. Emperor Jing shook his head, but did not respond. Instead, he looked at Neon Wenyao. Wenyao, I am heartbroken. It's all my fault. I mistakenly trusted Chengking, which caused the people in the southeast and the people in Hukudu to suffer such a disaster. If not, the hundreds of thousands of troops wouldn't have been completely destroyed in Biaoyang. Your Majesty, all the mistakes are Chengking's fault. If he had not disregarded the lives of the people, this would not have happened. I think the most urgent task is to investigate Chengking's faults, punish his clan, and destroy his family, so as to give an explanation to the people of the world. Neon Wenyao said. Emperor Jing didn't even think about it. This damn thing, I wish I could kill all his 9 clans. But considering that his ancestors also made great contributions to the court, I will just kill his clan. I'll leave this matter to you. Yes, Your Majesty, Neon Wenyao replied, and then helped Emperor Jing up. Emperor Jing sat on the dragon chair and looked at the people around him. All 60,000 tiger guards have been defeated, and Huju Pass has also been lost. Liu Yuan can attack the hinterland at any time. Do you have any good plans? Ba Shen couldn't defeat Biao Yang, Fang Zheng he couldn't defeat Biao Yang, and even Chen Qing was dead. Who would dare to speak rashly? Losing is not scary. What is scariest is to be exterminated after losing. Moreover, the successive defeats have made all the civil and military officials in the court terrified at the mention of Lu. This also made them all understand one thing: they cannot defeat Biao Yang and they cannot mess with Liu Yuan. Chapter 148 Two-Pronged Approach. The silence of the crowd was very disheartening in the eyes of Emperor Jing. Is there no one in such a huge Jing dynasty who has a good plan? Emperor Jing looked at Su Diazihong behind the crowd. Mrs. Yu, you are the Minister of War and have read many military books. Do you have a good plan? Everyone looked at Su Diazihong. Su Diazihong doesn't know how to do it anymore. He doesn't have any good ideas at all. The imperial court has sent in 1,000,000 rupees. If he had a good idea, would he ask the emperor to name it? At this moment, he hated himself for not being the Minister of Works. Why did he have to be the Minister of War? Only then did he remember that the Minister of War had been replaced several times in the past few years. I think that Biao Yang cannot be defeated by force, and can only be defeated by wits. Su Diazihong's brain was spinning rapidly. Oh, then how do you think we can defeat him cleverly? Emperor Jing asked. Liu Yuan is ambitious, otherwise he wouldn't care about the lives of the people of Bau Jingji. But the premise is, don't provoke him. For so many years, he has not actively attacked anyone. Facts have proved that Liu Yuan's sights should be on the territory of Daqian. After all, he is now fighting on two fronts. No matter how powerful Bai Liang is, it is impossible for it to fight against the superpowers at the same time. Therefore, I think that Liu Yuan's target should be changed. You mean to ask Liu Yuan to turn his attention to Daqian? Your Majesty is wise. Su Diazihong wiped the sweat from his forehead. He couldn't possibly say that he wanted to negotiate peace with Biao Yang, right? Nian Wenyao asked with great interest. Minister Su, is there any specific method of operation? This is also simple. We will form an alliance with Daqian. Su Diazihong glanced at Xia Cheng. I believe that Bianjing is also in a state of panic at the moment. If we form an alliance, we will stop attacking Daqian. The requirement for a ceasefire is for the Daqian court to hand over Liu Yuan. In other words, this is not the real purpose. The real purpose is to sow discord between Liu Yuan and the Daqian court. As long as those people believe that Liu Yuan has rebellious intentions, they will push Liu Yuan away. And Liu Yuan will naturally focus on Daqian. Everyone was thinking about Su Diazihong's words. Nian Wenyao narrowed his eyes and said, this method is very clever if it is used properly. It may be possible to induce the three countries to take action against Biao Yang at the same time. No matter how powerful Liu Yuan is, he can't possibly face the armies of the three kingdoms, right? Emperor Jing's eyes also lit up. He looked at Xia Cheng and asked, are you willing to marry the princess of Daqian? Father, I am willing to do so, but is Daqian willing to let their princess be a concubine? Xia Cheng frowned. You don't have to worry about this. Emperor Jing thought for a while. This method is feasible. Then send someone to ask Zhang Xian to stop the war and go to Daqian Bianjing to form a marriage alliance. But that's all for the future. What if Biao Yang invades during this time? Su Diazihong stopped talking and looked at Nian Wenyao. Nian Wenyao also kept silent. If Biao Yang wanted to fight, they could only passively accept the beating. If you fail to major hurdles in a row, it will be useless. Even if the Bodhisattva comes, send people to guard the border first. I'm tired. Emperor Jing waved his hand tiredly, and then called Nian Wenyao and other trusted heroes to the study, and then asked, negotiation or marriage? It will take at least 1 or 2 months. How can we stop Liu Yuan during this period? He has already accepted the reality. It is a fact that they cannot defeat Biao Yang without the support of the strong pass. It will be even more difficult for them to hold on to their territory. The speed of losing territory will only be faster than Zhang Xian's attack on Daqian Jingshao. It's too late to mobilize troops. I think the most urgent task is to urgently recruit soldiers and then strengthen the defense around Xingjing, Nian Wenyao said. Then recruit 300. 500,000 soldiers. Emperor Jing shook his head again. It's still too few, at least 800,000. Su Diazihong was speechless. 800,000 would cost him his life. Not to mention that we are in a prosperous era now, even if it is a chaotic era. How many people would be willing to join the army? Conscript them. Only child families are not required to recruit. Families with brothers, married with children, and under the age of 40 must send people. Emperor Jing was also ruthless. The Ministry of War must handle this well. Su Diazihong sighed secretly. Yes, Your Majesty. Your Majesty. I have something to say, but I don't know whether I should say it or not, said Wu Sheng, Duke of Ying. He was considered a long-standing military hero in Dajing. But his grandfather's glory was no longer there because his family's glory was too prominent after following the emperor's example. He rarely spoke because he was afraid of being liquidated. You say, the princess is still in Biaoyang. I think that compared to the marriage with Da Qian, the most important thing is to marry with Biaoyang. But Li Yuan doesn't accept it. Isn't my imperial edict clear enough? Emperor Jing thought Wu Sheng could come up with some good suggestions. I understand, but the last imperial decree was to reward marriage and recruit. This time, Biaoyang should be placed on an equal footing with Da Jing. Li Yuan refused the imperial edict because he was ambitious, which just proved what Minister Su said. An ambitious person will never accept charity from others. Wu Sheng said solemnly, then please do what he wants and become brothers with Biaoyang. Emperor Jing looked extremely ugly. Emir Biaoyang is trying to be equal to Da Jing and call itself a brother? If someone had dared to say that a few years ago, he would have punished him severely. But now, he was silent. In this case, even if the Da Qian court does not believe that Lu Yuan is plotting a rebellion, it will not work. Wu Sheng explained. Everyone's eyes lit up. Su Diazi Hong said anxiously, Your Majesty. What Du Qing said makes sense. This method is wonderful. We should split the troops into two groups. One group will send the bride and recognize Biaoyang's status, and the other group will go to Da Qian for marriage. Use two approaches at the same time to not give Li Yuan a chance to react. In this way, Li Yuan can be stabilized and an alliance with Bi and Jing can be formed. It would be best to send someone to Diaxia again so that the three countries can form an alliance and work together for great things. I still feel it's not safe. Emperor Jing also thought this was a good idea. If I were the emperor of Da Qian, even if I knew Lu Yuan had rebellious intentions, I would not turn against him at this critical moment. Your Majesty, how about giving Ba Jingji and other places to Lu Yuan? Wu Sheng asked tentatively. Emperor Jing thought for a while. But will Lu Yuan want it? Your Majesty. Don't forget that besides us, there is also Shang Ying and Biu Jingji. This method is very good. Emperor Jing smiled again. Then who will go to Bai Liang to send the wedding off? Emperor Jing glanced at everyone. This time no one dared to look up. Are you kidding? Who dares to go to Biaoyang? How did Shang Tsung Nian die? He was shot in the head. Li Yuan is a murderer who will start a fight if he disagrees with something. Your Majesty, why not choose someone from the royal family? Wu Sheng said. That way, it will show respect. Xia Cheng was so nervous that he wanted to lock his head against his chest. He said to himself, Don't let me go, don't let me go. However, Emperor Xia glanced around and his eyes stayed on Xia Cheng. Prince, you go in my place. Chapter 149, Leaving a Name in History. Xia Cheng was dumbfounded. He was the crown prince, the heir to Dajing. How could he go abroad so easily? Besides, that's Biaoyang, a place where people are eaten without leaving any bones. What if Li Yuan detained himself as well? Is the court capable of saving itself? He looked to Nian Wenyao for help, but Nian Wenyao pretended not to see it. Fortunately, several officials from poor families stood up and said, Your Majesty, Li Yuan is a man who doesn't follow the rules. We can't let the prince take risks. Your Majesty, please think twice. Emperor Jing said, How can I not understand this truth? Besides, as the eldest brother, it is only natural for him to send his sister to marry. Okay, that's settled. Everyone leave now. Emperor Jing waved his hand tiredly, walked away with a staggering step and a desolate back. Everyone looked at each other in bewilderment. Xia Cheng's teeth were almost broken when he heard the mocking voices of his brothers. It would be very dangerous for him to go to Biaoyang this time. He quickly caught up with Nian Wenyao. Uncle, don't you have anything to say to me? Nian Wenyao looked calm. Send her back to marry you. And everything will be fine if you don't go. Your mother can't protect you. He also heard about what his nephew had done secretly. After all, the emperor was in the prime of his life, and the prince was already grown up. Uncle, why? No reason, just do what his majesty has asked me to do. I will wait for you in Shengjing. Nian Wenyao bowed and left without looking back. Xia Cheng looked at Nian Wenyao's resolute back and felt great hatred in his heart. The flood in Biaoyang finally receded, and Li Yuan also lifted the ban on Biaoyang. After the rain, the city was filled with an earthy smell. The people are spontaneously cleaning the mud in front of their doors. And someone special was assigned to take the sludge away, and the city defense personnel were spreading lime and disinfectant to thoroughly disinfect the city. After more than half a month, Li Yuan finally returned home. The first thing I did when I got back was to pick up the little guy and hold him high. Daddy, Huan misses you so much. The little guy had a fever after getting vaccinated with cowpox a few days ago. The fever has only subsided in the past. Today she has lost a lot of weight, which made Li Yuan's eyes tear up with heartache. Daddy misses you too. Li Yuan looked at the scab on the delicate arm and blew on it with heartache. Does it still hurt? My grandma gave me some candied haws and the pain went away. Huan Huan hugged Li Yuan's shoulders and started crying as she spoke. It took Li Yuan a long time to coax her to stop crying. Ever since he had this little guy, Li Yuan felt that his heart had softened. Su Xiuyue looked at Li Yuan and wiped her tears. "Ma, I'm back now, aren't I?" Huan Huan is Li Yuan's baby. But Li Yuan is also Su Xiuyue's baby. After this trip, Li Yuan lost a lot of weight and it was obvious that he was suffering. "Brother, welcome home." Lu Lingzhi also stepped forward and gave Li Yuan a hug, her eyes red and she kept sniffing. Li Yuan touched her head and said, "Don't cry." This he thought his family. During lunch, Li Yuan told Su Xiuyue about Lu Yang. He thought Su Xiuyue would be angry, but she just said calmly, "Brothers fight together, fathers and sons fight together in battle. He thinks that doing this can help you, and that's enough. I also know that you want to arrange a better path for him, but you have to know that the path you arrange may not be the path he wants to take. Back then, you came to Biaoyang alone to take up your post, and it was full of dangers. Now he is serving in the army under your nose and working for you. What should I worry about?" Su Xiuyue paused and said, "Although I, your mother, am not from a wealthy family, I know that when brothers are united, they can break metal. Even if Xiaoyan gets hurt or disabled one day, I will accept it. Everything he has endured for the sake of our family is something I should be proud of. Don't be stressed." Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you, mother. If you really want to thank me, bring your daughter-in-law back as soon as possible and give Huan Huan a younger brother or sister," Su Xiuyue said. Li Yuan scratched his head and said, "I'm working around the corner. I'm working hard." Seeing her elder brother looking embarrassed, Lu Lingzhi was secretly happy. The meal was a joyful one. Afterwards, Li Yuan took his daughter to guide post-disaster reconstruction. The next day, after sending the little girl to kindergarten, Li Yuan received good news that the medical team had returned. Li Yuan went to greet them personally, and the leader of the team was none other than Xi Hongmei. Her job has been transferred from the Security Bureau to the Health Bureau. This time, in response to smallpox, she took the lead and personally led the team to identify the infected area, and even collapsed from exhaustion at her post at one point. Ongu also came back. She had become much more haggard these days. When she saw Li Yuan, she said, "Master, everything is fine with the old man, but he is too stubborn. I can't persuade him. He wants to stay there no matter what and revive Daqian. My old man has this temper." Li Yuan smiled bitterly, then said to Honggu, "You have worked hard these days. I will give you a few days off. Have a good rest." Honggu shook her head and just stood silently beside Li Yuan. For Honggu, not being able to stay with Li Yuan was the most difficult thing. "Hongmei, thank you for your hard work. For the people of Biaoyang, all the hard work is worth it," said Xi Hongmei. Li Yuan looked at the great doctors and bowed to the ground. "Thank you all for your contributions to Biaoyang. Yuan pays tribute to you on behalf of millions of people in this prefecture." "Master, you can't do that. Master, as a doctor, it is your duty to save the dying and the wounded. We cannot afford this." All the great doctors were extremely excited to be treated with such courtesy by the master. What difference would it make even if they died? Moreover, as soon as they entered the territory of Biaoyang, they saw stories about their imitation of smallpox everywhere. They had already become heroes of Biaoyang. Some people who are short-sighted have already had tears in their eyes. "Of course you can bear it," Li Yuan said with a smile. "Everyone, go back and have a good rest first. Tomorrow, I will award you medals in the square." "Thank you, master." In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. The square was already crowded with people. Li Yuan stood on the stage, with the medical team in front of him. Li Yuan said, "This time, Shongshu and Tongshu had a smallpox epidemic. Although we took timely measures to prevent and control it, more than 1,000 people died of smallpox. However, through the unremitting efforts of our great medical team, we used the method of inoculating cowpox to completely prevent and control smallpox, thus saving Biaoyang from a major epidemic. Saved countless people and properties. Here, I would like to thank them in front of the people of the whole city. Life is fragile, and everyone should be grateful to great doctors." At the same time, after discussion by everyone in the prefectural government, it was decided to award the special merit to the medical team. In addition, each person would receive a special merit once. In addition, the deeds of the great doctor team will be included in the Biaoyang textbooks, so that students can learn the fearless spirit of great doctors. As soon as he finished speaking, the great doctors were so excited that they burst into tears. This was what it meant to leave one's name in history. Chapter 150, The 5 Mountains Are Gathered. After awarding the medical team the Hero Medal and the Special Merit Trophy, Li Yuan also awarded them medals. Look carefully, it is a real lordship. However, this honor is different from the king, duke, marquis, earl, viscount and baron in the imperial court. It is divided into 6 levels: iron, tin, copper, silver, gold and jade. 6 badges of different materials represent 6 levels of glory. However, he had no fiefdom or fiefdom, but he had certain privileges, such as he did not have to bow when meeting an official. He did not have to be punished, he could directly write to the prefect's office, he received a certain salary subsidy every month, and his children had preferential treatment, etc. The existing reward and punishment system is quite stimulating for people within the system, but it actually means little to the common people. So Liu Yuan decided to add a new item to motivate everyone. Anyone who has made significant contributions to Biaoyang County, regardless of gender, age or status, has the opportunity to be awarded a medal. After being awarded the medal, everyone in the medical team was very excited. At this moment, they became heroes and meritorious officials of Biaoyang Prefecture. People all over the city also started discussing it. Afterwards, Liu Yuan announced publicly that Huju Pass would be established as Huashan County, and another city would be built at Huku Ferry, named Hengshan. At this point, the 5 mountains are gathered together. Liu Yuan felt an indescribable emotion rising. After the ceremony, Liu Yuan went straight to attend a military meeting. The main purpose is to introduce the generals of the Hukudu Navy to all the generals. This is Han, the brigade commander of the 2nd Naval Division. Han also stood up in a hurry. I'm Han. And I'm new to Biaoyang, please take care of me. After taking over Huju Pass, Liu Yuan ordered the navy to search and rescue the people. Han even used the heads of Chengqing and his son to commemorate the people who died in the disaster. Liu Yuan waved his hand and ordered the construction of a cemetery around Huku Ferry to bury the people who died tragically. I didn't kill Bo Ren, but Bo Ren died because of me. And Liu Yuan felt bad about it. Everyone looked at Han. Needless to say, Wang Zhonghu, Chen Yuan and others were all convinced by Han. Wu Sixai, commander of the firearms brigade, Wu Sixai stood up. Welcome Commander Ray Che to join Biaoyang. Thank you, Brigade Commander Wu. Zheng Liujin, commander of the Moda O Brigade, welcome to join Biaoyang. Ji Irma O, commander of the cavalry brigade, welcome to join Biaoyang. Everyone introduced themselves and gave Hai a friendly smile. But Liu Yuan was very clear that the entire army had been divided into 2 systems. The newcomers and the Biaoyang elders. Although they seemed to have good intentions, one could actually tell at a glance that these people were looking at Han, Yu and others with scrutiny. Even Chen Yuan is not welcome. This is exactly the effect Liu Yuan wants. Now that everyone has met, I have a few things to say. And everyone sat up straight, holding paper and pen, ready to take notes. It was also Han's first time to attend such a meeting. He picked up the pencil produced in Biaoyang and opened the brand new notebook feeling quite curious. Han has joined Biaoyang so far. The last shortcoming of Biaoyang has been made up next. The Navy will be divided into 2 sections. The 1st Brigade of the Navy will be under the command of Chen Yuan, and will be mainly responsible for the daily patrol of the 50 Li River in Hengshan County. The 2nd Naval Brigade, under the command of Han, will be responsible for daily patrols within 50 miles of Huku Ferry. The engineering team will repair the Hukudu Dam as quickly as possible, and the workers will further clear the silt and reinforce the river embankment. Among the people originally brought by Han, we will select some older ones to serve as river escorts, and they will be managed and responsible by people from Huku Ferry Company. You have no objection to this, right? I don't have any. Han shook his head. Biaoyang only wants elites, and those who are unqualified will be kicked out of the barracks. He was so grateful that Liu Yuan was able to find a good way out for these people. Liu Yuan nodded and continued. In addition to daily training, the construction of Huashan County will be supervised by Han. In the future, Huashan County will serve as a living point for the people of Hukudu. Its importance is no less than that of Taishan County. When coming from the inland river, Han passed through Taishan County, which was a majestic city far superior to ordinary cities. Although it was not as impressive as Dajingguan and Biailiang City, it was shocking enough. It would be a comfort to him if the people of Hukudu could live in such a place. I would like to thank the commander on behalf of the people of Hukudu. Huku Ferry is now also Biaoyang's territory, and the people there are naturally Biaoyang's people. However, Biaoyang's rules are different from Dajing's. You have to cooperate with the staff of the county government to do a good job on this, Liu Yuan reminded. The land in Biaoyang is collectively owned by the government, and the government arranges distribution in a unified manner. However, as the territory became larger and larger, the government office had limited manpower. So Liu Yuan decided to relax some restrictions. Village contract system, group contract system, equal distribution of land. According to the village collective income, 10 of the total amount will be collected, and the rest will be divided equally. Liu Yuan thought about distributing the tax based on the amount of land he owned, making the fire consumption tax public, and even exempting the grain tax. But now Biaoyang's ability to resist risks is still too low. It needs to fully promote high-yield crops such as sweet potatoes and potatoes, and then gradually reduce grain tax collection, or even eliminate it. Yes, Commander. Ian replied. Ocean did a great job in this battle. He was promoted to Deputy Brigade Commander, and the Xianzhen camp was promoted to Xianzhen Brigade. Thank you very much, Commander. Pashan couldn't help but feel happy. Wu Sixai has been promoted to Deputy Commander of the 3rd Armed Division. Thank you, Commander. Wu Sixai was overjoyed. He secretly glanced at Wang Dabiao, feeling indescribably proud. Wang Dabiao was so angry that his teeth were itching, but there was nothing he could do because he didn't get any credit at all this time. Afterwards, Li Yuan promoted all the low-ranking officers who had made meritorious contributions this time, basically filling all the extra positions. However, the positions of commanders of the 4th and 5th Armed Divisions remain vacant. Now that there is one more navy, it means that the position of the commander of the 6th Navy Division is also vacant. He can only take on the role temporarily. After explaining all the arrangements, Li Yuan finally said, the July sports meeting will be held as scheduled, and it will be even more lively than the International Conference. And this time, unlike the International Conference, it is limited to merchants. In order to stimulate business in Biaoyang Prefecture, foreign citizens will be allowed to enter the country. All personnel must be alert and be on guard against enemy invasion. Yes, Commander. Everyone shouted in unison. The meeting is adjourned. As soon as Li Yuan left, Wang Dabiao came over with a flattering face and said, Commander, I have been reflecting on myself for so long. Can you give me priority in the next battle? Have you finished compressing 100,000 rounds of bullets? Li Yuan glanced at him. What does the war have to do with you, the director of the bullet factory? Wang Dabiao cried. Commander, I was wrong. It's no use being wrong. I'll talk about it when we've finished rolling out 100. 0 bullets. If you're slacking off, you'll just retire in the bullet factory. Li Yuan snorted coldly. Only Wang Dabiao was left scratching his head in grievance. Everyone laughed. Wang Mazi, you deserve it. Chapter 151 Lianla. After the flood receded, Biaoyang ushered in a new round of infrastructure construction. In order to prevent floods from submerging Biaoyang again, Li Yuan decided to dig more waterways in Biaoyang, deepen the river channels, reinforce the river embankments, build bridges and roads, and allow boats to pass under the bridges. Hundreds of thousands of workers went out in force to work day and night. Li Yuan walked barefoot on the huge Sen table. Hukudu is a huge treasure trove. The fishery is well developed and the water demand is huge. We must make good use of it. Seeing Li Yuan lying there with his butt sticking out, Honggu also found it funny. How does the master want to use him? Build dams and hydroelectric power plants to reduce the pressure on thermal power generation. After all, we are short of coal. And basically all coal is supplied to steel mills first. If we have hydroelectric power generation, we can save a lot of coal every year and increase power generation. Controlling Huku Ferry is equivalent to strangling the throat of the trade route. It is impossible for Dajing to cross Huku Ferry, right? Therefore, we set up for ships at Huku Ferry and collected fees from merchant ships. We can easily earn hundreds of thousands of tiles every year. What does it matter how much money it costs to build a dam? The last thing Biaoyang lacks is money, even if it takes several years and costs tens of millions. It is nothing. This is a major project that will benefit the present and future generations. The 3 million people of Biaoyang are all enjoying the benefits brought by the Hukudu Dam. Honggu tilted her head and looked at the man in front of her. He was always like this, thinking about the people's selflessness. I never thought about gaining more benefits for myself. He was clearly the king of Biaoyang, possessing countless power and wealth, but he lived a secluded life and rarely went out. The most extravagant enjoyment he enjoyed was to have Mu Rong Wanking sing a song for him alone. He never uses his power to oppress others, nor does he bully or exploit the people. How could there be such a man in this world? Seeing that Honggu was silent, Li Yuan turned his head and asked, Why, is there something on my face? Honggu came back to her senses, her heartbeat inexplicably accelerated. No, I just feel that I am very happy to be able to live in Biaoyang in this life. Li Yuan jumped off the sand table and said with a smile, That's nothing. But days are still to come. At this moment, Liu Su hurried over to report, Master. Someone from Songshan County said that Diaxia has sent an envoy. Oh? Li Yuan put on the new flip-flops released this summer and said, Who is leading the team? What are they doing here? A leader of the team is Li Yuniyang's younger brother, Prince Jingzhong Likumya. It is said that he is here to marry. Liu Su said. A wedding, Li Yuan said with a smile. Aren't you here to surrender? This is a letter from the Great Texia Kingdom. Please have a look, sir. Liu Su took out the letter and handed it over. Li Yuan put on his gloves slowly, then opened the letter and started reading it. Safety first. Who knows if they would put some chronic poison on the letter? After reading the letter, Li Yuan chuckled. Interesting, they are here to ask for peace. Master, what are the Deaxia people's plans? Honggu asked curiously. Look for yourself. Li Yuan handed her the credentials and asked her to put on gloves. After reading it, Honggu's eyes were about to spit fire. She is just the princess of Daixia. She even sent Li Quniang's family along with her. What good intentions could she have? Besides, Deaxia Pass is our spoils of war. Why should we ask him for a reward? That being said, Deaxia is still the most powerful country in the world. We can understand him trying to save face, right? Then sir, are you going to let them pass through the customs? Liu Su asked. Let them in, Lu Yuan said. At this time, Achaiyan also sent someone over. Commander, the people from the Dajing delegation are here. Lu Yuan was stunned, and said with a playful smile, did these two groups of people come here together? Are the people from the Dajing delegation here to surrender? I don't know, I only know that the leader of the team is the Crown Prince Dajing. Our brigade commander asked me to ask you for instructions. The Crown Prince of Jing is here. It seems that the Emperor of Jing is quite sincere, Lu Yuan said. Let them in. It's the commander. At this time, outside Songshan County, a large group of people stopped outside the city. Li Kungai looked at the big Songshan County, on the plaque, feeling mixed emotions. Uncle, the people of Bialiang are too unreasonable. We have come all the way here, and they just leave us out here. The speaker was a young boy with red lips and white teeth. He had long eyelashes, big eyes, and skin that was as smooth as a baby's. There was a faint fragrance on his body. His white teeth were neat and bright. But he had no Adam's apple, so it was easy for people to recognize that he was a girl dressed as a woman. Princess Biaoyang is the victorious side and is in a very arrogant moment. It's a good thing they didn't shoot directly. Li Kone was worried. He was overwhelmed with such a little girl following him. Uncle, just wait and see this time. I will definitely be able to crack the formula of Biaoyang gunpowder in time. I will be able to conquer Biaoyang. Li Yanli puffed out her chest confidently. She had been fascinated by the strange and ingenious skills in the eyes of the world since she was a child. When she was 8 years old, she had replicated half of the imperial city. Emperor Rexia loved this little daughter who disliked needlework and loved Mohism to the core. He gave her almost all the best and doted on her even more than Li Wuyu. The most important thing is that Li Yanli handmade a musket, which was almost identical to the one he had stolen from Biaoyang. Not only that, she also disassembled the musket parts and had them produced on an assembly line. In the past few years, Deaxia has accumulated thousands of bird guns, all thanks to Li Yanli. Now all we need to do is to uncover the secret formulae of gunpowder so that the bird gun can unleash its true combat power. Deaxia will no longer be intimidated by Biaoyang. But the size of Deaxia, it would only take 1 or 2 years to overwhelm Biaoyang. At that time, it was no longer a dream for Deaxia to unify the 3 kingdoms. Emperor Xia was naturally reluctant to let Li Yanli take the risk, but Li Yanli vowed that she would be able to crack the gunpowder, so Emperor Xia had to let her come. Gunpowder is too important to Deaxia. Emperor Xia will not let it go even if there is a slight hope. Li Kungai sighed. I hope so. It's not a hope. It's a certainty, Li Yanli corrected. This girl is quite stubborn. Li Kungai shook his head secretly. At this time, Cao Yanhu appeared and said to the people below, according to the order of the master, the Deaxia delegation is allowed to enter the country. But it is stipulated in advance that all weapons must be temporarily stored in Songshan County. If anyone is found carrying weapons without permission and posing a threat to the safety of the people of Biaoyang, he will be killed without mercy. This is too much. Can't the guards bring their weapons in? Li Yanli was very angry. Princess, please be patient. Li Kungai was helpless. This girl thought that war was just a game. Biaoyang was already doing well. Li Yanli also knew that the situation was stronger than people, so he could only swallow his anger. But what made Li Yanli even angrier was that they had to be searched before entering the city. Even the women who came to the wedding were not spared. Chapter 152. The people of Biaoyang are so happy. This is too much. Li Yanli was so angry that he trembled. Princess, please be patient. This is on Biaoyang's territory. Li Kungai reminded. This is Deaxia Pass. Li Yanli corrected. Li Kungai smiled bitterly. This is Deaxia Pass, but now it is called Songshan County. Everyone get out of the car and get ready for inspection. The city gate opened, and a team of soldiers armed with lead ammunition walked out, pointing their guns at everyone. Li Kungai jumped out of the car and went to negotiate with Cao Yanhu. Sir Cao, there is no need to search the female relatives, right? Cao Yanhu waved his hand without thinking. No, you must search me. He waved his hand and the female soldier behind him came over. Li Kungai was also angry, but he felt relieved when he saw that the person doing the body search was a female soldier. He opened his hands, search. At this time, Li Yanli also set her eyes on the weapons in the soldiers' hands and became obsessed with them. She jumped off the carriage, walked up to a soldier, and reached out to touch the gun. At this moment, the soldier shouted and his finger was on the trigger. Li Kunye was also frightened and broke out in a cold sweat. "Anla, come back, don't shoot." Bang! When the soldier heard what Li Kunye said, he did not shoot immediately. Instead, he knocked Li Yanla to the ground with the butt of his rifle, and then fired a warning shot into the air. "If you dare to come closer, I will kill you." Li Yanla's frail body could not withstand the blow. He was dizzy and fell to the ground, unable to get up for a while. "Little princess." Li Kunye was furious and rushed to Li Yanla regardless of everything. The people from Diachia who were sending the wedding delegation also gritted their teeth and glared at the Bai Liang soldiers. "Are you okay, little princess?" Li Kunai looked at the cut on Li Yanla's forehead and cursed. "What can a little girl like her do to endanger Bai Liang? Is it necessary to kill her? We are here to present the wedding, not to be bullied." "How you didn't buy it? No one asked you to come to the wedding. I don't care if she is a princess or not. Who made her so bold as to snatch the gun?" Despite such an obvious maneuver, my men did not open fire, which showed their restraint. "If you can't stand it, go home." That arrogant attitude was hard for everyone in Diaxia to accept. "Uncle, I'm fine." Li Yanla was in so much pain that tears welled up in her eyes, but she was happy in her heart just now. She had already looked at Bai Liang's new gun thoroughly. Although she didn't know its internal structure yet, she would be able to recover if given time. Thinking of this little pain seemed nothing to her. Li Kunye said distressed, "Don't worry, one day, uncle will avenge you." Li Yanla nodded and whispered something to Li Kunye. Li Kunye was stunned, and then he was shocked. He took a deep look at the little girl in his arms. This who Niu was to rash. He hurriedly asked the accompanying doctor to treat Li Yanla's wound. At the same time, he also knew that this trip to Biaoyang would definitely not be so smooth. After the search, Cao Wianhu said, "Let me be frank, since we have entered Biaoyang, we must follow Biaoyang's rules." "Don't blame me for not reminding you." Li Kunye asked, "Can you let us into the city now?" "Please." Cao Wianhu turned sideways and made a gesture of invitation. Li Kunye snorted coldly and got on the carriage. The convoy entered Songshan County. And everyone looked at the scene in the city curiously. The areas that were originally destroyed by the fire have been rebuilt, and the entire Songshan County has been completely renewed. Li Yanla curled his lips. "They say Biaoyang is unrivaled in the world, but I don't think it's that great except for the fact that the roads are a little smoother and there are a few more houses. How can it compare to Lijiang? I came to Diaxiaguan 2 years ago, and there is a big difference at that time. The city was full of dirt roads and the houses were very low. I almost don't recognize it when I come in again. There are still many construction sites in the city. It is hard to imagine how beautiful these projects will be once they are completed. Repair it. The better it is, the better it will be for Diaxia in the future." Li Yanla leaned on the pillow dejectedly. After leaving Songshan County, the group headed north and arrived at Biaoyang City after dark. At the city gate, they were searched again before being allowed to enter the city. Li Yanla said, "This Lu Jiao, you must be a person who is extremely afraid of death." "This is not fear of death, but caution. People like this are the most difficult to deal with," said Li Kunye. "I'm just afraid of death." Li Yanla snorted, then leaned on the car window. Looking at everything in Biaoyang City curiously, the buildings were lined up one after another, the neon lights of different colors were flashing a hazy light, and the streets were full of traffic. This was actually a city that never sleeps. No matter how good Lijiang is, there should be a curfew at this time. But Biaoyang City has no curfew. The people at the meeting were all passers-by, all dressed appropriately, as if each of them was a wealthy landlord. The more Li Kunye looked, the more frightened he became along the way. He kept comparing Lijiang with Biaoyang, only to find that Lijiang, the best in the world, was surpassed. "Uncle, if I could develop lightning, I could make Lijiang a city that never sleeps. Electricity is so expensive now, 10 ols for 1 kilowatt-hour. Li Yanla counted on his fingers and said sadly, "Last month, the palace used 3,000 kilowatt-hours and 30 zerotals were gone." Li Kunye laughed dryly. His family's electricity bill was 800 degrees last month. Fortunately, it was all donated by his subordinates, so he didn't have to pay a penny. Since it didn't cost any money, he moved the wiring and installed electric lights in every room. The whole set cost at least tens of thousands of taels of silver. Having this electric light is indeed convenient, and his palace has completely abandoned candles. "Uncle, this Liyuan is too rude. We came all the way here, but no one greeted us." "Wow. Uncle, look, that's Mixue City, and there's Snow King cake shoppins in Hua bookstore. I saw these in books. Wow, look over there, there is a candy store. Candy is so expensive, these people can actually afford it." Li Yanla leaned against the window and stopped scolding Liyuan. His heart had already flown away. Hearing the song played by Mixue City, she also hummed along, "You love me, I love you. Mixue City is sweet." Li Kunye sighed. This girl is, after all, just a child who has not grown up. From the beginning till now, there has been only one person leading the way, and he is also clear about Liu Yuan's attitude. He simply stopped the convoy and said to Lianla, "Come on, uncle will take you to buy some delicious food." The girl got off the carriage and became very happy. She ordered a matcha milk cap first, then ran to the Snow King cake shop to buy a bunch of cakes, and then went to the Xinhua bookstore to buy more than a dozen novels updated to the latest series. Then she happily returned to the carriage and said with emotion, "Wow, the people of Bai Liang are so happy." Chapter 153. Am I funny? Li Kunai smiled helplessly. As expected, in the world of children, happiness lies in having food, drink and fun. But it has to be said that the happiness index of people in Bai Liang is very high. But what worries him is that the whole city needs electricity. How many kilowatt hours of electricity will be used in a day? Li Yuan is such a prodigal son. Afterwards, the group checked into the guest house. At this time, Li Wuyu was playing. And it took a long time to finish. "Master, are you satisfied?" Li Wuyu knelt in front of Li Yuan. "It's okay, but not as good as Murong W Anking," Li Yuan said while drinking ginseng tea. Li Wuyu was secretly angry. He practiced so hard, couldn't he praise himself? Also, every time we practice, arouse her so much, can't we do something substantial? Then I will work hard. She pouted and tapped Li Yuan's legs unhappily. But then she thought of something and said, "Master, this time my father asked my 8th uncle to come over. What do you think?" "Not really. I don't expect to be your wife, but I can be your bed warmer, right?" "My father came with sincerity this time, so please don't refuse, okay?" As long as Liu Yuan accepts it, she will be able to turn the tables and become the master. "You can be a bed warmer, but you can't be a concubine. Is it because I didn't do well enough?" Li Wuyu said a grieved lie. Li Yuan put down the teacup. He was a man who was afraid of death. Li Wuyu was too worried. So it was okay to appreciate her occasionally. But you must never let her be your pillow partner. As for Chen Yuan and Li Quniang, they do need to be appeased. Let's talk about this after you beat Wu Rong W Anking. Li Yuan waved his hand. "I'm tired, go down." Li Wuyu was very angry. This man was born in the year of the dog. He would not recognize anyone once he had his pants pulled up. But what can she do? After returning to his room, Xi Yining rushed to Li Wuyu and sniffed around. "Did you sneak into the kitchen to eat fish again?" "So what?" Li Wuyu took off the rabbit hairpin on her head in annoyance and took off her clothes. Her perfect figure that even Xi Yining was a little jealous was exposed to the air. After coming to Biaoyang, her figure has become better and better. She was puzzled and said, "I like this figure myself, why doesn't he like it?" "Why else?" "It's because you're too extravagant," Xi Yining said sarcastically. Li Wuyu smiled, and the trembling waves seemed to be mocking Xi Yining. "Can you wave?" Xi Yining snorted and simply ignored her, picking up Dream of the Red Chamber, and started reading. After all, they are both pitiful people. Li Yuan did not treat them differently just because they were old acquaintances. She was the dignified Princess Da Jing, but she did all the rough and tiring work here, such as washing clothes, mopping the floor, and wiping the table. Her white and tender hands had become rough. But Da Jing suffered another great defeat, losing Huju Pass and Huku Ferry, and losing 300,000 troops, including Da Jing's Ace Army, the Huban Army. Biaoyang's pressure had already made Xi Jing feel suffocated. "Let's make a deal. Give me your medicine. After that, I will help you take down Li Yuan," Li Wuyu said. Absolutely impossible. Xi Yining was not stupid. If she let Li Wuyu succeed, she and her family would all be promoted to higher positions. And she would be the only one left here as a slave. "I know what you're thinking." Li Wuyu walked to Xi Yining's side. "If I become a wife, I will tell Li Yuan to let you serve me exclusively, and I can guarantee that you will be exempted from those chores. Secondly, I can help you grow bigger. You know that Li Yuan likes big ones the most." Xi Yining was not interested in the others, but when she grew older, she even stopped reading books. However, she did not want to show it too obviously. "So what? You and I are now tied to the same rope. We prosper together and suffer together. The stronger Biaoyang becomes, the more the two dynasties will pay attention to Bai Liang. If you and I can never get to the top, even if we die here, we won't be able to help our country. What's the point then? I do compete with you, but at least now our goals are the same. You and I will join hands to take down Li Yuan, and we can talk about the future later. At least we must be united in front of the outside world. Otherwise there will be no hope." Xi Yining fell into deep thought. She naturally understood that what Li Wuyu said was right. "Then how can I protect my own interests? And let's do it together. This way neither you nor I will suffer any loss. How about that?" Li Wuyu didn't want to be the first to lose in the argument. That woman Xiao Ji and Jia Li Yuan 6 years ago. What they eat now are other people's leftovers. Gu and Liu Su are one in the open and one in the dark. If we are exposed, we will be dead. You know brother Li Yuan's temper. He is decisive in killing. Don't worry about it. I have my own way. Li Wuyu smiled confidently. The next day, Lu Yuan got up early, and after exercising, he went to the guest house. Li Kungai had been waiting for a long time. Sorry, I kept you waiting. Lu Yuan smiled and stretched out his hand. I've heard for a long time that Mr. Lu is both talented and handsome today. When I see him, it's true. Li Kungai smiled, feeling deeply moved. He knew that Li Yuan was young, but he didn't expect him to be so young. You're too kind. Li Yuan made a gesture of invitation. Please sit down. As he spoke, he glanced at everyone. These are platoon leader Li's relatives, right? Yes. These are all. Li Kunai nodded and introduced them. This is my sister-in-law Liu. And this is my eldest nephew Li Xingbie, and my second nephew Li Xingwu. Wow, the whole family is here. These people were also very sensible and hurried to salute Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan knew what they were thinking. Since you are all platoon leader Li's relatives, then stay in Biaoyang. I will let you reunite with platoon leader Li. Liu Su, take them to find platoon leader Li. Yes. Master. Liu Su stepped forward and said to them, follow me. After everyone left, only Li Kungai, two wedding envoys, and a little girl dressed as a man were left in the meeting room. This guy has been staring at me since I came in. Is there something on my face? Lu Yuan asked. Li Yanla tilted his head. This is not right. You are so beautiful, how can you be so hateful in your heart? After hearing this, Li Kungai and the others were terrified. And he hurriedly explained, Lu Lingjun, this is Princess Anla, the eldest princess's biological sister. She is also the wedding envoy this time. Li Yuan understood. No wonder she looked so much like Li Wuyu. However, she was smaller and her facial features were more delicate. She looked like a porcelain doll. But when he looked down, he suddenly smiled. But this laughter irritated Li Anla. What are you laughing at? Am I funny? Chapter 154. I just want an attitude. Feeling Li Yuan's gaze, Li Anla got angry. She tried to straighten her chest, hoping to look more majestic. But the wind blew through her clothes. Sorry, I just thought of something funny. Li Yuan couldn't help laughing. They were born of the same mother, but the difference between them was too big. It seemed that one was overnourished while the other was malnourished. You haven't reached the age of marriage yet. Have you? Who said that? I turned 15 last month, Li Yanla said angrily. She hated it most when people said she was young, no matter in what aspect. Then you have no hope. Li Yuan shook his head. Men and women of this era generally matured early and could not be viewed with the eyes of later generations. Who said I have no chance? Sooner or later I will catch up with my sister. You know what I'm talking about? You lecher, you filthy bastard. You may look good, but you have a dark and mean heart. Li Yanla cursed angrily. Li Kunga, I was so annoyed, my dear ancestor. This is not like Jing. If you talk nonsense, people will die. He hurriedly pulled Li Yanla back. And then explained to Lu Yuan, children speak without restraint. Please don't blame me, Lu Lingjun. Uncle Leif, I'm an adult now, Li Yanla said word by word. I am not little ancestor. Don't argue with me at this time. Li Yuan burst into laughter. He certainly wouldn't argue with a little girl. So he changed the subject and said, come on, I'll take you to visit Biaoyang, and I'll have to trouble Lu Lingjun to enjoy the fun. Li Kungai said with a bow. Biaoyang city during the day is no less prosperous than at night, and it is even clearer. Mr. Lu Lingjun was able to turn the small Biaoyang into a powerful country in just a few years. I admire him, said Li Kungai. Let me correct you. Biaoyang is not a country, it's a prefecture, Lu Yuan said. Why are you pretending? Biaoyang is already in this state. It's only a matter of time before you become king, right? Li Yanla said disdainfully. But I hate most is hypocritical people like you. When I conquer Li Jing, it won't be too late for me to become king, Li Yuan said lightly. Li Yanla's eyes widened. You. Okay, stop talking about our ancestors. Li Kungai wanted to cry but had no tears. They came to propose marriage and seek peace, not to start a dispute. Li Yuan was pissed off. And all of them died here. Lu Lingjun, don't bother with him. If you make me angry again, there's no point in talking. Li Yuan had no intention of coaxing a child. A petty-minded man. Li Yanla didn't dare to speak louder. Lu Lingjun, we are here mainly to send off the bride. Your Majesty believed the slander and joined forces with Dajing to attack Biaoyang. This time, in order to show our sincerity, we decided to marry the princess to you. I don't ask for the position of principal wife, I just ask for the position of co-wife. In addition, Diaxia Pass was also given to Biaoyang as the princess's fiefdom. My brother, Chen Yuan, also joined Biaoyang as the princess's servant. Seeing Li Yuan's half-smile, Li Kumie said under pressure, of course. We in Diaxia also hope that Lu Lingjun can let those soldiers of Diaxia go home as compensation. We in Diaxia are willing to pay 1 million dowry. Let me correct you. Diaxia Pass was conquered by Biaoyang in an honest way, was not given by Diaxia. Whether it is Chen Yuan or Li Quniang, they all voluntarily joined Biaoyang. From the moment they swore to fight for Biaoyang, They automatically renounced their Diaxia nationality now, they are Bialiang people. Those soldiers are now from Bialiang. They are in their own homes, so how can they go home? As for marrying Li Wuyu to me, I'm sorry. She can be my maid, but she is not qualified to be my equal wife. Li Yuan said calmly. It was Diaxia who provoked the war. As the criminal and defeated party, the damage you have caused to Bialiang is incalculable. We in Bialiang don't lack that million dowry. What we want is Diaxia's attitude of admitting mistakes. If you come to talk to me with a letter of apology, I think I will respect you. But now, I am disappointed. Diaxia does not deserve Bialiang's respect. Beads of sweat appeared on Li Kunai's forehead. Li Yuan was too stubborn, he did not accept Diaxia's words at all. He just wanted Diaxia to admit his mistake and pay compensation, otherwise the matter would not be over. We come here with sincerity, and I believe you can see it. No need to say more. Li Yuan interrupted him. Admit your mistakes, admit your crimes, and pay compensation. Then this matter will end here. As long as you can do that, I can let Li Wuyu go back. From now on, trade between the two sides will proceed as usual, and both sides will keep to themselves, just like before. But if Diaxia still has this attitude, the next step is that the Northern Liang army will go to Lijiang in person to ask Emperor Xia for an explanation. The accompanying envoy's face turned red. Li Yanla was so angry that she clenched her fists. Li Kunai was in a way he did not dare to ignore Lu Yuan's words. Lu Lingjun thinks he has the upper hand over Diaxia? You'll see. Li Yuan smiled today. He has grown strong and can conquer the three kingdoms. Fighting on three fronts may still be stressful, but he is absolutely capable of crushing one country. Li Yuan instructed the staff of the Foreign Affairs Bureau to continue to take them on tour and then got off the carriage. After Li Yuan left, Li Yanla said angrily, "My wife is so arrogant, I really want to beat him up. Yanla, even if you don't consider Diaxia, you should consider Wu Yu. She is still in Li Yuan's hands. If you anger him, it will only put Wu Yu in trouble." Li Kunai was also a little angry. Your Majesty asked you to come here to study, not to interfere in this matter. You get a moment's pleasure, but in return there is suffering for all. Is this what we want? It's easy to start a war, just one sentence is enough. But what if I lose? Look at Dajing, it has lost nearly 1 million elite troops and the foundation of the country has been shaken. If it weren't for the century-old foundation of the country, the world would have been in chaos by now. Li Kulei snorted coldly. The above strategy was to drive the tiger to devour the wolf. It would allow Lu Yuan to continue fighting against Dajing. But Diaxia must not fight with Bialiang again. Are Lu Yuan's requirements too demanding? This is almost the most normal request. It's just that the imperial court is unwilling to lift the veil. After losing the war, do you still want to save face and substance? That's such a good thing. Li Yanla also realized his mistake. Uncle Leif, I was wrong. Li Kunai nodded in annoyance, knowing that this matter had nothing to do with Li Yanla, and said, since Li Yuan insisted on asking for an apology and compensation, let's talk according to his request. We must complete the task assigned by His Majesty. Soon, he found Lu Yuan again, but this time Lu Yuan did not meet him immediately. Instead, he asked someone from the Foreign Affairs Bureau to negotiate with him. Where is Lu Lingjun? Lu Kunai frowned. The master has gone to meet with the envoy of Dajing, so he doesn't have time to waste time with you if you still dawdle. Then today's conversation ends here. Chapter 155, The Humble Prince. Someone from Dajing is coming. Li Kunai smiled bitterly. It made sense. Dajing was almost defeated. If they didn't send someone to negotiate, wouldn't Li Yuan beat them all the way to their hinterland? Excuse me, little brother, who is the leader of Dajing's team? Prince Dajing. Li Kunai and others were dumbfounded. Prince Dajing was leading the team personally. What does Emperor Jing mean? Surrender? Even though Dajing lost the war, there is no need for the crown prince to come and negotiate in person. He glanced at the others and felt that things were becoming increasingly difficult, which made it seem that Daxia was not sincere enough. He hurriedly said, "We, Diaxia, are willing to apologize and compensate for the battle at Dajing Pass. Can you help me pass the message to Lu Lingjun? How do you apologize and how much compensation do you want?" Of course, I will send the letter of apology to Lu Lingjun. As for compensation, 1 million taels of silver. A master's request is very simple. He will issue a confession of guilt and an acknowledgement of fault in the form of a court bulletin to the whole country. The 2 letters will clearly state the faults and compensations, and the Great Xia Pass will be ceded to Bialiang. Besides that, the compensation must not be less than 10 million taels. Otherwise there is no point in talking, said the official from the Foreign Affairs Bureau. Biaxia and Bialiang are friends, not superiors and subordinates. Isn't it too much to admit guilt? Moreover, Bialiang won a great victory this time with very few casualties. 10 million taels of silver is too much. Li Kunai said, you can issue a letter of apology and compensate up to 2 million taels. And wait until you have thought it over. The official from the Foreign Affairs Bureau stood up and left, not giving Li Kume a chance to talk more. Li Kume, I frowned. It seems that Lu Yuan is very determined. I can't make the decision on this matter. Let's see how Dajing negotiates first, and then send someone back to Lijiang. At this time, at the gate of Biaoyang City, Xia Cheng had just arrived with the wedding procession. As the crown prince, he felt deeply the contempt and malice of the Biaoyang people. If you come here, dismount and be searched. Xia Cheng was very angry, but he had to do it because there were hundreds of guns pointed at his head. Only after a body search was he allowed to enter the city. There was no grand welcoming ceremony as he had imagined. There was only a carriage parked there and a man and a woman standing behind him. He recognized the person at a glance. Who else could it be but Lu Yuan? His portrait had long been circulated throughout Dajing. I am Xia Cheng, the crown prince of Great Xia, and I am honored to meet Lord Lu. Xia Cheng held the letter of credence in both hands, bowed slightly, and took small steps forward, looking particularly humble. Those who know him think he is the prince, while those who don't think he is a eunuch. Mr. Xia's arrival brings honor to our humble home in Biaoyang, Li Yuan said with a smile, but he was particularly alert in his heart. If a crown prince of a country behaved like this, there must be something wrong. This is a letter from the credential. Please have a look, Lord Lu. Xia Cheng bent down and placed the letter above his head. Li Yuan only needed to raise his hand to get it. But Li Yuan did not reach out his hand. Wu Sun came out from behind him, took the letter, opened it, and knelt on the ground. Please take a look, sir. Li Yuan could see the contents of the letter clearly just by lowering his head slightly. Xia Cheng stood aside with his hands folded, thinking, damn it. This Li Yuan is even more impressive than me, the prince. But he had a smile on his face and didn't dare to slack off at all. However, he always felt that the kneeling man in front of him looked familiar. If you look closely, isn't this just to satisfy the right wise King Wu Sun? Why is this guy wearing eunuch clothes? Could it be that he was castrated and became a eunuch? He swallowed hard and looked at Li Yuan with even more fear. This guy must not be provoked. If you make him angry and use yourself as a eunuch here, won't everything be over? After Li Yuan finished reading the letter, he nodded slightly. I understand Dajing's sincerity. Mr. Xia, please come with me. He took Xia Cheng's hand and got into the carriage. Xia Cheng also flattered people in various ways, saying that Biaoyang was prosperous, its population was thriving, and Lu Lingjun was wise and brave. Li Yuan once suspected that this guy was a eunuch in disguise. After entering the guest house, Li Yuan and his friends were having snacks while negotiating at the Tianxing Terrace. Lord Lu, I was ordered to come to Biaoyang this time, not only to arrange a marriage but also to form a brother country with Biaoyang and never invade each other. Xia Cheng took out another letter of alliance. Wu Sun rolled his eyes, walked over again, held the alliance book in his hand, and knelt down for Lu Yuan to read. After reading the alliance letter, Li Yuan smiled faintly. Dajing hurt the feelings of the Biaoyang people and took the lead in attacking Biaoyang, causing our Biaoyang to suffer heavy losses. The Changqing River flooded Biaoyang, bringing disaster to the people of Biaoyang. Dajing doesn't want to talk about all these things right from the start. It's about marriage and alliance. Have you ever thought about how we feel? Everything that happened before was my fault. Xia Cheng hurriedly stood up, bowed to Lu Yuan, and once again presented a letter of apology and a list of compensation. Li Yuan was stunned when he saw the letter of apology and the compensation list. The apology was written so sincerely, and the compensation listed in the compensation list exceeded 5 million taels. Oh shit. Dajing's attitude is so correct. Even Li Yuan felt embarrassed to extort money from him. Well, your attitude of admitting your mistakes is fine, but this confession letter must be published to the world. I can agree to this with Lord Lu. Xia Cheng said righteously. This time, both my father and I have realized our mistakes. We will not quibble, but only seek to make amends to Biaoyang and become brothers and friends with Biaoyang again. Whether it is Dajing Pass, Huju Pass, or Huku Ferry, we are willing to cede them to Lu Lingjun. I even have a great gift for Lu Lingjun. Damn, so easy to talk to? Li Yuan didn't know. He asked, what gift? I Zhang Xian, who was promoted, the Marquis of Pengyan in Dajing, have conquered half of Jingxiao Prefecture in Daqian in order to express our sincerity. Dajing will withdraw its troops and hand over the conquered city with both hands. Xia Cheng explained everything in one go as long as Li Yuan did not detain him. It was more important than anything else. Most importantly, he hated Mian when Yaoan hated Emperor Jing even more. He, the prince, was casually pushed out as cannon fodder, and no one cared about him at all. He is not a fool, he understands everything, but he is too weak, and he needs to lie dormant until he has the power to overthrow everything. And here lies a good opportunity. This man, who is younger than himself, owned the most magnificent city, the strongest army, and ruled over 1 million people. Perhaps I could cooperate with him. This cooperation could be business or something else. He is willing to cooperate in any way that can enhance his own strength. Li Yuan smiled. Athlete Jingshao Prefecture, very interesting. Biaoyang is 2 or 3,000 miles away from Biao Jingji. What's the point of having that enclave? Should we assign some troops to garrison Jingshao? That's not realistic. Da Jing was not so kind as to give away the duck he had already eaten. As he expected, this half of Jingshao Prefecture had been completely drained, and he was just taking over a mess. Chapter 156, Cashin. Li Yuan took out a pack of cigarettes, threw it to Xia Cheng, then slowly took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth. Just as he was about to take out the lighter, Xia Cheng picked up the lighter on the table, walked to Li Yuan and lit it with a click. Could this kid really be a eunuch in disguise? The more Li Yuan looked at it, the more it resembled him. Even the two dead eunuchs Wu Sun and Yesun could not make such a flattering expression. Mr. Xia, Engshao Prefecture is of no use to me, and I can't spare the manpower to manage that enclave. He should talk to Bianjing, not to me. Li Yuan exhaled a of smoke. Xia Cheng was dumbfounded. That was half of Jingshao Prefecture, the richest place in Daqian. And he actually looked down on it? This is Da Jing's sincerity, Lu Lingjun, don't refuse it. I'm not being polite. Everyone knows that I, Li Yuan, have no ambitions. What do I want Jingshao Prefecture for? Am I going to ascend the throne and become an emperor? Am I that kind of person? Li Yuan's serious look almost broke Wu Sun's defense. Yes, you have no ambition. You established Biaoyang Prefecture, proclaimed yourself as the prefect, commanded your own troops, and did not respect the orders of the court. These are all signs of a loyal minister. Okay? Xia Cheng laughed dryly and said, I didn't say that Lu Lingjun had ambitions. Since you are here to negotiate, you must show sincerity. How about this? Forget about Jingshao Prefecture, just cash out Da Jing and give me 10 million tiles. Li Yuan said. Xia Cheng won't do that. 10 million tiles? How dare you to speak up? Including the 5 million tiles in compensation, doesn't that make a total of 15 million tiles? My goodness, they didn't make that much money from attacking Biao Jingji this time. But in the end they still had to pay millions of tiles in subsidies? If he really nodded in agreement, he would become the deposed crown prince when he returned. Lu Lingjun, do you really not want Biao Jingji? That's the capital of your Daqian? That is the capital of Daqian. What does it have to do with my Biaoyang Prefecture? Li Yuan said as he dusted off his cigarette ash. Xia Cheng's fists suddenly hardened. On the one hand, he said that he had no ambition, but on the other hand, he distanced himself from Daqian. He was really a whore who wanted to pretend to be a saint. Lu Lingjun. This, Xia Cheng didn't know what to say for a moment. If the other person doesn't want it, you can't force him to accept it. Right? Let's give you a discount, just 10 million tiles since we get along well. I'll give you a discount, just give me 9.99 million tiles of silver, Lu Yuan said kindly. Just a fucking 10,000 tiles of silver short. Xia Cheng smiled bitterly. He would rather not have this kind of affinity. Ongu smiled secretly. Wu Sun also secretly felt sorry for Da Jing. Why offend Lu Yuan when he could offend anyone else? Others would eat meat and drink soup, but he would even crack open bones and suck out the marrow. Lu Lingjun, I can't make the decision on this matter. Xia Cheng smiled bitterly. Then you guys take your time to discuss it. By the way, let me tell you that people from Daxia are also here. They are much more sincere than you. Li Yuan smiled and stood up. You are tired from the journey, so take a good rest. We can go to Bai Might Market tonight. Xia Cheng frowned. People from Daxia are here too? And from what Li Yuan said, they seem to be here too. Surrender? Lu Lingjun, let's talk more. No need. Wait until you have made up your mind. Li Yuan waved his hand and turned to leave. After leaving the observatory, he said to the officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, secretly tell Da Jing's offer to Daxia, but remember, stagger them and don't let them meet at the same time. Send the people of Daxia's delegation to other places. They are so insincere and still want to stay at the guest house. No way. Soon, the Daxia delegation was driven out of the reception hall. Li Yanla angrily asked, why are you kicking us out? The guest house is for distinguished foreign guests to stay in, not for people like you. Go away and stop being an eyesore here. The manager of the guest house said bluntly. Who are we? Aren't we noble? Li Yanla said angrily. Can't we just pay to stay here? Get out. If you don't leave, I'll call the guards. The store manager was also angry. Li Yanla wanted to argue with him, but was stopped by Li Konei. Princess, forget it. We are just not staying at the guest house. We are not being forced to leave Biaoyang. It must be that petty man Lu Yuan. Li Yanla clenched her fists. I've been here for so long, and he doesn't even allow me to see my sister. Li Konei sighed. The situation is stronger than people. Who can blame them for being stronger? He could only ask someone to pick up the gifts scattered on the ground, and then follow the guidance of others to a small inn. This was actually a hotel specially designated by the Foreign Affairs Bureau. Apart from this hotel, they couldn't go anywhere else. Lianla, who has obsessive compulsive disorder, was so angry that he went crazy. Is such a small hotel a place for people to live? My god, the toilet is shared, the bathing area is also shared. And the room is so cramped that it is difficult to turn around. The luxury of the guesthouse even surpassed the palace where she lived. The 180-degree observation deck overlooked half of Bialyang City. All the furniture is of the highest quality. And there are bathtubs, showers, high-end toilets that can even flush with water. The soft Simmons mattress was something she had never had in Diaxia. The pink room made her feel that it was a princess room. Looking at the collapsed Lianla, Li Kumei sighed and said, "Princess, please be patient. He is deliberately humiliating us." Lianla rushed out of the room angrily. "Princess, come back. Uncle, our Doxie has lost, but that doesn't mean we have to be so servile. Flattering one person cannot win the respect of the enemy. If Li Yuan really wants to make friends with Doxie, he shouldn't have this attitude." She walked out of the hotel regardless of everything and headed towards the prefect's mansion. Li Kumei also felt that Lu Yuan had gone too far, so he asked someone to personally escort Lianla to the prefectural governor's mansion. At this time, Li Yuan was looking at the monthly tables sent by Hengshan County. Since the opening of the commercial port city, thousands of businessmen have submitted business applications, half of whom have also applied for immigration. However, Li Yuan was not in a hurry. Instead, he asked the people from the Security Bureau to conduct a full-scale screening to ensure the identity of these people as much as possible. "Master, Princess Anlai is here." Liu Su pushed the door open. "What is she doing here? I won't see her." Li Yuan had no interest in this small-breasted and brainless princess taping. "She's yelling downstairs, saying that you're bullying her." As soon as Liu Su finished speaking, Li Yuan heard a voice coming from downstairs. "Liu Yuan, you bastard. Come out and see me. Why do you have the guts to bully me but not the guts to see me? Others may be afraid of you, but I am not. If you have the guts, just kill me and let the world see what kind of person you, Li Yuan, are." Although she was small, her voice was loud. For a moment, many people stood at the window and looked down. Li Yuan put down the documents in his hand and snorted, "If she makes any more noise, I will strip her naked and throw her into the streets." Chapter 157 Thoughts. "Little girl. Princess, what is that?" Li Yuan wouldn't buy it. He doesn't care about anyone except his relatives, friends, subordinates, and the people under his rule. Liu Su nodded and quickly went downstairs. Lianla was still screaming, and Liu Su took out a rag and stuffed it directly into her mouth. "Either get out now, or I'll strip you naked and throw you into the streets, your choice." Lianla angrily took away the rag in his mouth. "Pooh, pooh, pooh. This is how you Bialyang entertain guests. If you have the guts, kill me." Chat again. Before she could finish her words, the sharp saber had already touched her smooth neck, and she even felt a slight pain. Li Kunai was startled. "Earl, let's talk." Lianla's heart was in his throat. Liu Su was too lazy to talk nonsense with her and simply cut the hem of her skirt with a knife in an instant. Her straight and slender white legs were exposed to the air. The second cut was torn through her clothes, revealing a pink belly band underneath the torn clothes. Liu Su was about to slash the third time when Li Kunai took action. He pulled the frightened Lianli over and took off his coat and covered her with it. He stepped forward and stood in front of Lianla, looking at Liu Su. "No matter what, we are still the great Xi legation. Even if we were defeated, we should not be treated like this. Could it be that Lu Lingjun really wants to fight with my Diaxia to the end? Don't even mention qualifications for criminals." Liu Su pointed at Li Kunai and said, "If it weren't for the fact that you're members of the diplomatic corps, I would have beheaded you long ago. Also, it's not Bialyang that we should worry about, but you. As long as you want, Bialyang can kill us to the end. Before the deal is reached, your identity can only guarantee the safety of your life. But I'm warning you one last time, if you cause trouble again, you will be killed." Liu Su sheathed the knife and turned away. Li Kunai felt Liu Su's murderous intent, but at the same time he was certain that Dajing must have reached some agreement with Bialyang. Because when they came, they met people from Dajing, who were staying in the best VIP rooms, which were better than the ones they were staying in. Could it be that they formed an alliance? If so then, Li Kunai took a deep breath and looked at Lianla, who was trembling with fear. "Princess, come back." Lianla clutched his clothes tightly, tears welling up in his eyes. "I am not a man. I am not a man at all. I, Lianla, swear that I must avenge my previous shame." Li Kunai didn't care about her, but tried his best to find out what agreement Bialyang and Dajing had reached. Fortunately, after their efforts, they finally heard something. "Prince Jingzhong, this is what we have inquired about. Please take a look." Li Kunai looked at the contents on the paper and took a breath. "Send a marriage, plead guilty. Pay 5 million in compensation, see Dajing Pass, Huju Pass, Huju Pass, Huku Ferry." and even give half of Jingshao Prefecture to Li Yuan as a gift. What really shocked Li Kunai was that Da Jingwan would form a brotherly alliance with Bialiang. In the past, Da Jing only formed an alliance with Diaxia and ignored Da Qian. Now, Biaoliang is actually put in the same position. I finally understand why Li Yuan treats us like this. It's not that we give too little, but that Da Jing gives too much. Li Kunai punched the mattress. This is a complete loss of sovereignty and humiliation of the country. But Prince, if they don't do this, how can we get Biaoliang to stop the war? One of them said with a wry smile. In my humble opinion, these may not be the final negotiation results. Li Yuan is greedy, and the final negotiation results may be even more exaggerated than this. Send it to Li Jing urgently over 800 miles, said Li Kunai. That night, Xi Yining was wearing a JK outfit and massaging Li Yuan's feet. Brother Li Yuan, this time we Da Jing came with sincerity, just accept it. After training, Xi Yining's massage skills are getting better, and better. She looks pure. Although Yuzi is not as good as Li Wuyu, she can also be regarded as having a baby face. Not bad. Li Yuan nodded and suddenly said, after this peace talk, I will let you go. Xi Yining was stunned, then anxiously asked, Brother Li Yuan, is it because I didn't do it well that you hate me? Xi Yining, I detained you because of my position. There is no personal grudge between you and me. In fact, in my heart, I still regard you as a sister. Li Yuan really didn't lie. Otherwise, he would have asked Xi Yining to practice ventriloquisms. I won't leave. Xi Yining cried anxiously. I want to stay with you. Even if you don't marry me, it doesn't matter. Brother Li Yuan, I beg you, don't chase me away. This girl has some thoughts, but not many. Li Yuan can feel that her love for him is far more pure than that for Li Wuyu. What would you do if Biaoliang continued to go to war with Da Jing one day? What would you do if Biaoliang destroyed Da Jing? What would you do if I became your enemy? Xi Yining, you and I have different positions. One day, we will become enemies. If you continue to stay with me, you will be the only one who suffers. Li Yuan crossed his legs. He had promised the Xi Yuan sisters that even if it wasn't for the Xi Yuan sisters, in the long run, the conflict between the two sides would continue. He didn't think Da Jing would stop there. Peace talks are temporary. Therefore, Li Yuan would not give them too much time to develop. Brother Li Yuan, they can do anything for you. I will follow you wherever you want. You are in love, but I am not. I will send someone to take you to the guest house tomorrow. At this moment, in his eyes, Xi Yining was just a bargaining chip that could help Biaoliang gain more benefits. I don't want it, Brother Li Yuan. Don't chase me away. Xi Yining hugged Li Yuan and burst into tears. You can go, but I didn't say you can't come to Biaoliang for fun. Let Liu Su send her away tonight. Yes, master. Honggu walked up to Xi Yining. Let's go, Princess Changning. Seeing that Xi Yining was still crying, Honggu grabbed her collar with one hand and dragged her out. People from Biaoliang are like this. They will never talk nonsense if they can take action. After seeing Xi Yining off, Honggu was also full of smiles. Master, wouldn't you feel bad to see such a beautiful princess go away? It wasn't mine in the first place, so why should I be reluctant to give it up? Besides, people who are good to me are always around me, so why should I go far away to get someone who is close to me? Li Yuan looked at Honggu and said with a double meaning. Honggu's eyes lit up, and she suddenly felt a little embarrassed by Li Yuan's burning gaze. This was the first time she heard Li Yuan say such straightforward words. This was what she had been looking forward to. But at the moment, she was a little scared. She did not respond to Li Yuan, but just stood by silently. Master, it's late, go to bed early. Chapter 158. I will definitely come back. The next morning, Li Yuan got up very early. Honggu looked a little haggard. Don't think too much. She didn't respond to Li Yuan last night, and stayed up all night watching over Li Yuan. Li Yuan naturally would not offend her. Unlike Li Wuyu and Mu Rongwanking, Li Yuan respects and loves Honggu from the bottom of his heart. Master, there's a reply from Tong Shu. Liu Su came over with the letter. Li Yuan was delighted and quickly took the letter and opened it to read. Unlike Xiao Jianjia's usual concise replies, this letter was not short. Xiao Jianjia first thanked Li Yuan in a very formal way for sending the medical team, and then thanked Li Yuan for diverting the water of Jingyang River into Zhongshu. In addition to the thanks, the following content has a touch of playfulness. Not only did he agree to participate in the sports meet in July and August, he would even lead the team himself. Xiao Jianjia even urged for more updates in the letter, which would have been impossible in the past. Li Yuan grinned and replied immediately, the content of which became increasingly corny and bold. After writing the reply, he opened another letter, which was from the empress. This was Li Yuan's first contact with the empress. The empress's handwriting is vigorous and powerful. It should be written by a man. A letter was also very formal. It first expressed affirmation of Li Yuan, and then invited Li Yuan to Tongshu for a chat. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't go. The empress said in the letter that she would ask Prince Duan to come to Biaoyang in person to reward Lu Yuan. According to Lu Yuan's achievements, the empress decided to confer the title of Marquis of Zhenbi on Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan touched his chin after so long. The empress knew that she was also normal. She knew very well that she was disobeying the imperial order, but she was still so polite, which showed that she was unwilling to break off relations. Lu Yuan's cleverness lies in the fact that he did not leave the AQI, and even in the eyes of those people in Beijing, Zhang Wei was the mastermind. The empress's move was very cunning. Whether Lu Yuan accepted it or not, she could take the initiative. There will be a reason in the future. If Lu Yuan's identity is revealed in the future, she can tell the public that it was she who conferred the title of Marquis of Zhenbi on Lu Yuan, who would dare to underestimate the empress then. Good plan. Lu Yuan thought about it. And also wrote a letter back, then said to Liu Su, send it to Tong Shu urgently. After dealing with the letter, Xia Cheng came to ask for a meeting. Moreover, he came alone, leaving everyone else behind. Greetings, Lord Lu. Xia Cheng bowed and walked into Lu Yuan's office. Before he even sat down, he began to praise the government office for its grandeur. If someone shows you kindness without any reason, he is either a traitor or a thief. So Lu Yuan never takes other people's flattery to heart. Mr. Xia, we are all honest people, so stop bragging here. Lu Yuan said. I've come here specifically to thank Lu Lingjun for sending my sister back. I'm grateful for your kindness. As he spoke, Xia Cheng bowed deeply to Lu Yuan. Don't try to be so hypocritical. Xianing as conditions for going back. It's not too much to ask you for an extra 3 or 5 million taels. Right? Lu Yuan said. Xia Cheng's mouth twitched. Lu Lingjun, you don't want to take Xianing away for nothing, do you? I tell you, no way. Lu Yuan slammed the documents on the table, almost scaring Xia Cheng to death. At least 3 million taels, including the discount and compensation. You just need to give me a total of 17,990. Zeri taels. I'm a very easy person to talk to. What the hell? Xia Cheng was about to cry. Xia was rich, with annual tax silver exceeding 30 million taels, but it was also very stressful to come up with nearly 20 million taels at one time. Lu Lingjun. This is too much. The annual tax revenue of Diaxia is not even this much. Is it too much to ask Diaxia to pay the national tax for half a year? You Diaxia hurt Biaoyang's feelings, can that be compensated by money? Xia Cheng sighed. Lu Lingjun. Although I am the crown prince, even if I agree to the compensation, will the higher-ups agree? Can Lu Lingjun get it as he wishes? Instead of making an exorbitant offer, it is better to say something realistic. I can't come up with 18 million taels. And I'm sure I can compensate you with 10 million taels. Lu Lingjun is a smart man and should understand that 10 birds in the bush are worth a bird in the hand. Indeed, Biaoyang could continue to attack Diaxia and gain more benefits. But I think war is not Lu Lingjun's original intention after all. A peace-loving person like Lu Lingjun would definitely not have the heart to hurt innocent people. 10 million is too little. It needs at least 15 million. I have to give an explanation to everyone, Lu Yuan said. 11 million. This is the limit I can agree to. If Lu Lingjun agrees, I can sign it now. Besides this, Lu Lingjun can also gain Xia's friendship, Xia Cheng said. Lu Yuan thought about it and realized that Xia Cheng was right. Who doesn't want money? Even if he asked for 30 million taels, what would it matter if people didn't give it to him? Continue to attack Diaxia? Biaoyang has the ability to continue attacking, but he needs to consolidate Biaoyang's foundation more. It laid a century-long foundation for Biaoyang. Okay, but the compensation must be paid within 2 months. Otherwise Biaoyang will send troops north, Lu Yuan said. Okay, Xia Cheng nodded. And then said, but the formal signing still needs to be witnessed by everyone. Lu Yuan nodded slightly. Xia Cheng continued. After discussing official matters, I have a private matter to discuss with Lu Lingjun. Half an hour later, Xia Cheng left Lu Yuan's office with a smile. The first thing he did after leaving was to find the members of the delegation. This is Lu Yuan's bottom line, 11 million taels of silver to be delivered within 2 months. It's a bit too much, but my father will definitely be relieved that Enninger can return home safely. The members of the delegation secretly complain. What a relief. His Majesty is determined to let the princess marry into Biaoyang. If the princess goes back, won't we all be in trouble? My goodness. This Lu Yuan is really cruel. He doesn't even want the white jade Kyoto has. Xia Cheng didn't know what everyone was thinking, nor did he want to know. Seeing that no one spoke, he said, since there is no objection, let's prepare to sign a ceasefire agreement. Soon, the signature was completed. The news that Biaoyang and Dajing reached a ceasefire agreement also spread. The saddest person was Xia Ning, because she was about to leave Biaoyang. Once I leave, it will be extremely difficult to leave the palace. She looked at Lu Yuan sadly. Father Lu Yuan, will you miss me after An Inger leaves? Of course I will. Lu Yuan touched her head and said, don't run out casually when you go back, there are bad people out there, and not everyone is as kind as me. Hearing this, everyone in Dajing felt upset. If you, Lu Yuan, were kind, there would be no bad people in the world. But this pat on the head gave Xianing hope. Brother Lu Yuan, I don't want to leave. Go back quickly. Lu Yuan hurriedly said to Xiacheng, take your sister away quickly, I won't let you stay overnight in Biaoliang, see you again if we are lucky enough. Xiacheng sighed, then bowed and said, Lord Lu, see you later. See you later. Lu Yuan made a gesture of invitation and then watched Xiacheng and others leave. After they walked away, Lu Yuan took out the note Xianing had given him. On it was written a line of words, be careful of Li Wuyu, she's going to drug you. Chapter 159 Worry-Free Love. That night, Li Wuyu was giving Lu Yuan a back massage. There were only two of them in the inner room. She was wearing the latest fashion, and on her feet were Lu Yuan's favorite styles. Master, now that Xianing is gone, things have become much quieter. Lu Yuan felt itchy in his heart. You want to leave too? Li Wuyu said hurriedly, no? If I can reach an agreement with your eighth uncle, I will let you go. Lu Yuan said, that means you will be able to escape from the sea of suffering soon. For Wu Yu, a place without you is a sea of suffering, Li Wuyu said. That sounds nice, but who would be willing to kowtow and be a slave? Let alone a princess like you. So what if I'm a princess? Although I have a higher status and a more comfortable life, I'm still a woman after all. Sooner or later, I'll get married most of the time. I'm just a tool for the royal family to form a marriage alliance. On no exception, Li Wuyu put her face against Lu Yuan's back and said absnestedly, instead of marrying an incompetent prince consort, I'd rather serve a real man. Even if I become a slave, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Wu Yu will only serve you in this life. I still don't believe it. My master, you may not believe it, but I know what I feel. She untied her shoulder straps. Feeling this, Lu Yuan felt his scalp tingling and he couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Your craftsmanship is becoming more and more sophisticated, to be honest. I'm really reluctant to send you away. I am even more reluctant to leave my master. Li Wuyu's already rosy face was now even more pink. Those stinky men are not worthy. She leaned hard, her strength was even and rhythmic. I don't want to leave, master. Please don't send me away, okay? Let me think about it. Li Wuyu bit his lip. Seeing that Lu Yuan was enjoying it more and more, she sprinkled the medicine hidden in the cracks of her nails into Lu Yuan's water cup. Usually at times like this, Honggu would stay outside and not come in. Perhaps Lu Yuan didn't want to destroy his lofty image in Honggu's heart. Li Wuyu knows men too well. No matter how righteous a man seems, he will have an evil side. I worked for a long time but didn't wait for Lu Yuan to give in, and I was exhausted. Perhaps feeling tired, Lu Yuan said, take a break and drink some water. Thank you, master. Li Wuyu got off the bed, picked up the teapot, added tea to Lu Yuan's cup, and then poured himself a cup. After drinking a glass of cold water, the warmth did not subside but instead spread to every part of my body. She put down the teacup and happened to meet Lu Yuan's gaze. Instead of being shy, she straightened her back proudly. Lu Yuan sat up straight, picked up the teacup beside him and drank from it. So comfortable. He finally drank it. Li Wuyu was extremely excited. She had been in Biaoliang for almost a year. The life she had led in the past year almost wiped out her pride as a princess. After an unknown amount of time, Li Wuyu felt exhausted. Don't you like drugging people? Then let me show you how it feels. Lu Yuan looked at Li Wuyu, who was already dizzy, and did not hold back. Of course, he did not attack, which fell right into Li Wuyu's trap. He also likes beautiful women, but he will not use such despicable means. With his status, he only needs to say one word and many people will send beautiful women to his pillow. But the more this happens, the more he must stick to his principles. But Li Yuan did not show any mercy. After an unknown amount of time, Li Wuyu slowly woke up. At this time, Lu Yuan was sitting at the desk, neatly dressed, drinking tea and reading. Li Wuyu's voice became hoarse, as if he had a stress response. Chapter 160. There is a country in the Western Barbarians. Its name is Xiongnu. She gradually came to her senses and began to distinguish between reality and fantasy. But even so, that feeling made her go back and forth between heaven and hell countless times. The man in front of him carried out his punishment like a devil, but he did not take the initiative to attack. She clearly saw Lu Yuan drink the drugged tea. But why could he resist? She vaguely remembered that she had just heard Lu Yuan say something like drugging. Could it be that he knew everything? Thinking of this, Li Wuyu's face turned pale. She forced herself to stand up, crawled under Lu Yuan's desk, and came out. I was wrong. What's wrong? At this time, Lu Yuan's eyes were clear and he said nothing. as if the person kneeling in front of him was an ugly monster. Slaves should study harder. Li Yuan sneered, pinched her face and said, "You really underestimate me, Li Yuan. If the beauty trap worked, I would have had many wives and concubines long ago. How could it be your turn? You don't understand, the only thing that can touch people's hearts is sincerity. This is the difference between you and I Aining. Although that girl is a little stupid, she is sincere to me and I really can't bear to treat her badly. You are different. You are not only stupid, but also bad. Do you think I will let you take the top position just because you drug me? To be honest, you have wasted this face and this figure." Li Wuyu was so frightened that his face turned pale. Li Yuan really knew it. Although you are stupid, you have indeed brought me some happiness these days. I will still let you go, Li Yuan added in his mind. Only if I squeeze out all your value. Lu Lang, I just like you too much. So I resorted to such a desperate measure. Besides, this medicine was given to me by Xi Aining. Really? Li Yuan showed a mocking look on his face. How dare you, stupid girl, you can't even throw dirty water. She really gave it to me. Ongu, Li Yuan shouted outside. Soon after, Ongu came in from outside with a sullen face. Send Li Su to Hong Mei, and let her discipline her properly. No, I will never dare to do it again. After Li Wuyu was sent away, Honggu walked into the room with a stern face and stared at Li Yuan, making Li Yuan feel scared. He laughed dryly. Is there something on my face? I understand that the master is single, but it's better for the master to stay away from women with bad intentions like this. I didn't. If the master really wants, I can do it too, Honggu said, turned around and left. Bang! The door was slammed shut and Li Yuan was stunned. Honggu leaned against the door, her heart beating violently at this time. In the distant Xiy. After traveling 20,000 miles, the barbarian rescue team, after going through untold hardships, finally arrived at Pingjing, the capital of the Western Yi. At this time, the leader of the Huang tribe, the emperor of the vast grassland in the vast Western Yilan, was called Xiongnu. When he was 8 years old, Xiongnu's tribe was attacked by a more powerful tribe. According to the custom of the grassland people, children who were not taller than a wheel would not be killed. So Xiongnu survived with his infant sister. At the age of 8, he was already walking in the deserted and wolves-infested grassland. Holding his hungry child in his arms, he survived with the remaining members of his tribe and even established the Xiongnu tribe in his name. At the age of 15, his fame resounded throughout the grassland and he was hailed as the eagle of the grassland. At the age of 18, he unified the grassland, and then he was unstoppable. He conquered Babu in the south and the East China Sea in the east when he was 20. He was invincible in the world. He then headed west. And in less than 10 years, he conquered hundreds of Western countries. Even during the heyday of the Huang clan 100 years ago, it was not as good as it is now. However, it is no longer called the Huang clan. Xiongnu established the Xiongnu tribe in his own name, and now he has renamed the Huang tribe into Xiongnu. How many soldiers and horses does the Xiongnu Empire have now? There are more than 2 million soldiers, and it is said that the total military strength of the country exceeds 5 million. This force is almost equal to the total force of the 3 kingdoms. This made the barbarian tribe extremely excited. Will Xiongnu Chenyu meet us? Erection, it's not Chenyu, it should be Your Majesty. The official who was receiving the crowd corrected. Yes. Your Majesty. Will His Majesty meet us? One of them asked. His Majesty is celebrating the eldest princess' birthday. He will summon you tomorrow. Wait here. After saying this, the man gave some instructions and left. The group waited in the inn for 3 days before they were summoned. The Heijing Palace was magnificent, but it was not yet completed. Millions of prisoners of war were working on it, and huge stone pillars and blocks of stone were being pulled into the palace. The Xiongnu soldiers were supervising the work with whips in their hands. If anyone slacked off, they would be scolded at the least and beheaded at the worst. These prisoners of war were afraid of the Huns like tigers. As expected of the master, he is truly majestic. The barbarians are saved. Everyone felt honored, and looking at the tall and majestic palace, they knelt down with a pilgrimage heart, kowtowed 3 times and bowed 9 times as they walked in. The floor tiles of the palace are gold bricks coated with gold powder, and 12 huge golden pillars support the palace. How magnificent! Above the throne room was a huge golden wagon chair, on which sat a tall man with a tough face. Those thick and bold brows were like the swords flying into his temples, and he looked like a vicious person. Especially those eyes, so bright that people dare not look into them. A group of people quickly retracted their gazes, knelt on the ground, and bowed to the ground. The barbarian tribe's 10,000-man commander Chaiko pays homage to His Majesty the Emperor of the Xiongnu. Xiongnu looked at the people below and said, "Stand up." "Thank you, Your Majesty." Everyone stood up, but did not dare to look up, appearing very restrained. "You are the branch of the Qiu Yulin family that split off 100 years ago. right? The fierce slave said inferently. Yes, your majesty. This is our family tree. Sheku took out the family tree. The former Huang tribe did not have their own writing, but they did have a short-lived country. So they asked the people of the Central Plains to build a family tree in this way. Even if they migrated, they could trace their roots with the family tree. Xiongnu took the family tree and started to read it. In fact, the family tree was 200 years old, and he was too lazy to investigate whether it was true or not. At that time, the Huang clan had at least hundreds of branches. Some of them disappeared in history, while some of them took the initiative to integrate with the local area in order to survive. Among the hundreds of Western Yi countries, there are some orphans of the barbarian tribes. Some people became slaves. However, what interested Xiongnu the most was their origins. They actually came from the heart of the Central Plains. If I remember correctly, the Central Plains was still a place where the three kingdoms existed. Right? Asked the fierce slave. Your Majesty, it is true. However, the three kingdoms has created a Biaoyang County. My barbarian tribe is on the verge of extinction. Your Majesty, please send troops to support us as we are all from the same tribe. Hundreds of thousands of people from my barbarian tribe are willing to return to the main lineage and serve your Majesty. Chapter 161. I want Lu Yuan. Xiongnu burst into laughter. What were hundreds of thousands of people? Now the territory of Xiongnu Empire from west to east was more than 20,000 miles, no smaller than any of the three countries. Compared individually, it was larger than any of the three countries. He had more than 5 million soldiers under his command and more than 50 million people under his rule. Would he care about hundreds of thousands of people? The fierce slave's laughter made everyone in Chequ feel uneasy. They didn't understand why the fierce slave was laughing. Sheku gritted his teeth and said, Your Majesty, do you think that the barbarian tribe has too few people and you look down on them? I really don't like it, Xiongnu said bluntly. But when many branches were separated, not every branch lived well, and I understand that. It is not easy for you to survive in the gap between the three kingdoms. The predecessor of my Xiongnu tribe was the Huang tribe, which was previously called the Rong tribe. We have had an irreconcilable blood feud with the three kingdoms since ancient times. Even if you don't come to me, I will lead my troops south to attack the three kingdoms next. Chequ's mood was like a roller coaster, and he was extremely excited when he heard the end. Your Majesty is wise. Sheku prays, Your Majesty revived the barbarian tribe and established the Xiongnu kingdom. Your achievements far exceed those of previous Chenyu. You will definitely be able to unify the world. Xiongnu smiled faintly, but it's not possible now. The Xiongnu tribe is fighting with the Agubo Empire, which is the most powerful empire in the Western Yi. But thousands of miles of territory. If we take them down, I can march east with peace of mind. Sheku was anxious. Who knew how long it would take him to conquer the Agub Empire? It had been more than a year since he came out. Wouldn't it take 2 or 3 years for him to finish the battle and send out his troops? By that time, Lu Yuan would have already defeated the barbarians. Your Majesty, the Agub Empire can be attacked at any time, but Biaoyang is difficult to attack. If Biaoyang is not destroyed, it will become a major threat to the Xiongnu Empire in the future, Sheku said bravely. Okay. Stop making alarmist statements here. Biaoyang is just a small county. No matter how powerful it is, how powerful can it be? Although I am far away in the west, I have never stopped exploring the east. The three kingdoms were already corrupt, and I didn't even need to send troops. They were already in internal strife. Why did Xiongnu establish the Xiongnu Empire and why did he become emperor? He learned it from the painful lessons of previous Chenyu. Since ancient times, the grasslands have governed the world on horseback, with almost no governance capabilities, and have relied entirely on God for their livelihood. Whenever a white disaster occurs, either cattle and sheep freeze to death, or people freeze to death. So they had to plunder the east. If he wanted to achieve long-term stability, he had to build a country on fertile land. He had to enslave the Western Yi people, make them farm for the Xiongnu nobles, and let their women give birth to children for the Xiongnu heroes. Only in this way can the fierce slave become strong again. The grassland is vast, but there are only a few places suitable for survival. Only with a stable rear base can he let go and attack the east. And now is obviously not a good time to attack. Not to mention, going deep into the heart of the three kingdoms to rescue a small tribe. Your Majesty, I am not exaggerating. Biaoyang is truly powerful. Sheku hurriedly told the story of Biaoyang. When the fierce slave heard about the powerful thunder bombs, the muskets that could penetrate the armor of heavy cavalry, the cannons with a range exceeding 1 meter, and the Morio soldiers who could kill cavalry, his expression gradually became serious. He didn't think Chequ had the courage to lie to him. Oh, Biaoyang actually has such a person. Xiongnu suddenly found things interesting. In other words, the man named Li Yuan developed a small town with a population of less than 2,000 to a population of 1 million in 5 years. He even became the king. The king under the noses of the three kingdoms and defeated the barbarians without any chance of fighting back. Jaku said awkwardly, "Yes, this time I came here, I brought with me the bombs and muskets seized from Bialiang." He made a gesture, and the people behind him hurriedly presented bombs and muskets. Looking at the iron lump and the fire stick in front of him, Xiongnu's heart was pounding. His intuition told him that these two things were very dangerous. "How do I use it? Please let me demonstrate it to your majesty. This thing is extremely powerful." "Please move aside, your majesty," Jaku said respectfully. The fierce slave nodded and went outside. As the thunder bomb exploded, the armor was pierced and a hint of ferocity flashed in the eyes of the fierce slave. Then Chiq used his few remaining bullets to shoot through the armor from 100 steps away. This time, the fierce slave could no longer remain calm. "Since you have seized this weapon, why don't you copy it? Your majesty. Even if we can copy it, it's just for show. The real power is gunpowder without gunpowder. This bomb is just a lump of iron, and the musket is just a fire stick. They can't exert any power at all." Li Yuan mastered gunpowder. Although he had few soldiers, almost every soldier had a musket, and they had countless bombs. At the beginning, the barbarians were able to fight back and forth with Bialiang, but later, even after the wolf cavalry guards were dispatched, they suffered heavy casualties. Not to mention, the horse-slashing swords in the hands of the Modiel soldiers were all forged with tempered steel, and they could cut iron like mud. Chiqu sighed, and recalled the battle with Bialiang, with a trace of fear in his eyes. Xiongnu threw the musket to his confidant beside him and said, "Let the divine workshop make a replica of this musket." Then he turned his head and looked at Jaku. "I will send 100,000 elite soldiers to accompany you on the eastern expedition. Take down Bialiang, obtain the formula for gunpowder, and if possible, capture Lu Yuan alive." He had already seen the power of gunpowder, but he needed Li Yuan, who could make gunpowder and build Bialiang, even more. Such talents should be used by him. Jaku was so excited. "Thank you, your majesty." "But your majesty, aren't 100,000 people too few? Moreover, we need to borrow a road for a long expedition. Will the three kingdoms lend us a road? Don't compare your barbarians with my Hun cavalry. Every cavalryman under my command is a brave warrior who can fight 10 enemies at once. If they refuse to let us pass through, we will kill them all." "This will be a good opportunity to test the combat effectiveness of the three kingdoms," the Hun said inferently. "But Bialiang is really hard to deal with. Your majesty must not underestimate the enemy." The fierce slave raised his hand to interrupt him. "All right. Stop talking, I know what's going on. You guys go down and rest first and wait for my order." Seeing the impatient look on the fierce slave's face, Chiqu did not dare to continue making noise. "Yes, your majesty." At this time, Bianjing Yang Ji had already received the news of Bialiang's great victory. The more he read, the more frightened he became, and the more his scalp tingled. "Dad, have you finished watching? Let me see too." Yang Tao was as anxious as a civet who wanted to eat the melon but couldn't. Zhang Wei has taken action again. Bialiang won a great victory, and in one fell swoop he defeated Chang King's 300,000-man army, including 60 Zero Tiger Guards. Yang Ji pulled his beard hard, grimacing in pain and feeling uneasy. He had thought Zhang Wei was powerful, but he didn't expect him to be this powerful. Yang Tao took the urgent report and read it, and was overjoyed. "Dad, isn't this a good thing? Think about it, the stronger Zhang Wei is, the more Dajing will be afraid of him. I have a way, maybe I can take back Bau Jingji." Chapter 162, Exposing the Past. It's okay to be strong. But the strong one won't change. Can you grasp it? Yang Ji knew what his son was going to say. It's good to drive a tiger to devour a wolf. But you have to understand that tigers don't choose who to eat. If he bites back, can you handle it? Dad. That being said, Zhang Wei hasn't torn his face with the court yet, right? Yang Tao said. If that's the case, we can still take advantage of Zhang Wei's power to gain benefits, but it's just taking advantage of the situation. Even if it fails, it is still a good time for us to send troops now. If we can take back Bau Jingji, we will be heroes of Daqian. Yang Ji thought about it and felt that it made sense. But at this moment, Wei Hua, the minister of the Honglu Temple, rushed in and said, "Prime Minister Yang, Dajing has sent an envoy." "Who?" "The leader is Shen Kang. The loyal Earl of Dajing. They are here to congratulate His Majesty on his ascension to the throne." "A gift?" Yang Tao asked subconsciously. "The weasel is paying New Year's greetings to the chicken. It has no good intentions," Yang Ji said coldly. "What congratulations to His Majesty on his ascension to the throne? It must be to take advantage of him." "Prime Minister Yang, this time they have brought a large number of gifts, which are worth thousands of gold. It seems that they are really here to congratulate us," Wei Hua said. "Stupid, that's courtesy before force. Yang Ji snorted coldly. How many people did they bring? Not many, no more than 300 envoys. Wei Hua said. Dad, let's meet them first and see what their purpose is, Yang Tao said. Yang Ji shook his head. They can meet whenever they want, leave them out. Wei Hua was shocked. Prime Minister Yang, this is not good, right? Just go if I tell you to. Why are you talking so much nonsense? We have won another battle in Daqian, don't you know that? Yang Tao threw the victory report on Wei Hua's face. Send it to the secretariat, and spread the news to the world. Wei Hua picked up the victory report on the ground, glanced at it quickly, and was also shocked. This is true? Of course it's true. Yang Tao said complacently, I think Dajing must be here to seek peace, so they sent envoys to give gifts. They should be left out. Yes, I understand. Wei Hua was also very happy and kept saying auspicious words to Yang Ji. After Wei Hua left, Yang Ji said dissatisfied lie, next time, don't act on your own without my consent. The smile on Yang Tao's face froze. And then he lowered his head. Yes, Dad. At this time, Chen Kang and others were stopped outside the city, and they looked unhappy. But this time he came with a marriage mission, and if he left, he would be punished. My lord, what should we do? They seem to already know the outcome of the Battle of Huju Pass, said an official from the Honglu Temple. Chen Chang said calmly, don't be nervous, I have a letter here. Send it over, and they will come to ask us to enter the city. Soon, his letter was delivered to Yang Ji. Looking at the contents of the letter, Yang Ji's expression became uncertain. The letter said that they came this time to return Bei Jingji, but whether to return it to Bianjing or let Bai Lang take over depended on Yang Ji's attitude. Threat, naked threat. Shan Wei is ambitious. If he really takes down Bai Jingji, will he still have any face left? He asked someone to invite Xiao Yi out of the harem, and then asked Wei Hua to go and meet Qin Kang and others. Soon, Chen Chang and his party entered the palace with gifts. After paying homage to Xiao Yi, he said, Shen was ordered to come here this time, mainly to congratulate His Majesty the Emperor Daqian on his ascension to the throne. This is Your Majesty's handwritten letter, please have Your Majesty the Emperor Daqian take a look. Xiao Yi was a little excited. This was recognition from Emperor Dajing for him, a puppet emperor. There was no better gift than this. Yang Ji looked at Xiao Yi coldly, feeling Yang Ji's gaze. Xiao Yi hurriedly sat up straight, and the smile on his face disappeared. Loyal lord, even if Emperor Jing wrote to me, it would not calm my anger. Daqian and Dajing have been friends for 200 years, and Dajing took the initiative to start a war and destroyed the friendship between the two countries. You must give me an explanation for this matter. Shen Chang said, Your Majesty, rest assured, Shen will definitely give you an explanation. He took out a marriage contract from his bosom and said again, this is a marriage proposal. I, His Majesty the Emperor Dajing, am willing to marry Daqian and reconcile, as long as you agree to the marriage with Dajing. And Dajing will return Bai Jingji with both hands. When these words were spoken, everyone in the audience was shocked. Xiao Yi was even more dumbfounded. Why was there a marriage arrangement happening for no reason? Yang Ji winked at Yang Tao. Yang Tao stepped forward, took the marriage certificate and read it in public. After he finished reading, everyone looked at Yang Ji. Xiao Yi also asked, Master Yang, what do you think? Yang Ji said calmly, marriage is fine, but Dajing has started a war without authorization, destroying the friendship between the two countries and destroying Bai Jingji. How can we settle this account? It's not as simple as returning it. Diaxia still has troops stationed there. If you withdraw your troops, will Diaxia also withdraw its troops? Do you really think Daqian is a fool? Also, the Earl of Zhongyi never mentioned the Battle of Huju Pass. Was he afraid that the news of Dajing's defeat would be known to the world? Chen Chang sighed inwardly and said, if Biao Yang hadn't taken action first, how could we have sent troops to invade Bai Jingji? Yang Xiang knew very well that whatever you sow will bring about whatever you reap. If the fight really gets to the bitter end, it will be bad for both dynasties. Moreover, it is good that Biao Yang won, but does Biao Yang's victory mean that Daqian won? How come Shen heard that Shang Wei doesn't recognize Bianjing? Nonsense. Shut up, you brat, the court officials shouted. Chen Chang was not afraid at all, and pressed on. Today, Daqian can refuse the marriage, and can even ask for compensation, but I can be sure that Bai Jingji will not return to the rule of Bianjing. There are many princesses of Dajing, there must be one that Bai Liang likes. When the time comes, I will use Bai Jingji as a betrothal gift, and no one can stop me. How dare you? Yang Tao was furious. Do you want to die? Shen Chang smiled contemptuously. So what if you kill me? Prime Minister Yang doesn't need to bluff. No matter how strong Biao Yang is, it has nothing to do with Bianjing. Even if you brag about Biao Yang to the sky, it is just to establish a lofty image for Bai Liang. Most people in Biao Yang don't care what Bianjing thinks. Otherwise, there wouldn't be the Bai Jingji disaster. Even if all the ministers in the court scolded him, Shen Chang didn't care because he only had Yang Ji in his eyes. Even though Yang Ji was thick-skinned, he was still extremely angry when his true identity was exposed in public. Shen Chang's words were very blunt, but they were the reality. If he could really command Shang Wei, he would have ordered Shang Wei to send his troops to advance all the way. Thus when he was about to lose his temper, Shen Kang said again, Shen Kang here this time to solve Yang Xiang's worries. Yang Ji snorted coldly, Shang Wei is the northern Liang Marquis of Daqian, and he is also a loyal minister to His Majesty and the court. How can you slander him with just a few words? I believe in Shang Wei and Biao Yang unconditionally. If you think you can shake us like this, then you underestimate me. Chapter 163. Marriage. Of course, I believe what Yang Xiang said. I am just reminding you. Shen Chang smiled faintly. Marriage is beneficial to both sides if we separate. Only Bian Jing will be hurt. Don T blame me for not reminding Yang Xiang. If Da Jing and Da Xi don't play with Bian Jing, then Bian Jing will only end up destroyed. You lunatic, this is Bian Jing. How dare you speak such nonsense? Have you never died before? Yang Tao said angrily. Shen Chang saw that Yang Tao was bluffing and looked angry. But there was no anger in his eyes, nor was there any fear. He knew that they were panicking. Prime Minister Yang. If we form a marriage alliance, Da Jing can persuade Diaxia to withdraw its troops. Then we can allow Bian Jing to recapture Bau Jingji without bloodshed. Not only that, the two countries formed an alliance and signed an agreement never to go to war. What do you want? Yang Ji asked. Please give me peace. I don't believe it. Shen Chang took out another letter and said. Prime Minister Yang will know it at a glance. Yang Tao took the letter and handed it to Yang Ji. After reading the letter, Yang Ji looked as if to expect it. The three kingdoms formed an alliance to attack Biao Yang. That's impossible. Prime Minister Yang had better discuss this with His Majesty. After all, Aqian doesn't have many options left, while Da Jing has more options. If they change their thinking, Bian Jing will be in great danger. Shen Kang said. Yang Ji felt a little guilty. He thought that bluffing was not the confidence of Bian Jing. After all, if Da Jing really disregarded his integrity and formed an alliance with Shang Wei to persuade Daxia to withdraw its troops, he would give Bau Jingji as a gift to Shang Wei. Will Shang Wei turn against him? Is it useful to denounce him? Useless. Condemnation is only directed at the weak, the strong are disdainful of it. Thinking of this, he said to Xiaoyi, Your Majesty, I think this matter needs to be discussed in secret. Xiaoyi also reacted quickly. Then Prime Minister Yang stays, and the others leave first. After the others left, Yang Ji said, Lord Zhongyi, the marriage is fine. But the compensation must not be less. You must give an explanation to the people. Compensation is impossible. Da Jing can persuade Diaxia to withdraw its troops. Which will be considered compensation, Shen Kang said. Yang Ji also felt that it was not a loss after all. He knew the difference between half of Bau Jingji and the whole Bau Jingji. Okay. After the marriage, the two countries signed a ceasefire agreement and jointly attacked Biao Yang. This is impossible. Prime Minister Yang, you also understand that Biao Yang has rebellious intentions. If you continue to let them go, sooner or later they will become a threat. Biao Yang has the confidence to overturn the table, and you can't suppress it alone. The only outcome of seeking the skin of a tiger is death. I would rather see Daqian destroyed by its own people than fall for your trick, Yang Ji said coldly. Prime Minister Yang, please think about it carefully. I won't say any more. Shen Chang bowed and said, Your Majesty, Emperor Daqian, I will take my leave. Shen Chao came and went freely, and his arrogant attitude made Yang Tao indignant. Xiao Yi also pretended to be angry. Is Da Jing bullying me because I have no one? Yang Ji was upset after sending Xiao Yi away. He said, As powerful as Biao Yang is, it has let Da Jing be like this. If it continues like this, it will be out of control. Dad, you're not really going to agree to his request, are you? Yang Tao said anxiously. We already knew that Shang Wei was rebellious, but what good would it do us to get rid of him? You still don't understand what Shen Kang means, Yang Ji sighed. They don't even care about their reputation. They don't care about Huju Pass and Dajing Pass. They insist on forming an alliance with Biao Yang and giving Bau Jingji to Shang Wei as a gift. Do you think Shang Wei will accept it? Yang Tao said awkwardly. That shouldn't be the case, right? You'll let a duck that's right in front of you fly away? Yang Ji snorted coldly. If Shang Wei is really a loyal minister, it's fine, but he's not. Once the gun is turned around, it will be a disaster. A peasant uprising in the north is difficult to suppress, and warlords coexist. We can seek the skin of a tiger, but we must never raise a tiger to cause harm. We must not only form an alliance with Da Jing, but also with Diaxia. The three kingdoms will send troops to attack Biao Yang together. They took back their lost territory, and we took the opportunity to clean up the north. We told the public that we were clearing the north. But who knew we were attacking Biao Yang? Yan Tao had a complicated expression. What if we can't defeat him? If the three kingdoms cannot defeat Biao Yang together, and we have to fight them? Yang Ji suddenly felt a chill. If this were the case, he would not have raised a tiger to cause harm, but a real dragon. After discussing it, the father and son decided that they could not let Chen Kang lead them by the nose. In addition to taking back Bau Jingji, they also had to take back the breached Qi Yao Guan. Not only that, Yang Ji also planned to ask Da Jing for a batch of supplies. In short, he would get as much benefit as he could. It's not compensation, but it's better than compensation. It took 3 days of negotiations to finalize the details. First, Da Qian married Princess Wen Jing to Prince Da Jing, and at the same time, Da Jing also needed to marry a princess to Da Qian. Second, reinforce Da Qian with 800,000 dan of grain, 10,000 sets of armor, 30,000 swords and bows, and 5,000 war horses. Third, sign an agreement never to go to war, form an alliance, and advance and retreat together. There are hundreds of details. Yang Ji felt that he had taken advantage of Da Jing, and everything Da Jing paid was looted from Bau Jingji. To the outside world, Yang Ji continued to praise Shang Wei as a hero and righteously rejected Shen Chand, but the inside has already begun to deploy groups. At this time, Biao Yang has entered early summer. Li Yuan squatted in the greenhouse, looking at the lavender potato flowers. He was indescribably excited. He counted the days on his fingers. They were planted in March and now it was mid-May, which meant that the potatoes would be ripe in just over a month. At this rate, we can plant a second batch of potatoes this year. If things go well, we can promote planting on a large scale next year. Plus corn, sweet potatoes, cassava, rice, and wheat. Next year, the people of Biao Yang will have more staple food options to choose from. However, in addition to these staple foods, there is another crop that has attracted much attention from Li Yuan. That's cotton. This thing was not obtained by Chen Ha from overseas, but was obtained by a merchant caravan from another country from the distant western Yi. There are not many seeds, only 1,000, but in Li Yuan's heart, their weight is no less than that of potatoes. It's cold in Biao Yang, but the little glacier showing its power. Biao Yang has broken the lowest temperature of previous years. There is no doubt that cotton can keep you warm. It is also very useful in the medical field. Cottonseed oil can also be used for cooking. It can be said that cotton is full of treasures. Li Yuan looked at the cotton plants with joy in his eyes, waiting for the arrival of autumn, when these cotton plants would produce thousands of seeds. And Yuhan, you have worked hard these days. Li Yuan patted Yuhan on the shoulder, and Yuhan had been living in the greenhouse these days and had not even returned home once. It is because of Yuhan's efforts that the crops are able to grow healthily. For the master and Biao Yang, all the hard work is worth it, and Yuhan said with full energy. Li Yuan nodded and glanced at Lu Ling Zhi, who was carefully recording the changes in crop growth. He was about to call her over when Li Su came over and said, "Master, Li Kunai wants to see you." Chapter 164. Helpless Li Wuyu. Li Kunai has been in Biao Yang for many days. During these days, Li Yuan has not restricted his freedom except for some important places. He can go anywhere else. During these days, he traveled almost every place he could go and gained a deeper understanding of Biao Yang's strength. However, Li Qunian refused to see him. Chen Yuan was far away in Hengxin County training the navy, and no one could get close to him. Li Wuyu couldn't see it either. It can be said that no mission was completed during this trip to Biao Yang. However, Li Yanli gained something in Biao Yang. She wouldn't say anything when asked. She was so mysterious. Just as he was thinking about it, Li Yuan came. Seeing Li Yuan, he hurried to pay his respects. Li Yuan said impatiently, "Prince Jing'an, you have been in Biao Yang for more than a month. And the negotiations have started 6 or 7 rounds. My demands have always been very clear. Don't waste your time here. I will never lower my demands. Lu Lingjun, don't worry, I will definitely make you satisfied this time. Li Kungai's visa is about to expire. If he doesn't reach an agreement on this matter within the deadline, he will be deported." Li Yuan didn't say anything and waited for what was to come. First, the Axia is willing to pay compensation of 3 million Ls of silver, 100,000 katais of iron, 500 dan of grain, 1 million dan of coal, 1,000 cattle, 1,500 horses, 3,000 sheep. Second, the Axia voluntarily cedes the Axia pass and will never take it back. Third, I have brought with me a document from Diaxio admitting its mistakes, which is stamped with the Diaxio imperial seal. It will be distributed to the whole country. Please have a look at it. Lord Lu Honggu took the document and spread it out. Li Yuan read it carefully and said, "Yes, you are very sincere in admitting your mistakes. Fourth, Diaxia wishes to become a brotherly alliance with Biao Yang, and originally wanted to marry the princess to you, but you are not willing, so this item will be crossed out. According to your requests, Deaxia will set up a border market in Pancheng outside Deaxia Pass. The people of Biaoyang can enter and leave Pancheng at will with a permit and will be protected by Deaxia. In addition to these 4 major articles, there are numerous supplementary regulations, as many as hundreds. After reading it, Li Yuan said, "It's a wise choice after all. These regulations are not to protect Biaoyang, but to prevent Deaxia from war." Li Kunai said, "Aggrieved lie, you are right. Wouldn't it have been resolved if we had done this earlier?" Li Yuan said, "But I'll be frank with you, if there is a next time, Biaoyang will tear up the armistice agreement. At that time, there will be no ceasefire until one side is destroyed." Li Kunai's eyes hard tightened. "Don't worry. It won't happen. Since it is correct, let's sign the agreement," Li Yuan said. Soon, the 2 parties signed an agreement. Because Li Yuan wanted to let Li Wuyu go, Deaxia doubled the compensation on top of the agreed compensation. Including supplies, the total amount must have exceeded 8 million ILs of silver. "This time I made a lot of money. Anyway, he is tired of playing with Li Wuyu, and she can still contribute to Biaoyang's GDP before leaving. She is such a good person. Prince Jing'an, it's a pleasure to work with you." Li Yuan stretched out his hand. Li Kunai felt relieved and reached out his hand. "Lu Lingjun, see you at the sports meeting." "I won't see you off," Li Yuan said. "Stop." Li Kunai left the yamen, glanced at the floor where Li Yuan was, and then left without looking back. Li Anla and others were already waiting there. In the carriage, Li Wuyu put on his normal clothes again, but this time, he didn't expose himself and even wanted to cover his neck. She looked a little haggard, leaning against the window, her eyes full of reluctance. "Sister, let's go home. We will never come to this damn place again," Li Anla said angrily. "Just wait. Next time, I will lead my troops to crush Biaoyang." Li Wuyu smiled and said nothing. She had nightmares every night these days. In her dreams, Li Yuan tortured her like a devil. Every time she woke up, she felt unbearable, as if she was reliving what happened that night all over again. Logically, she should be happy to have escaped from Biaoyang, but she was unwilling and reluctant. It seemed that the thought of leaving Li Yuan made my whole body become twisted, and there was no comfortable place on my body. I feel empty inside, as if I have lost my soul. "Your Highness, the agreement has been signed. We can go back to Deaxia now," Li Kunai said respectfully outside the carriage. Li Wuyu hurriedly opened the card and asked, "A Thunkel, Master, didn't the eldest master come to see you off?" "No," Li Kunai shook his head. Li Wuyu's eyes suddenly became empty, and grievance spread in his heart. Even if it was a dog, after being together for so long, he should have feelings for it, right? What's more, it's just one person. Don't I have any status at all in Li Yuan's heart? However, when he was playing with her, the desire in his eyes was not concealed at all, and she didn't believe that Li Yuan had no thoughts about her at all. She closed the door, looked listless, and lay down as if she had no bones. "Sister, what's wrong with you?" Li Anla noticed that something was wrong with her sister. "Had Li Yuan do something to you? Ever since you left Li Yuan, you haven't smiled. You have a stern face every day and look weak." "No, don't think too much." Li Wuyu turned around, but tears flowed silently. At this moment, she was like a dog abandoned by her owner. She kept waiting there, but she never saw her master come out. That kind of despair occupied her heart, and she felt like the sky was falling. The worst thing was that she felt her life was dull and she had no interest in anything. She felt that she was probably sick, and had a disease that would kill her if she left Li Yuan. She thought to herself, she was the eldest princess of the Great Taxi dynasty, and there were many people who liked her. But why couldn't she suppress her sadness? She should be angry because of the way that man treated her. But why do I miss that man's brutality? Am I a lowly person? Li Wuyu closed his eyes, but Li Yuan's figure was still in his mind, unable to be shaken off. "Sister, I have gained a lot from my visit to Biaoyang this time. The reason why Biaoyang has become so powerful so quickly is entirely because of Biaoyang's model. After I return this time, I will definitely remind my father. Although Li Yuan is an annoying person, his governance ability is still very strong, and Biaoyang products are the best in the world. I really don't want to leave. I want to dig out all the secrets of Biaoyang." Li Anla doesn't like Li Yuan, but she likes Biaoyang here. She learned it about housegirls, and Biaoyang has a fatal attraction to her as a housegirl. However, Biaoyang is going to hold a sports meeting, and I will apply to my father to come to Biaoyang at that time. It is said that people from hundreds of countries will come here by then. Alas, the small Biaoyang actually has such a great influence. Li Wuyu, who was crying, sat up suddenly and said, "Yes, there is also a sports meeting when the time comes. I must go back to Biaoyang." Chapter 165. Hongshu Emergency. Tongshu Prefecture. Xiao Jianjia dragged her tired body back to the room. She took off her mask, stripped herself naked, and soaked in the bathtub, leaving only her head exposed. The shadow of the ceiling has gradually dissipated. But the supply of water to Zongshu, the drought has been alleviated to a certain extent, but the situation is still worsening. It is no exaggeration to say that it is 1,000 miles of barren land. She had the water diverted to Tongshu, but the area was too large and the water from this river could not cover the entire area. But fortunately, I don't have to worry about drinking water anymore. She also placed her focus on conquering the north. In the past half-month, she has been fighting outside, conquering several counties and greatly enhancing her reputation. The name of the Holy King is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people every day. Disaster victims come to seek refuge in some places. People even surrender upon seeing the Holy King. Lu Qiushan's strategy showed its power at this time, but blind expansion also brought disadvantages. That is, the quality of the soldiers wasn't even the common people who came to surrender thought that they could even drink their fill by just shouting "Long live the Holy King." There were even cases of molesting the female soldiers. This time, a female soldier went out and was almost bullied. In a rage, Xiao Jianjia killed those lustful men. As a result, people were in panic, and for a time, word spread in the territory that the Saint King was a man in name only, that he was clearly a traitor, but was wearing a human mask. She also said that the Holy King was a woman, and even if she conquered the world, she would be snatched away by a man sooner or later. They said that she had no offspring and could not rule the world. Xiao Jianjia had long been accustomed to these rumors. When she was in Bau Jingji, she had heard words that were 10 times more vicious than these. As long as he holds the military power, these are nothing but minor issues. But when the night is quiet, she still feels lost. This time, when attacking Dashu, she encountered a strong enemy. Zubie, the governor of Dashu, first joined the army and then studied literature. The Zhu family is a prominent and well-known family in Dashu. During the reign of Emperor Shenzong, there were more than 20 people from the Zhu family serving as officials. The Zhu family controlled half of the land in Dashu, and half of the people in Dashu were tenants of the Zhu family. The Zhu family is the local tyrant of Dashu. Even in times of peace, the Zhu family's words are more effective than imperial edicts. The Zhu family claimed to have an army of 100,000. And although this was suspected to be an exaggeration, Xiao Jianjia suffered a great loss when he had a head-on collision with the Zhu family army. Not only did she suffer dozens of skin injuries, but she also suffered heavy losses. Nearly 3,000 soldiers and generals were killed. Half of her heroic female army was killed in one battle. Even if they worked 10 or 100 times harder, the innate gap is still difficult to make up. Xiao Jianjia sank herself into the water. For some reason, the scene of herself rubbing Li Yuan's back suddenly appeared in her mind. She surfaced, blushing violently. It's not the Saint King's army that's powerful, it's the explosive buzz. They were able to capture several cities in half a month because of the miraculous effect of the explosive arrows. Now, the explosive arrows are gone, and what is shown is the real combat power. Xiao Jianjia got out of the bathtub. She tried to look at this war with Li Yuan's behavior and logic. Li Yuan never sits still and waits for death. Attack is the best defense. Although the Zhu family army is strong, the Saint King's army is not made of clay. Xiao Jianjia can't go to Lu Yuan every time she encounters a problem. By then, will the conquered world belong to her or Lu Yuan? It's a bit shameless to despise someone and take advantage of him at the same time. She put on her clothes. Sanbao, come in. Your Majesty, Sanbao is here. Ma Sanbao hurried in. Bring me the map. Soon, Ma Sanbao took out the map and spread it on the desk. He said distressed, Your Majesty. It's late at night. It's time to rest. Sanbao, tell me. Am I wrong in positioning the women's army? Should I follow Li Yuan's example and position the women's army as medical soldiers? This, Your Majesty. Women are not as brave as men. If men can, women can too, said Ma Sanbao. Xiao Jianjia nodded, then lay down on the desk, picked up a magnifying glass produced in Biaoyang, and carefully observed the map. Sanbao, bring the desk lamp. Angshu also has electricity, but Xiao Jianjia usually doesn't want to use electricity because it's too expensive. Just as Xiao Jianjia was carefully examining the map, Xiao Pudayo came over in a hurry. Your Majesty, something big has happened. What's wrong? The Zhu family army is at the gate of the city. Xiao Pudayo could not hide her shock. What did you say? Xiao Jianjia was incredulous. How did they get here despite all the obstacles? I don't know, please go over there. Xiao Pudayo said, there's something wrong with them. Xiao Jianjia didn't know what she meant by something wrong. It was late at night and the whole city was silent. But at this moment, the war broke out silently. This made Xiao Jianjia feel unreal, just like that night when she followed Lu Yuan to attack Dajing Pass. She put on her armor in a hurry, without even having time to tie up her hair, and ran out with her spear in hand. When I walked out of the mansion, I saw flames all over the city wall and shouts of killing coming from afar. Soldiers and civilians kept running towards the city wall. Boom, boom, boom. At this time, A familiar sound exploded in Xiao Jianjia's ears. She looked at Xiao Podeo fiercely. That's right. These are explosive arrows, and they also have sky bombs. Xiao Podeo smiled bitterly. Xiao Jianjia clenched her fists and asked, where did they get the explosive arrows? Your Majesty, are we the only ones who need to do business with Biao Yan? Xiao Podeo said. Xiao Jianjia was suddenly speechless. Yes, Biao Yang does business with the whole world. So it is normal for the Zhu family to have explosive arrows. She rushed to the city wall, but was stopped by Xiao Ji. Sister, don't come up, the enemy's firepower is too strong, it's easy to get hurt. Xiao Jianjia's eyes were red as she asked. How can I command the battle if I'm not up there? You just command from below. Xiao Ji's face was a little dark, as if he was burned by fire. You should have noticed that the Zhu family has explosive arrows and even thunder bombs. I don't know if they have muskets or cannons, but I can be sure that the explosive arrows in their hands are the same as ours, but they don't seem to be as powerful as ours. Although Xiao Ji didn't know or he came to this conclusion, Xiao Jianjia reacted and said, quick, get someone to block the city gate and don't let them break in. My father has had people block the city gate with sandbags, they can't get in, Xiao Ji said as he pushed Xiao Jianjia down the city wall. It's too dangerous here. Let's go down first. Just when Xiao Jianjia was extremely anxious, Lu Qiushan also came. He was in charge of logistics and was directing the laborers to carry up supplies for defending the city. Xiao Jianjia thought about it and joined in. Soon, Zhu's army climbed up the ladders and landed on the city wall, creating a gap in the south city. Xiao Jianjia saw it all and was anxious. She gritted her teeth and said, female soldiers, listen to my orders. Go to the city and kill the enemy. Chapter 166, surrounded on three sides with one missing, a chain of strategies. Yes sir. The female soldiers were fearless. They wore ghost masks and rushed up the city wall with long swords. Zhu's army's surprise attack caught Tong Shu off guard, and the endless stream of exploding arrows and bombs made everyone panic. Until now, they were the only ones who had explosive arrows, and the thunder bomb was a weapon that they had never possessed. But the enemy does. Originally, Zhu's army was stronger than them. And even at this moment, even when attacking the city, they showed a domineering offensive. Holy King! East City is in danger. North City is in danger. Dang dang dang. The big bell was rung. And the whole Tongshu city was awakened. Rockets were fired into the city and houses were set on fire for a moment. The Battle of Dajingguan was almost replicated. You can't go. Seeing Xiao Jianjia was about to rush forward, Lu Qiushan exclaimed and blocked her way directly. Get out of the way. Xiao Jianjia said, there is danger on three sides right now. If I don't go, am I going to watch the enemy Russian? You are the commander-in-chief of the three armies, sitting in the rear. If even you go to the battlefield, it means that the situation has reached an irreversible point. Do you know how big of a blow this is to the soldiers of the three armies? Lu Qiushan did not give in at all. As the commander-in-chief, you must remain calm even when facing a mountain collapse in front of you. You are the army's heart, the army's soul, and even the army's spirit. No one can move you. As long as the big flag in the city has not fallen, we have not lost. Whenever you encounter a major event, you must first calm down. Only with a calm mind can you break through the situation. Xiao Jianjia gradually calmed down. You're right, I was too impulsive. Her personal abilities have improved in recent days, but compared with the real commander-in-chief of the three armed forces, she still has great shortcomings in all aspects. She did not have Lu Yuan's calm and confident attitude, as he had everything under control. He also did not have the attitude of Lu Qiushan, who remained calm even when a mountain collapsed in front of him. She forgot that when disaster strikes, the only way to escape is to stay calm. Do you have any plan? Xiao Jianjia asked. Lu Qiushan looked at the three city walls and said, you see, they are attacking from three sides of the city walls at the moment, but our people are still there. We have not lost, only the southern city wall is motionless. This is a typical tactic of surrounding three sides and leaving one side open. If we lose our composure and go out from the south city, we will be ambushed. Therefore, I guess that they may have ambushed a large group of troops in the south city, waiting for us to take the bait. Although Tongshu city does not have majestic city walls, it is not easily breached. We must also be on guard against them digging tunnels into the city. At this point, Lu Qiushan paused, and said in a serious tone, the Zhu family army's large-scale attack must have been planned before they acted. They cannot be unaware that we entered the city by digging tunnels, so if I were Zhu Bie, I would definitely start from the south of the city, surround three sides and leave one side open, attract attention, and at the same time ambush troops in the south of the city, dig tunnels to make preparations for both situations. If we can't take the frontal attack, they can still enter from the tunnel in this way. They can attack from the rear without anyone noticing, and our army will surely be defeated. Xiao Jianjia also realized the seriousness of the situation at this time. Shi Ji Yue. Quickly go to the east wall, west wall, and north wall to see how many enemies there are. Soon, Yue came back. Your Majesty, there are many enemies on 3 sides, but no more than 10,000. What about Nanchang? Even fewer people. Sure enough, there's an ambush in South City. Xiao Jianjia suddenly came to her senses. Quick, go to South City and guard it. She rode her horse quickly towards the south wall. Lu Qiushan also hurriedly followed. Soon, they arrived at the South City at the moment when the large group of troops arrived. Zhu's army had already dug through the tunnel and broke out of the ground. Xiao Jianjia was so frightened that she broke out in a cold sweat. If Lu Qi hadn't been watching the fire from the cave, the consequences would have been disastrous this time. Protect the Holy King, Lu Qiushan shouted loudly. The people around immediately protected Xiao Jianjia inside. Xiao Pudayo led his men to kill all the rats that came out of the ground. Quick, light a fire and throw them into the tunnel. The tunnel was instantly filled with smoke, and screams continued to be heard from inside. Lu Qiushan is not good at fighting, but he has a gun. This was left for him by Honggu. Now, he already knew what Li Yuan had done in Biaoliang, and in his heart, he did not blame Li Yuan. If he wasn't ruthless and didn't have his own power, there would be no way he could survive in Biaoliang. Although Honggu did not say it explicitly, she guessed what her son was going to do. But this still could not shake his determination to assist the Empress. It's not about being pedantic, it's just about understanding an idea. In one's life, there is always something to desire and there is always something to trouble oneself. He just wanted to repay the Emperor Shenzong and the Empress for their kindness. The Mauser pistol made a crisp sound and killed the enemy who showed his head. As time went on, the war became more intense. Zhu's army had been unable to capture the city after a long siege and was showing signs of decline. However, the Holy King's army defeated the enemy's strategy and became more and more courageous as the battle went on. Prince Duan and his son fought bloody battles on the city wall and soon defended 3 sides of the city wall. As the enemy troops sounded the retreat, the sky gradually brightened. Xiao Jianjia was exhausted. But behind the ghost mask was an excited face. We held on. Yes. We held on. Xiao Pudayo looked at the curled saber with a complicated look in his eyes and said, almost, just almost. Lu Qiushan smiled and said, the Holy King is wise and has seen through the enemy's tricks, only then can Tonshu be saved from danger. Xiao Jianjia looked at Lu Qiushan with emotion. It was obvious that he saw through everything, but he took all the credit on her. But she did not hypocritically refuse, but accepted it with pleasure. The people around were enjoying the joy of victory in the war. They shouted loudly, the Holy King is wise. The sound spread from the south wall to the north wall. And finally everyone in the city shouted loudly. However, Xiao Jianjia did not sink into it, but quickly devoted herself to post-war work. This time, our soldiers suffered more than 3,400 casualties, more than 1,400 deaths, more than 20 houses were burned down, and more than 1,000 civilian casualties, said Lu Qiushan. Xiao Jianjia nodded silently. If it weren't for Lu Qiushan, Tongshu would probably have ceased to exist after this battle, and she would probably have become a prisoner. The war was cruel and the enemy was cunning, far beyond her imagination. But fortunately, this time our army killed more than 3,000 enemies, which can be regarded as a victory. Lu Qiushan said again. Have you found out how they managed to get here so quietly? Xiao Jianjia asked. I found out after asking. Prince Wen sighed. Some counties in Dazhu surrendered to the Zubier. It was Zubier who ordered them to do so. Many people who came to surrender were actually members of the Zhu family. That's why they can come here quietly. Lu Qiushan was also a little embarrassed. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have expanded blindly, which led to the inability of internal governance to keep up, and this is the case. Please punish me, Holy King. There were many people in the hall, some of whom followed Bau Jinji, and some of whom were promoted later. The Holy King's army was advancing triumphantly, but they ran into a tough opponent in Dazhu and were almost wiped out. This also caused some of them to begin to waver. Chapter 167 Zubier's Ambition. Xiao Jianjia shook her head and said, let the refugees take refuge first, and give me the illusion that the Saint King's army is invincible after taking down several cities without bloodshed. Even I will relax. These days, rumors are spreading in the territory, although I don't care. I don't think about it too deeply. It was not until now that I realized that all this was a scheme by Zhu's army. They used rumors to divert my attention, used illusions to confuse me, secretly gathered the people into an army, and by the time we woke up, the enemy was already at the gates of the city. If Lu King had not seen through the Zhu family's plan, Hongshu city would have been breached by now. I was just sober and those people didn't sneak into the city to cause trouble. Otherwise, even if they saw through the plan, they would still be in danger. Xiao Jianjia took a deep breath after analyzing the situation. She felt a chill all over her body. The Zhu family's plan was no trivial matter. Your Highness the Saint King, since we have seen through the thief Zhu's plan, we must have an explanation for this battle. A middle-aged man stepped out. He had a full beard, was tall and strong, and was very powerful. His name is Shidad and he was born with supernatural powers and was a good commander. He was promoted by Xiao Jianjia. The bandits Zhu had explosive arrows made in Bialiang, as well as thunder bombs. Although they defeated the enemy this time, they did not damage the enemy's foundation. Revenge must be taken. But we need to think long-term. Xiao Jianjia thought of something and her face turned cold. Your Majesty, the explosive arrows and thunder bombs are too powerful. We must also buy them from Bialiang, otherwise. The scholar was interrupted by Xiao Jianjia before he could finish his words. If Bialiang doesn't sell, should we just surrender and wait for Zhu's army to kill us? That's not what I meant, the scribe said hastily. No matter how good the explosive arrows are, they are not produced by our Holy King army. No matter how powerful the sky bombs are, they are from other parties. Only by cracking the gunpowder can the Holy King army become truly powerful. Xiao Jianjia clenched his fists secretly. It is better to save himself than to pray to God. Your Highness is right. If you are strong, you will be strong. If you are weak, you will perish. We must crack the secret formula of gunpowder. Prince Wan bowed and said, I think we should follow the example of Bialiang. Establish a firearms army, set up a firearms research institute, search for geniuses, and one day, we will be able to crack the secret formula of gunpowder. And you will be responsible for this matter. And I will give you 200,000 taels of silver. Yes, I obey your command, Prince Wan said hurriedly. After everyone left, Xiao Jianjia called Prince Wan and said, Uncle Wang, you said that you had been researching gunpowder for a long time. Have you made any progress? Not only I am researching this, Xii and Jing dynasties are also definitely researching this. Bialiang is a rising star, and Li Yuan's ability to command the army is a part of it. This gunpowder is the guarantee of Bialiang's invincibility. However, Bialiang is strong in all aspects, whether it is iron and steel smelting or weapons manufacturing, it is far superior to other countries. Therefore, the prices of the Bialiang weapons that are scattered around are very expensive. It's not that Li Yuan intentionally drives up the price, but because it's worth the price. Prince Wan was stunned when he said this. We started too late in these areas. If we divide the resources, we will probably accomplish nothing. Only by putting all the resources into gunpowder research can we overtake others. Once we master gunpowder, we will be able to produce explosive arrows and bombs on our own. We can even imitate firearms when that day comes. The Holy King army will be invincible in Daqian. What's the secret recipe? I have already discovered 2 of the ingredients. One is carbon powder. The other is sulfur powder. And the rest is still being discovered. Prince Wan said, if even my subordinates can discover it, I'm sure there are also capable people in the Xia and Jing dynasties who can discover it. But the amount of gunpowder that has flowed out of Bialiang is too small, and not every force can come into contact with gunpowder as frequently as we do. What do the Zhu family army say? All's explosive arrows and bombs are not produced by them, right? Xiao Jianjia took out a broken arrow with an expressionless face. There were a few words micro engraved on the tail of the arrow, made in Bialiang. Prince Wan smiled bitterly and sighed inwardly. Brother Li Yuan, you are so confused. Why sell Zubier when you can sell anyone else? I can guess what Li Yuan is thinking. He just wants to make money. The explosive arrows used by Zhu's army are not very powerful, even not as powerful as ours. But he has thunder bombs, and no matter how strong the city walls are, they can't stop them if there are enough of them. It won't be a problem to destroy the city walls. Xiao Jianjia gritted her teeth and said. Prince Wan didn't dare to speak anymore, because whatever he said now would be wrong. Okay, you can go down. Xiao Jianjia waved her hand tiredly. Minister, I'm leaving. At the same time, Zhu's army fled back to Dazhu in a panic. Zubier said unwillingly, we were almost there, and we almost won. Brother, it's not that we are unlucky, but the Saint King army has masters in charge. Think about Prince Wan elocution. One is responsible for external affairs and the other is responsible for internal affairs. They can thrive in such difficult places like Songshu and Tongshu. The Empress is nothing to worry about. The ones we really need to be wary of are these 2 people, Zhu Wen said in a deep voice. After this defeat, they have become alert, and it is almost impossible for them to take Tongshu prefecture again. The Empress will definitely send people to Bialiang to purchase military supplies. And what do you say we should do? Zubier's face was grim. He got explosive arrows and thunder bombs from Bialiang, but the Holy King's army had armor, sabers and explosive arrows made of fine iron from Bialiang. Bialiang seems to be well-intentioned, but actually has something up his sleeve. Brother, if it doesn't work, let's drag the others into this. Zhu Ren gritted his teeth and said, as long as we spread the news about the Empress, someone will naturally come to us for an alliance. No, the Empress must be from the Zhu family, and can only be from the Zhu family. Zhu Biye shook his head. It was quite a coincidence that although the empress was wearing a ghost mask, Prince Duan and his son were showing up in public. The Zhu family is a prominent family in Dashu, and many of their members serve as officials in the capital. He himself gave up the army to pursue a career in literature. How could he not know Prince Duan? At first sight, the Zhu family recognized Prince Duan. But the combination of the women's army of the Holy King and the female Holy King covering her face with a ghost mask, it is hard to guess the true identity of the female Holy King. After reaching this conclusion, Zhu Biye couldn't help but be happy. Yang Ji used Xiao Yi to command the princes in Bianjing, but many people did not recognize Xiao Yi as the fake emperor at all. The empress is missing, but everyone wants to find her. As a result, the empress was right under his nose. How could he not be excited? If the empress is captured, it will only be a matter of time before the Zhu family sweeps across the north. At that time, he will marry the empress, replace the Xiao family, and achieve unprecedented achievements. Just thinking about Zhu Biye makes me excited. So, in his heart, the empress was already in his pocket. Brother, the fat meat that we can't eat is not ours, Zhu Ren reminded. Stupid, what if you spread the news and attract Biao Yang to spy on you? What kind of power is Biao Yang? That was an existence that Xi Jing had to curry favor within both dynasties. If Li Yuan slaps me, I will still smile and extend my other cheek to him for the slap. Chapter 168. Come to ask for an explanation. I think Biao Yang knows about the existence of the empress, Zhu Wen analyzed. With Biao Yang's power, the empress doesn't matter to them anymore. A person who can defeat the million-strong army of Xi Jing would not bother to threaten the empress to achieve his goal. If Biao Yang has any ideas, who in the north can resist it? Just as my eldest brother said, if Shang Wei says one word, our whole family will have to apologize if he is willing to recruit us. We should not start a rebellion. Isn't it better to be a loyal follower of the emperor in peace? This is the logic of the aristocratic families. If I can't be the emperor, then I will be a meritorious official. The continuation of the family is the most important thing. They are not fighting for a day or a night, but for a legacy that will last for generations. Zhu Biye suddenly became uneasy. If they knew, then we wouldn't we be asking for trouble? The Zhu brothers looked at each other. It was true. Brother, as the saying goes, you should not allow others to sleep soundly beside your bed. But the Northern Liang army not only allowed them to do so, but also allowed them to occupy estates right under their noses. What's even more interesting is that before this, our Zhu family's business with Biao Yang did not involve weapons at all. This time, Biao Yang took the initiative to mention this matter. Can I make a bold guess that although Biao Yang doesn't care about the empress, it also doesn't want to let her become too powerful? Shang Wei has not expressed his opinion yet, but we all know that he has long been Lu Yuan's man otherwise. But just one word from the empress, the hundreds of thousands of troops in Biaoyang Pass would have been dispatched long ago. Would it be necessary to go to such great lengths to fight us? Zhu Ren said. Zhu Biye touched his chin and said, what exactly does Lu Yuan mean? Does he want to use us to curb the development of the empress? Biaoyang is already like this. What is he waiting for? When the world is in chaos, Zhu Wen said, Biao Jingji was destroyed by Xi Jing. Biaoyang didn't care at all, and the northern land was barren for thousands of miles. Li Yuan didn't care much. At most he took in some disaster victims, and at best he strengthened Biaoyang. This shows that he is waiting for the heroes to compete with him. Isn't it chaotic enough now? Zhu Biye frowned. Bianjing hasn't fallen yet, so Lu Yuan wants to see the heroes rise up once Bianjing is gone. Won't it be easier to clean up? Zhu Wen's words made Zhu Biye completely frustrated. The more he thought about it, the more he felt it made sense. The more he thought about it, the more anxious he became. Then this battle was fought in vain, wasn't it? No, Li Yuan will be happy if he knows. Zhu Wen shook his head. But we are evenly matched with the Saint King army. We can't suppress them alone. If we spread the news about the empress, and then everyone attacks, wouldn't that be exactly what Li Yuan wants? When the time comes, I will go find Li Yuan and join Biaoyang. Stop it, we agreed to fight for world domination, and now you want me to be a dog? Zhu Biye's eyes widened. Brother, I think what my second brother said makes sense, Zhu Ren said. I also think what my second brother said is right. With Biaoyang around, the Zhu family has no future. It's more important to hold on to their thighs. I agree. Others also echoed. Zhu Biye's face turned green. He had waited for the chaotic times with great difficulty. But when he turned around he found a tiger lying next to him. He was really desperate. No one urged him, but let Zhu Biye figure it out on his own. After a long while, Zhu Biye exhaled. Forget it, then it's as you wish. However, I'm afraid that Biaoyang won't look at me with respect, just like this. Surrendering is about helping someone in need. If you want to be noticed by others, you must have something to show for it. Biaoyang lacks coal, and Mias, north of Dashu, is famous for its coal and iron ore. We can take Mias as a token of our surrender, Zhu Ren said, stroking his short beard. Good. Soon, with the Zhu family deliberately spreading the news that the empress was in Tongshu, it spread like wildfire. It only took a few days for the disease to spread rapidly to surrounding states and counties. For a moment, everyone was shocked. Some people did not believe it and thought that the northern Liang army was trying to lure them into a trap. But the rumors were completely consistent with the behavior of the Holy King's army. In addition, the female Holy King was covered with a ghost mask from beginning to end and did not dare to show her true face, which undoubtedly deepened everyone's doubts. As a result, various forces sent out spies to investigate. Seeing that the rumor had spread, the Zhu family no longer paid too much attention to it, but instead led their troops north and attacked Mias. At this time, Tongshu Prefecture. Xiao Jianjia called over Prince Duan and other confidants. The atmosphere in the hall was so heavy that no one dared to even breathe. Your Majesty, apart from Bai Liang, I can't think of anyone else who knows you are here, Shi Jiyue said indignantly. Xiao Pudayo shook her head. No, I don't think so. Who else could it be if not Bai Liang? Shi Jiyue said angrily. Prince Duan said in a deep voice. Actually, I am more suspicious of Shang Wei. Why? Xiao Jianjia was puzzled. Shang Wei used to pretend, but now he doesn't even pretend anymore. If he spreads the news that His Majesty is in Tongshu, it will definitely attract a group of bandits to attack. If the Saint King's army is destroyed, Shang Wei can sit back and relax and work for Bai Liang at ease. Otherwise, he is a treacherous villain, said Prince Duan. Lu King, what do you think? Lu Qiushan lowered his head and sighed inwardly. Prince Duan is right. Xiao Jianjia frowned, seeing that Lu Qiushan was worried. She thought that Lu Qiushan was thinking of a countermeasure. So she said, no matter who spread the news, Tongshu will definitely attract a lot of attention and even powerful enemies. I have to go to Biaoyang to purchase military supplies. It will take 10 days at the fastest and half a month at the slowest. I'll leave the territory in your hands. Your Majesty, I will go with you, Xiao Ji said. No need, the territory is in need of manpower right now. The road to Biaoyang is very safe. I don't need too much protection. Instead, it will attract the attention of those who have ulterior motives. After Xiao Jianjia gave these instructions, she left with a cold face. She could see that Prince Duan and his son were both trying to excuse Lu Yuan, but they didn't dare to say anything in front of Lu Qiushan. But Honggu had already met Lu Qiushan, and she didn't believe that Lu Qiushan didn't know what Lu Yuan had done in Biaoyang. Logically speaking, she should have driven Lu Qiushan away long ago, but Lu Qiushan was so loyal and talented that she really couldn't bear to let him go. She didn't know how much Lu Qiushan knew. If her identity was exposed one day, how would she face it and how would she deal with Lu Qiushan? Perhaps when that day really comes, it will be the moment for her to meet King Li Yuan. She went all the way north and arrived in Biaoyang in 3 days. After 2 months, I returned to Biaoyang and found it full of colorful flowers and vitality. Countless ships are operating on the inland rivers, and all kinds of resources are being hoisted ashore continuously. This reminded Xiao Jianjia of the Jingji River in Biaoyang, which is the largest freight terminal in the capital. At this moment, Biaoyang's prosperity and heritage are no less than Biaoyang's. She sighed secretly in her heart, then quickly walked into the city. Everyone in the city knew her and did not dare to stop her. Some even personally escorted her to the prefect's mansion. However, Xiao Pudayo and others were stopped in the hall of the prefectural mansion. Xiao Jianjia went upstairs with a sullen face, thinking about how to get an explanation. But the moment he pushed open the office door, she was stunned. Chapter 116 Scene. I understand you, but I also hate you. Honggu was seen sitting on Li Yuan's lap with her head tilted back and her long hair hanging down naturally like a waterfall. That scene actually made Xiao Jianjia's heart suddenly hurt. At that moment, she felt like a clown. Honggu turned her head and looked towards the door. When she saw who was coming, she was also flustered. Master. Madam. Li Yuan was furious. Do you understand what I mean? Why don't you knock on the door before you come in? But when he heard Honggu's words, he looked up and was stunned when he saw the person coming. Jianjia. WTF, why is Xiao Jianjia here? Why didn't the people below report it? Li Yuan's brain crashed. He seemed to have forgotten that he had once issued an order that Xiao Jianjia should come over, and there was no need to notify her. At this time he was learning from Honggu. Ever since he expressed his feelings to Honggu, he no longer suppressed his feelings and took the initiative. It took him a long time to impress Honggu. It's not what Honggu said, just look for her when you need it, but it's a natural outcome. He regretted it. If he had known this would happen, he should have locked the door. Honggu got out of the car and rolled up the window. She was a little flustered at first, but when she saw Xiao Jianjia's face full of disbelief, she calmed down again. Why should she panic? This is the fact. She stood behind Li Yuan, tied her hair slowly, and then looked at Xiao Jianjia without saying a word. That indifference made Xiao Jianjia feel uneasy. Her body was stiff, her expression frozen. And she looked at the uneasy Lu Yuan and said mechanically, "It's okay, you guys continue." Having said that, she turned and left. The moment she turned around, she felt her vision blurred, and that hint of sadness became a mockery. Lu Yuan chased after her and grabbed her. "Where are you going?" "Of course we'll find a hotel to stay in and wait for Master Lu to finish his business before visiting him," Xiao Jianjia said sarcastically. Lu Yuan said, "As you can see, I am indeed in a relationship with Hongus. He has been with me for 5 years. I like her and I want to give her an explanation." Xiao Jianjia pulled her hand away and said, "Master Lu, you are really weird. This is your private matter. You can love whoever you want and explain to whoever you want. Why are you telling me? Is there anything between you and me?" She felt inexplicably sad. "Of course I have to tell you, otherwise, it's unclear and it's cheating." Li Yuan said, "I don't like to do things secretly. I've done it, and I will give her a name. I will prepare a gift in advance." Xiao Jianjia laughed, "But I heard that if there is a stepmother, there must be a stepfather. Please return Huan Huan to me. I want to take her away. The child is doing well here and everyone loves her. It's not safe outside. I will never allow my daughter to live a precarious life out there," Li Yuan said. "Even if I die, I won't let anyone hurt her. Give the child back to me," Xiao Jianjia said coldly. "Lu Yuan, if you are a man, just give me a straight answer." At this moment, her eyes were full of anger and even a hint of hatred. Lu Yuan knew that everything he had done before was in vain. He doesn't blame anyone else but himself. However, it is unrealistic for her to stay with Xiao Jianjia alone. He waited for 5 years. He understood Xiao Jianjia's suffering and grievances, so he tried his best to make amends. But that doesn't mean he can ignore other people's feelings. The child is very safe here. Everyone loves him. And the child is very happy wrapped in love here. She can also receive a good education and have many friends of the same age, instead of being locked in a room and bullied by those malicious adults. As for the relationship between you and me, I really want to marry you, to give you stability and a status. But I know better than to say that you and I will end up fighting each other. Today, Li Yuan wanted to speak out, and he didn't want to hide it anymore. "You know my feelings very well, but you never took my feelings to heart. You only care about your Da Qian, your empress, and your principles. My daughter, you don't care. You also don't care about my pleading.